it. Get this out of here. Okay, I think let's just really. Okay, let's just lock it here. Okay. Yo Faye, sorry for the black screen for now. I'm gonna be setting up a scene, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna just take my time and set it up so we can like spectate CRL in a bit. And up until then I can pretty much do whatever I want. I think we're gonna do that. Add existing Firefox. Does it look okay? It does look fine. Okay, what if I do this? Also, I have to keep it. Okay, so apparently, okay, there is a significant drop in my frames. Like, holy G. Actually, I don't know if I should be logging off. Yeah, I'm gonna stay on my... player home account. By the way, you can all see that. Whatever, doesn't matter. I don't think anyone will be rewatching these streams anyway, so I'm not actively hurting myself in the process. Clash Royale Esports Bank. Okay, so that scene has been set up. I think I'm gonna also turn it to... I believe I'm already in the theater mode, and I'm gonna turn off the chat. That's gonna be fine. Cancel that. Yeah, I think we're ready to rumble. That scene will be good enough. And we're gonna switch to Clash for now. Right, yeah, so let's play some Clan Wars before we kick off. By the way, I'm curious whether my mic is working or not. Can you confirm? Is everything okay? Faye? Okay, nice. Good to hear that. Okay. Okay, thanks. Princess reload. Okay, we can also not retarget. It's gonna be fine as well. I didn't want you to lock on the Valkyrie, which anyway. Do you know? No zap? No zap. Nice. I would partially agree, Faye. Thing is, I don't have maxed cards on this account, so I kinda play Hyperbait to even out the field. Since most people think that Hyperbait is already annoying on even levels, I'm kinda playing with what I have, and I assume that Hyperbait is the only viable deck I can run while being underleveled. And this princess is dealing way more damage than it's supposed to. My opponent not respecting my threat, and probably going for an all-in here because he was spending not a lot of elixir on defense. Let's stop Musket in his tracks. Let's stop the turret in his tracks. Let's go for a small sand. Pretty much all the Hyperbait players do. Can't blame me for playing that. I mean, you can, but you won't. Nice. Witch? Okay, I guess this Dark Goblin will be slightly annoying. I will let it to lock onto my cannon, and then I'll be forced to basically play a smart defense against Barrel. I'm gonna play Valk here. And yeah, I took a lot of damage. Definitely not the best defense on my part. But my opponent will be struggling to defend right now as he spent a lot of cash to get his offense up and going. GG. One up, one down. Love to see it. Yeah, let's play X-Bow. I just want to secure this duel. Usually I go for more risky play, which is Golem, second game, or thingy. Minor Loon. I just want to win this right here, right now. I don't care. I'm pulling out my strongest deck on this account as it's nearly maxed out. And my opponent is not giving me respect, still playing his homemade recipe decks. It is what it is. Let's play Tesla. Yes, I completely agree. Recruits bait Goblinstein was quite was, I believe, the epidemic of the 2024-21 challenge, and basically anyone who had a sliver of brain could make it to 15 wins with this deck. That's why it was so popular in 21 challenge, because people literally didn't even think about their plays and they were still winning. Also, I'm pretty throwing this game, so let me lock in. I'm back to Evo Archer, so let's try this timing. Opponent not happy about his position, I don't know why. Maybe he's baiting me into doing that. Okay. Too late. Uh-oh. Yeah, I should have expected Mega Knight. Remember, guys, if you don't know what you're facing, you're most likely facing MK. Just always assume this can be a possibility, and you will never be surprised in your life again. This Tesla will survive. Nice. Also, Mega Knight turned out to be a very effective card in pro play this weekend. A lot of people opted to play Evo Mega Knight in CRL, which is super surprising. Okay, my opponent playing Elite Barbarians. Let's set up X-Bow in the back. My opponent opts to punish me with Evo Park Archer, but it's just not doing enough to justify the means. I'm gonna play the Knight. My opponent already trying to predict me, but I don't think it's gonna work. I'm gonna play X-Bow at the bridge. huge damage. Let's protect the bow a bit more. Let's protect the bow a bit more. Okay, I'm not getting damage here. Well, alright. Interesting stuff. Obviously, I'm not in a brilliant position, but okay, I don't like this set of arrows. I will be able to protect my bow with Knight. I don't know if it was the best play, but like he technically got defended very efficiently. This wasn't an efficient defense, but these arrows were an overspent. Let me try this one. Okay, Goblin Hut, fair enough. Yep. Let's try to cheese it in. And we do. And we do cheese it in. Keep going. Some damage is gonna be like, okay, X-Bot 0. Instantly Knight, instantly Archers. Nice, MK to life. Keep protecting. And that's gonna be win, nice. Whew. It was way more difficult than I expected. Also, I'm pretty confident I'm not winning this game with Golem. with Loom, I believe I can. Not with Golem. He had too many responses, like Mega Knight, E-Babes and Goblin Hut, especially Goblin Hut. I literally cannot break this deck with this Golem beatdown deck. Alright, I wanted to just play some quick duels, so let's switch to another account and get a couple more of those before we start the watch party for World Finals. I mean for monthly finals. Also, Faye, I'm gonna send you a server invite link where I'm up and going on a VC if you maybe want to join. Here we go. You may want to join. You may not. It's your choice. But I'm there and basically you may join me on VC. Right, let's play another account. And guess who's made the second appearance here today? Yes, it is our favorite archetype in Hyperbait. And hello Faye, I am assuming it's you that joined the VC.
Yes, that's me, yeah.
Hello.
I was not expecting you to be a Vocaloid fan.
I am not a Vocaloid fan per se. I just like the guy that impersonates Teto in Clash.
No way, there's a person that does that?
It's literally his server.
Oh. Yeah, the math is not mathing, the brain is not braining.
It's fine. It's still early in the day. Only 3 PM in the European time. Don't you worry.
I have to tell. Oops, I gotta mute your stream real quick. How do I mute your stream? So I can not listen to my own voice twice.
Yeah, fair enough.
Wait, how do you do that on mobile?
Oh, so you're away from home or something?
No, I'm just at the kitchen right now.
Ah, okay, makes sense. Makes sense.
I can go into my room, don't worry. So, what is the what are you anticipating for the Clash Royale tournament this fine day? What decks do you think people will bring?
I think we will be seeing more Mega Knight. It's just been so dominant.
Oh,
Mega
no.
Knight, Giant Skeleton, Goblin Jill, mostly these three archetypes have been like very rampant this weekend.
I see. Hold up 1 second, I'm joining on my computer.
Alright.
Computer!
Speedy Wall Breaker. Bro, my opponent definitely locked in. I didn't expect him to bring such a nice gameplay in game number 1. But here we are. Let's take all these bats. Also, I should be switching my barrel. Oh, he's playing MK, what? He is?
Okay, bait. Zap bait.
Protect. Whoa, 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 whoa. You're telling me he's getting one shot? Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Okay, let's switch my barrel. Let's switch my goblin barrel so he misses his bar barrel. There we go, one goblin survives. That's a very nice trick against these type of players.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, he plays Void, which will not get any meaningful damage. Obviously it will get damage, it sucks. But I cannot realistically block it, and as Hyperbait, you have to focus more on offense than on defense. He's gonna drop MK to my... Yep. And now I'm gonna be getting some juice. 1400. Nice stuff. Block the miner. He's dropping Void and he missed. Okay, now we're going in.
He missed his void.
Yeah, not the most optimal play per se. I almost got the ability off, and that's gonna be very dangerous though. Let me play it out. Okay, I need something to get the damage on this miner like right now. Barbell, here we go.
Oh boy. I don't know what's more depressing. The fact that you're winning with Hyperbait or that he's winning with homemade deck. Hello?
Why is he calling good game? He literally got 0 damage with this offense. What are we doing, boss? Oh, I forgot to defend MK, sorry. Brain fog.
You're good.
It's fine. I like his deck. I actually do. I think it would be better with poison, but Void kinda gave him a cheap way of getting rid of my my princesses. Other thing is that he missed like a lot of those, but like that's besides the point. I think deck pick wise he didn't get a bad matchup. Especially that he could like keep up with me in cycle with like bad spear goblins, wall breakers, very interesting stuff. And now he's gonna be bringing a classic log bait against RG. Classic matchup of all times. Let's see who's gonna come out on top. Bro, I'm so not used to streaming.
The matchup of all time.
Also, he gets a very good rocket. I expected him having rocket, but like no one plays monk ability in this position. That's just not a human move. Watch for him to play princess. Bam. Got it. And right now we can set up RG in the back. Okay, let him play
That
knight.
was a really good prediction on the princess.
It wasn't a prediction. I actually reacted to that. No goblin barrel. Okay. So, it is possible to completely react to the goblin barrel, but like, you pretty much have to be already hovering a card in advance. Exactly what I did. I just hovered Fishboy here, and I basically wanted him to play Prince on either side. In both cases, Fisherman will be able to like turn and actually go for the kill, unless my opponent plays smart and tries to protect it. Okay, I'm gonna try to play the monk here. Let the princess shoot once. Let's deflect one princess hit. And I think this RG is dead actually. It is what it... Oh. Okay. I'm not gonna be fine actually. I'm not gonna be... You're telling me this knight tanks both sides. Bro, this guy is actually playing very well. You just have to get the credit to him. And he's not having a bad matchup. Whew, okay, let's play Monk early. Play ability about now. There we go. And right now you have to all-in this guy. If we don't win in this push, we are not winning.
Nice prediction. Ability, rather.
I mean, I wanted to catch his... I wanted to deflect his princess, but he just gave me a rocket for free, and I had to basically capitalize on this play. Now we're playing Royal Giant with Rage, because if you Rage the Royal Giant, basically, he will permanently knock back the knight.
Nice. And kill all the goblins, too.
Let's pressure him with RG, so he cannot create a meaningful offense. And there we go, GG. Nice. Alright, I am happy with the game too. And right now, game number 3, I have a very difficult decision to make, because I'm actually playing against a dude that like knows how to play the game and is actually using viable decks. Like game 1, obviously a creative invention, but he knows how to use like meta decks. I think I'm gonna go for Lava Hound. The alternative was a Golem Beatdown. I just think Lava Hound is all around more consistent.
Yeah.
And he's going with the Bridge Storm, which is considered a very good matchup against Lava, so... Let's see what he got. Yeah, that's just classic P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Storm. Nothing more, nothing less. Fortunately, I have arrows and zap to kill his magic archers, or arrows for minions, so like, the only annoying troop will be Ewis and Battle Ram. Battle Ram because I will have to like hold the Tombstone exclusively for the Battle Ram, and the Ewis because I will be not able to physically kill it.
Yeah.
That's a ghost, and he plays a fireball variant. Okay. That's 2 hits. I'm taking it any day of the week. He messed up this one. Let's say if he plays bandit. Okay, he knows that he wants me to actually have a lot of elixir, so he doesn't run into a ground empress. That's a very good recognition from him. And there's the Ewis. Like I've said, classic P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Storm, no surprises thus far. Yeah, I'm gonna play Tombstone. I was tempted to pretty much eat the Battle Ram and go instantly for the Lava Hound, but I think against the guy that I've been playing, like, it's just too risky. He knows how to punish this play. Wait for Marcher. P.E.K.K.A. P.E.K.K.A, okay. So I have to play a high Mega Minion. Right now he has to play Hero Marcher. Okay, he doesn't play it. Let me play a Lava Hound then. And let me play the Valk at the bridge as well. Spam the ability, you know the drill. And we get it. We get Marcher. I don't care, I activate the King Tower. Right now we're gonna be punishing him with the Ground Empress at 0. That's basically how you play this deck. Let's kill this ghost, let's get 2 hits. And that's already advantage for Lava, beautiful.
Whoa. I thought I'd see a Ground Empress hit the tower like that.
Ground Empress hits like a truck, man. It's just imbalanced right now.
I see.
Okay, let's play High Mega Minion. Nice, I locked on the Magic Archer. I didn't expect it, but like, it's more than welcome. Okay, right now, we want to dip. Just like that. Let's play all around defense, waste all our evos on defense, since like my opponent has to attack or he's dead. And we won, GG. Nice. Comfortable one. He definitely played well.
GG's.
I just knew like intricacies of, for instance, this matchup. Like, I know P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam players that think that Lava hard counters, and I am actually an advocate to think that P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam hard counters. The thing is...
so there's room for debate on that.
Yes, it is a debatable matchup. Like, I genuinely think it's the matchup where like the better player wins. But there are a couple of things which are like not debatable. For instance, in a 6 tower scenario, so basically if neither player takes the tower, P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam player has the advantage because like magic archers pretty much cannot be killed if you use your abilities properly. You can apply pressure with bandit, with ghost, stuff like that. But the moment Lava player tower trades, like he gains access to the pocket with Valkyries, with ground spirit empresses, not air, ground spirit empresses, and like this matchup gets super vicious. So like pretty much, as a P.E.K.K.A bridge spam player, you have to keep all towers alive for as long as it's physically possible, as it's like benefiting your deck. Lava players' win condition, however, is to tower trade. So if I had the situation where I play Lava Hound in the back and my opponent is going all in on the opposite side, I would have to ignore that, accept that I'm gonna lose the tower and like lose half of the King Tower's HP and pretty much go for it, because if I miss the tower trade, like I will be losing. But my opponent didn't know the theory, so like it worked in my favor.
Yeah. Very cool.
Right, I believe I forgot to, yeah, animation, yeah. My clan is not doing well in this clan, we're getting absolutely cooked by 2 other clans. Let's hope we're gonna actually gonna get 3k war trophies by the end of the 2026, as that has been a goal that I set for my clan.
Nice.
Okay, on this account, I also have the hyper bait. Okay, 3 for 3, I guess.
3 for 3 hyper bait.
I wanted really to show off like more of a skill decks, but like my levels are not allowing me to do so. And also I want to basically play in a very annoying way when it's not like I cannot play other decks and that's why I'm playing Hyperbait, is that I'm using Hyperbait as a mental shook to basically throw my opponents off guard, to assume that I'm gonna be playing like low skill decks and then like pull off something like Goblin Drill, something like Hog, something like RG, basically like more mechanically demanding decks.
Yeah. Wait, Goblin Drill is a mechanically demanding deck? Nah,
on defense, absolutely. Like, okay, Goblin Drill is known in a top play as a spam deck, but only if you can like preparely defend. Also, I don't think it activates the King Tower, but I'm gonna go for this interaction anyway. Yeah, it does not activate the King Tower. Close your eyes, kids. It's not safe to watch.
Damn. But it kills the Magic Archer with the death damage and everything.
It does. It's barely enough. Okay, the cannon is out of hand, so I already am trying to figure out what's the best way of punishing my opponent with this Scouting Barrel, and there we go. There we go. That's how you have to play the Hyper Bait. No mercy.
No mercy. There is no mercy.
Oh no, the Clone Wars.
Yeah. There is
I actually
mercy.
love this fight. It was so cool. They've decided to animate the Civ versus 2 Civ combat.
Yes. All I remember that from is like a meme where it's like shops in America during November 1st.
Okay. It's really deep topic.
Shops in America during November 1st. I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. You get what I mean.
Recruits! Wait, what is the occasion on November 1st in America? I actually forgot. Sorry, all my American
basically
fans.
everything and everyone prepares for Christmas like it's actually Christmas.
Oh, okay, so it's reference to that. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's like the have mercy. There is no mercy, and then all I want for Christmas is you by Mariah Carey starts playing.
If you heard,
on November 1st.
Yeah. If you didn't hear this song by the November, what are you even doing?
You're not a true patriot if you haven't heard this song by November 1st.
Yes. Okay, let's go for Hog. I actually want to show off by playing some decent micro right now. Like I've said.
Nice.
First we bait, then we hog. I mean, it doesn't work, but like... Let's pretend this
First
joke
we
was very
bait,
sophisticated.
then we hog. This is how we clash.
Nah, I actually was referring to the cheesy line from the Minecraft movie. First we mine, then we craft. I still can't
I
believe
don't
they
even
put
know
it.
what that's from. I don't even know what that's from.
Okay,
First
I'm
we
gonna
mine, then we craft.
I'm gonna play
Oh,
Mighty
that's
Miner
where it's
here.
from.
Mighty Miner first, and then we're gonna casually activate the King Tower because it's the easy activation.
Nice,
hope-
nice King Tower, nice King Tower.
Okay, this hog won't obliterate me. Nice. Yay. That's how you flex the mechanical skills of a 2-year-old, because Hog Rider apparently is also no skill. Nice.
Damn.
Let's play Might Miner. I have no. Oh, okay. Yep. There goes my skill and my 500 subscribers. Yep. Down the drain. They will all unsub and sub to Mohammed Light instead. Bro, it's actually illegal. Yo, I actually didn't know this interaction. Okay.
I did not know that! I did not know that!
Okay,
Me
one
neither.
exit hit. That survives. We're gonna be playing. I wanted to play Mighty Miner at 0. No, no, no. The Mighty Miner at 0 wins the game. Okay, whatever, whatever. Winners those. I'm gonna play Mighty Miner. Okay, that's gonna be a very difficult defense. My opponent is not cheesing though, so he got no damage. Okay. Hog Rider instantly held lightning for the Inferno Dragon or Exi. I'm down for both plays. Nice. Hunter is dead. Mighty Miner will play a bomb. Let's go. Yeah, here comes the mechanical prowess that I've been talking this whole time. Let's kite the Mini P.E.K.K.A away. Okay, Mini P.E.K.K.A will be alive, so we have to make sure that it's not gonna obliterate me. Yeah, GG. Okay, nice. One mistake in this game and no more.
Nice, really good
Today
defense.
we'll be watching some Clash Royale where there will be no mistakes at all whatsoever, aka monthly finals, let's go. But for now you have to get entertained by the gameplay of humble and definitely not bragging right now, upcoming and rising star of CRL Clash Home. Smash like.
Smash like and subscribe.
Okay, I have 2 more accounts and I think after I win duels on both of these, because I will, sorry I had to, I'm gonna be switching the scene to the monthly finals because like there's 25 minutes left till the show starts. And right now, finally, we're gonna be switching to, okay, still bait, but at least not hyper bait, it's gonna be mortar bait this time.
Mortar bait. Me when I bait my mortar.
Yep. This
Nah,
name,
just kidding.
this name had no sense, and I believe it's pretty much like one of the early decks where like pretty much it was played without synergy and was played purely with just broken cards in mind in the deck. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, that's not good. My Empress is just cooked, as the youngsters would say it these days.
Hooked.
Let's play arrows at 0, as if I were controlling the situation this whole time. Wait, can I? Okay, I probably cannot because I don't have cash. I won't risk it. So far so good. Definitely not a start we want, but we'll have to play with that hand. Exi Magic Archer Prince minions. Definitely not a meta deck. At least not the one I'm recalling. I'm gonna play Scalibur, however. He's playing Castle. Bad. Let's play Mortar. Force out his Exi or Marcher. Both are good. Okay, so he's gonna be waiting for the Mortar to lock. And I'm actually surprised. I thought he's gonna try to for Mortar to lock on the tower, and after that he will be trying to basically play for the magic archer splashing my tower. That's a very common play in ranked play. But my opponent opts to not do that, and I'm gonna play very quick Skeleton King ability just to protect the Dark Goblin and be as annoying as possible, because that's what this deck is all about.
Dart Goggins.
I'm actually very surprised
your
that
tower.
Yes, I'm actually very surprised it took the tower. I thought it's gonna like deal 1000 additional damage, but it literally took it. Yep, good zap, buddy. And with that we are at 10 elixir, we're tower up, and we're gonna be sitting comfortably on our lead. My opponent counterplays on the opposite side, definitely not a bad idea. I think it's a tad too late, but not a bad idea, if I can say so myself. Magic Archer won't connect to the tower, but it's gonna provide a ever so valuable splash damage. Meanwhile, my opponent will completely eat the Thingo on the opposite side, the Spirit Empress.
Spirit Empress.
There we go. Light work.
It totally is balanced.
It is a very balanced card, especially the ground form.
Yes.
Okay, let's play Loon Psycho. I thought myself that I'm gonna be playing skill, so I'm sticking to skill. I'm gonna play some heavier decks off camera, basically.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play Lava Hound off what was it again, off screen, because you know it's not super skillful. I need to show my viewers all the skill.
Bro, how else will you get subscribers if not with aura farming? Like, this is the way.
And clip farming. Don't forget clip farming.
Yes. However, you can clip farm with pretty much any deck. You just have to be like,
you can clip farm with all spells.
You can clip farm with Hog 2.6 with Sneaky Mega Knight. Bro, this deck was played in this deck was played yesterday in monthly finals.
No way! You're serious, right?
Mohamed Light played this yesterday.
We're cooked. We're cooked.
Yes, we are. And then after winning, he like turned his, I believe, Nintendo Switch and started playing like video games on camera just to aura farm. No, yesterday's monthly final was illegal to watch. Oh, he actually has Tornado. Okay. That complicates stuff. If my opponent plays any card on the Musketeer, I'm gonna instantly counterplay on the opposite hand, by the way.
Yes.
There's the card.
Oh, and you remember the other day where I told you about the new mechanic in my game, and I was like, I don't know how often you can do this, and then I proceeded to do it 3 times.
Yes.
I don't even know how I was able to do that, but I think I just need to be more specific on how you can perform that action in the game, because there is a very specific placement for it, and it's like I don't know if it was you not knowing the mechanic or me knowing the mechanic too much, but yeah, I did it 3 times, like 3 passing charges, one after the other, just bam, bam, bam. Skedaddle Skadoodle, your infantry is now a noodle.
You missed a very obvious pun. I've been bamboozled.
Skedaddle Skadoodle, your things are now bamboozled. Nice play there with the miner to avoid the tornado. Not that it really matters because it was already activated, but. But yeah.
My opponent did not skill check me. With decks like his, like, you cannot be trading evenly. Basically, if you play the even game where like both players get to attack each other and get to like play the regular game, like, it's not gonna work for him. If he's playing cheese, he has to pretty much hide 1 or 2 cards in his deck, play like, set up like minor threats, and after I defend 1, pretty much all in with 10 elixir on the opposite side. That's the only way he wins, and he wasn't even doing that. So I would say not a bad attempt, but definitely not a right way to play. Ramstein, you gotta do better. With 24,000 wins on the account as well. Yo, this guy actually has more wins on the account than my main account with 22. This guy knows Bo and he doesn't know the basic principles. That's very weird. Speaking of which, we're like 15 minutes away from monthly finals, so I'm gonna play last duo, and after that we're gonna be watching pro players, and like the title says, until my grandparents come to celebrate basically my grandfather's birthday.
Nice.
I believe it's gonna like happen in 2 hours more or less ish. We'll see. Up until then, I'm gonna be watching World Finals, because why not? It's best players duking it out in a video game that we love, hate, and all.
That we love, hate, and still play.
Yes. Okay, let's set up a threat already. He plays minor wall breakers, which, for my knowledge, can be anything. It can be a Mega Knight. And here he comes.
It can be a Mega Knight.
Okay, he gets a very good set of guards. I think I'm gonna play Tesla right here. There we go. Oh, this Mega Knight will not jump on my tower. Oh no, my towers are level 16 and I didn't get the activation. Pay to lose. Nice, the wall breakers are gone. Let's go. He's gonna drop MK, he's gonna... Oh, he's not. Okay, if he's not dropping MK, then I'm going for the opposite lane. He's gonna die. Oh, this guy is so dead. Oh, this guy is so
And
dead.
not to mention the other tower with the drill on it and the demolisher on it is already fricked up. Question mark.
Yep. It was definitely a blunder. My opponent literally had to wait like a good boy and play Mega Knight late. And he didn't do it. He didn't understand the demands of the position. Okay, let's play Knight. I think I played a Knight on the wrong tile because it didn't get splashed. Okay, that's interesting. So it was a correct tile. Now he plays Queen. Now let me show this cool trick. I'm gonna allow him to play ability. I'm gonna snowball it. And then counter it with Hero Goblins. Oh, okay. Well, there goes my clip farm.
There goes your clip farm. Well, I mean, you can still turn accidents into clip farming. You just need to like frame it as, oh, my opponent is over leveled.
Nah, I can also hire a good editor. Like, there is a pro player in Age of Empires 2 called Hera. Like, he's quite literally the #1 player for God knows how long. Like, he's been dominating this game for like forever, it seems. And he likes to post shorts when he like explains the interaction that he's going for, and he fails it miserably like afterwards.
And then he adds like a fine boom sound effect and a bass boosted audio the second it fails.
Nah, bass boosted audio is not even necessary. His viewers just know.
Damn.
Yo, my opponent wasted Mega Knight, Miner. I literally
They
don't
were
know.
expecting.
I'm gonna play RG. Why not? On this account I have all decks like maxed out, so I can go for whatever order, because I don't have to put myself in a position where I pretty much have to either win game number 1 or waste my opponent's good levels on the game number 1. Like, I can play whatever. Also these skeletons are late. These skeletons were freaking late, that's not good.
I think I'm gonna boot up Ultra Kill. You remember?
I do. It is an interesting game. Definitely not in my flavor, but I know you love it.
Yes. I've been waiting years to be able to play Ultra Kill, because for the longest period of time I did not have a computer to be able to buy it, and then once I had a computer, I had Steam and everything, but I didn't have $20 in that moment. I was like, yeah. And then at some point I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's just get Ultra Kill.
Yo, my opponent will play Skeletons and Knight at the bridge. Oh no, he's gonna play Tesla first. Then Skeletons. 3, 2, 1 now. And now Knight. There we go. Now my RG will get 2 hits. And I believe I outcycle his Tesla. No, I didn't outcycle his Tesla, but like, next time I'm gonna play RG in the back, his Tesla will be outcycled.
Nice bar barrel.
Okay, I'm not gonna be going for the outcycle, I believe. I'm gonna basically just counterplay his Evo Drill, which is not the play you should be doing. Kids, don't do this at home. I'm a trained professional, and I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing.
But the more principled way of playing this matchup is basically saving Ghost every time for the drill. I just know I can get away with playing Ghost offensively and playing a very like detailed Barbarian Barrel plus Skeleton's defense against Goblin Drill. If not for that one, I would have to save the... I would have to be saving the Royal Ghosts for the drill. And if I forgot it even once, I would be doomed to fail. Also, this hunter is dead. Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna just go for King Tower. I don't care. You see me care? I don't care at all. Let's fireball this Tesla. Yep. And my opponent is going for the offensive counterplay, which
oh boy,
works. He got my tower. So be it. There we go. Very quick 2-0, and like I've said, after that we're gonna be spectating the CRL day number 2.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. Right. Let's go to the OBS, change the scene real quick. And here, okay, and that's not the scene I meant to check. Here we go.
Playing Ultra Kill Cyber Grind on 15 hours of sleep is not recommended, chat.
What do you mean 15 hours of sleep? Bro, did you not sleep during a week, during a work week? Like, 15 hours is way too much, no?
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I slept for 15 hours. I slept from 6 p.m. yesterday till 12 nowadays.
Wow, that's a lot. I believe the only moments when I have the the only like instances where I like sleep for more than 10 hours is if I like pull out a nighter the day before.
Yeah, you would have excuses. I don't.
Okay. Alright, speaking of which, CRL monthly finals, let's go. We're gonna be duking it out, and I think I'm gonna just use this as a free roam. I'm gonna keep these 3 tabs. I'm gonna open a 4th one with Stats Royale, because I want to also discuss who I think will be a favorite, and who I'm cheering for personally, and basically what happened yesterday, because Stats Royale actually is a brilliant tool that gives us all the information about the tournament. I have been not sponsored yet. I welcome those. Sponsor me, Stats Royale, please. I've been playing so many of your tournaments. Okay, and here we go. Yeah, as we can see in the upper bracket, EGW versus Tanjiro will be our game number 1 today. Both guys have made an upset yesterday. Actually, EGW, I don't think he upset Rafael Nadal, aka Akaza. I believe he was a favorite, but no one expected him to make it to the monthly final in the first place. He has been known as a very niche player, mostly playing ladder, mostly playing his very toxic and cheesy decks. And this month, his luck, like the luck is on his side. He's made it to the monthly finals, and oh no, sorry, EGW versus Tanjiro happened yesterday, I forgot. And EGW actually upset Tanjiro by winning 2-0, so yeah. Bro, I forgot what happened yesterday. I was just briefly watching the monthly finals. From the important things though, Riley got outed by Tanjiro in the first game, and after that, he got outed by Rafael Nadal, so like, by pretty much 2 newcomers to the CRL. Riley pretty much matched them both and lost 2 times in a row. Very sad stuff for the Canadian fans. It happens. I got 2 Polish players that were like duking it out in round of 32 in the group stage. They both didn't make it, and they both were like insanely close, like 1 win away. Sad to see it, but it is what it is. Next month definitely will be ours, and next month I'll try to get to the 1500, top 1500 in the world myself. I'm gonna try to compete. We'll see how it's gonna go. I think April and Titan will definitely be trying their best as well. They are very good, very seasoned, and they definitely have the chance to make it to the monthly finals. I am supposed to be a biased caster, but I'm not. So if you don't like it, you are allowed to get out of the stream right now. You're not welcome here. But if you like my energy, you can stay. So I'm also a welcoming host, per se. Okay, speaking of other matchups, Ruben beats Vitor 75. I would say it's not an upset, but you would expect Vitor to take it. Looking at the recent successes of these 2 players, Vitor definitely a favorite. And if I recognize correctly, Vitor actually got outed early as well by OP Sam in the lower bracket. OP Sam obviously not a rookie. And OP Sam, I believe, was like another upset yesterday, losing to El Molejas, aka Axel from Mexico. Another up and coming rookie of the CRL monthly finals. El Molejas, bro, I don't know how to call it, because like technically he has just made his debut in the CRL, so like his nickname can be however he like whatever he chooses. I believe right now he's playing under a nickname El Molejas, but if you check his CRL API's profile, he is like recognized as Alex, which is like less recognizable, but at least is an equivalent of a real name, and we can call him that as well. So yeah, he actually upsets Ruben in the upper bracket. Very weird to see Ruben going down in the, I would say, Spanish kind of standoff. And he's gonna be facing EGW, definitely not a semi-final we expected from the day number 1. I believe if I were to like make an honest prediction about the semi-finals, I would say first semi-finals would be Riley versus Vitor, or Riley versus Ruben. I believe that would be like my prediction for a semi-final. And on the lower side of the upper bracket, Sandbox gets 2-0'd by Clown, which is huge. Like, okay, I'm not gonna... sorry, that's not good. Which I believe is a big upset, considering Sandbox was number 4 in the world last year, and Clown didn't even make it to the world finals. And Clown putting a like light work of the Sandbox in games 1 and 2 of the upper bracket. Opposing Clown was Mohamed Light, who put a light work of Rakan, also another very well-known player on the ladder, known from his Lava Hound plays, and I believe Rakan has at least at least one #1 finish, which is an impressive feat. If you even use the basic maths, every ladder season is like a month long, and Clash Royale has 10 years, so there has been like 120 months, roughly, where the #1 finish could have been won. So even if you have won, you should be like very impressed, as like way less than 100 players can brag with this kind of achievement. Obviously the #1 player in the number of ladder finishes is the Mohamed Light. That goes without saying. Second one being the very old school player in Anaban, who I believe was participating in the qualifier, but he didn't make it to the group stage, so sucks for him. Yeah, then Mohamed Light make a quick work of Clown and made it to the semi-final. Semi-final where I believe he also will be facing a Kimchi77, another... I don't recognize this guy from a pro scene. I believe he made it a couple of times to some kind of competitions, like niche ones, but he never made it to the monthly finals, so also his first appearance, and also with a very great run. But first things first, Ezreal versus Samuel Bosotto. I believe that was the closest game in terms of like matching skills that happened yesterday, and Ezreal took it 2-0. Obviously, 2-0 doesn't tell the entire story, as players can be like you can potentially win 2-1 by completely dominating your 2 games and just losing one random game by getting just hard countered. Like it happens in this type of environment where like people are playing for these slightest advantages. But like this 2-0 was very close. I actually managed to spectate this live. And then we had Ta versus Kimchi77. Once again, I would say a huge upset, as the rookie in Kimchi beat Ta, a seasoned player by this point. I still remember that Ta from 2021 when he was a rookie, and he pretty much came to the pro scene and won his first monthly finals that he appeared in. Then he like managed to extend his career. I believe he got to at least 2 world finals, most notably in 2024 when only 8 players qualified. So like Ta, very good player, very consistent, and we're gonna be seeing more of him, but not today, because he got outed by Samuel Bosotto. Once again, like, even though it's top 16 compared to top 12 last year, it is not easy to be playing these monthly finals, as right now you're playing only the best of the best and some rookies, which honestly cannot be ignored in this competition. Kimchi going for a run, Molejas going for a run, I believe... Oh, okay. No, Rafael Nadal actually in Akaza beat Riley and eliminated him, so like pretty much... I don't think a single rookie got outed on day 1. Okay, Rakan got outed because he lost to Sandbox, but like, that's besides the point. Like, we all know that Rakan is a very good player, but he got Mohamed Light in round 1, and that's just a wall for many players. Actually, is it live? Okay, it's live. My stream was definitely delayed. Okay, we're definitely
Dude,
live. I'm gonna
I'm
stop
so
yapping
glad to be back
for
to
now.
CRL action. You know what it's like. It's our 9th season doing this together. There's just something different about those special monthly finals weekends, and obviously World Finals, which is what we are working
What is
towards
Andrew's
today.
voice?
A lot of
I'm
upsets
gonna
yesterday.
just
Mohamed Light just goading
pull
out of his
out a
mind.
full
There was a
screen
moment where he picked up
and enjoy
his
this
Nintendo
monthly
Switch
finals.
at the end of a game because he knew it was already over. Just doing Mo Light things. I am so excited to see what happens today, and of course,
And Rich
our
trying to
first best
hold
of
his laugh.
fives of 2026.
Bro,
Man. Let's
Andrew,
do
don't
this.
troll.
Got a little ways to get there. Lots of matches on their way, and those BO5s will be a big one.
Okay, I love this duo, by the way. Why is Andrew like deepening his voice for no reason? Did he like lose a challenge or something? That was unexpected.
Get those rewards and show you what's in store for you on the day, because all you gotta do is hang out, use the QR codes, and get those free rewards inside your phone. Andrew, did you roll anything good yet? yesterday?
You know what? My one
And
star
he's still
became a
doing it.
two-star.
Bro,
It
he lost
wasn't
the challenge,
a
didn't
great
he?
two-star, but it wasn't the worst. I think it was like a handful of executioners, which honestly, at this point, when you can get some free epics, I'm totally in for it. My account is pretty far away from level 16, so excited to see where those rewards are going to be today. I know we have a banner. I know we have a lucky two-star chest. And I'm pretty sure we have a banner overlay decoration. So remember, we are going to be giving those out at an hour, or excuse me, 2 hours in, 4 hours in, and at the very end of our broadcast. That's right. We have a very long day ahead of us. It's a great day. I think it's really cool that we have 16 players. There are our rewards. Rich, what do we got?
Got a 2-star chest that might roll your way up. Of course, I think we'll all be looking for that 5 in the end. The beautiful banner, and oh, look at those guys with their flight caps ready to drop.
Okay, what are we doing? Hello? Okay.
In 4 hours in, and at the very end of our broadcast. That's right. We have a very
6 is that we are allowed
Finally, Andrew. too much trolling.
more players to come into our Swiss stage. 1,500 players. It used to be 1,000 players. Now it's 1,500, which brings more names into the mix. And as we saw yesterday, some of those new names can pull off some big upsets. So yes, all you people in the chat talking about how you're better than these players for year in, year out, you could be here. There's 500 more spots. Then you get to the Swiss stage. After that Swiss stage, you're going to go to the group stages, which is what we talked about a lot yesterday. You're put in a group with several other individuals, and the top 2 players from each of those groups will be in our monthly finals, which is where we were yesterday. 16 players in, which means there is no longer a first round bye, but there is still elimination games. It is a dual mode format, best of 3 dual mode, of course, double elimination, so you get one chance to lose a set, you're still in it, and obviously in dual mode you cannot repeat any said card in any said set unless you get a perfect draw. And like I said, 3 best of 5s coming your way. Rich, we're giving away gold, we're giving away points. How much money we got going on here?
We got nice pockets of change coming your way for our winners and all the way through down to people who played in our group stage as well. But here in the top 16, just for making it, you walk away with $500. Everyone who's left right now is in our top 12, so $1,000 minimum what they've cashed in if you make it all the way to the end and hoist that monthly final trophy. $14,000 for our monthly champion. And, we know a few players who've raised that cash a few times.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be a big victory for whoever makes it to that final stage.
Yeah, but like I said, there's a lot of action to get through today. We're going to start in the lower part of our bracket, starting right off with eliminating players. That's right, and there are big names on the line. As I said, Rafael Nadal is where we're starting off. He eliminated Riley yesterday in a 2-1 in the first match of the lower bracket. Very, very surprising there. We're going to start things off actually at the bottom with Tanjiro versus Samuel Basoto. Samuel Basoto got a 2-0 win over Ta. That was actually more of like a
Are you there?
2-0-1 win with a draw
yes, I am,
in the middle of it.
I am there.
Hi. Sorry. Did I interrupt something? Like, literally speaking.
Like, I'm gonna just be spectating the CRL monthly finals, so I assume you have muted my stream and you didn't notice, but like, I'm gonna be just spectating CRL right now. I don't know if you're interested in that.
Sorry.
You can definitely like follow through. I was literally just about to explain who I'm gonna be cheering for like in coming matches, and like lower bracket, for instance, I'm gonna back up for a second. Lower bracket, I believe we're gonna be already in for some good matches. Like for instance, Ruben versus Sandbox will be super interesting. Like obviously Sandbox will be a favorite, but like I've been a long time fan of Ruben, 2020 World Champion with Team Queso, and an excellent Roll Giant or Balloon player. We'll be also seeing Clown versus OP Sam, Clown courtesy of losing to Mohamed Light. Not too shabby, but you have to rebuild yourself after this loss, and I think Clown will be the favorite, yet OP Sam was looking very well yesterday as well. Another matchup will be Adriel and against Akaza. I'm gonna keep calling him Akaza because he's been like known by that name on ladder for a very long time, and even though Adriel is the favorite and my favorite, Kaza showed a great showing yesterday, beating Riley and outing him in a 2-1 fashion, and then Starnger and Basotto. I think every single player in the world is cheering for Basotto right now. Okay, let's go to the games.
Was nailed.
I'm excited to see what he does here.
Yeah, I mean,
And we're gonna be
do
starting
get
off
players
with the
that he was going
Tanjiro
up
versus
against
Basotto.
are kind of not no names, but just not as well known.
Sorry, I was
as,
just wondering
some
why
of the other
everything had
players
gone
on the line.
silent
We
for a
have so many
second.
world finals. We have so many world,
Okay,
a couple
but-
world champions. But EGW looked really good, Rich. So I think you'll be really excited to see how he comes out. He had a good amount of deck versatility. He was kind of all over the place. I mean,
Okay, the internet
easy to be
connection
all over the
issues
place when
are
you only
not
have to
cool.
play 4
We have to
games.
stop with that. Thank you
Sure,
in
yeah,
advance.
you can kind of spread your deck pool out. You might have a deck pool
Me?
of 4
What?
ga-
How do I cause
5
internet
decks,
connection
but you look pretty
issues?
deep across
No,
just
no,
4
it wasn't.
games.
It wasn't
How
you. It was
deck
just
was. As he
rhetorical.
gets drug into deep
Sorry.
waters, you know, Andrew, when I look at this bracket today, the most interesting
And
thing
Tanjiro
here
versus
is how many of
Basotto.
these fresh faces
Like he
have
kept
made it
saying,
further
like
along in the
Tanjiro.
competition. You look at that
First
upper
of all,
bracket,
he's
right?
known
Connor
as a
Riley
very
is the
cheesy
only
player
former
on
world
ladder.
finalist
I don't
who's in
remember
that
if he was
upper
like pushing
bracket at the moment.
top ladder
And then
with
down on the lower
like
side of it,
skillful
we still
decks
have a lot of
ever.
new faces
He's known for
who are
getting
mixed
his
in.
like top
And of
10
course, right
finish
now we see one
with
of those new
P.E.K.K.A.
faces
Goblin
up against
Giant in the
one of
boosted season.
classics all the way back from 2019
And once
CRL
that got
Samuel
nerfed,
Basoto.
he kept
And
playing
you
the
were here with Josh yesterday.
giant double
Of course,
prince
there was
with
that
Hero
great
Mega
matchup
Minion,
with
which
Tom.
is
But
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit
which
about
is
what you
basically
saw
the
from
equivalent
Tanjiro
of the Goblin
You know,
Giant
Tanjiro was
P.E.K.K.A.
a bit of a surprise. You know,
in
he
current
started the
meta.
day off going up against EGW. He loses 0-2, and I think kind of in that mindset, you're like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. I know EGW. I don't really know Tanjiro. I believe that's how it went. I think that's who he played
Oh, no,
against.
he beat Riley to start off the day.
Oh yeah, start off.
He's the one who
Yes,
sent-
excuse
sent
me, I
Yeah.
was looking at the wrong thing. Yes, he started off against Riley, going 2-1 there,
I think
which
I'm
was
just
actually
gonna watch your
really,
stream
really
in silence for
surprising.
now, so I don't
honestly.
interrupt or anything.
Riley, a lot of people were kind of talking about
But-
how during the creator event he didn't do what
And
you
we
thought he
start the
was going to
game
do,
number
but
one.
you and I never
Tanjiro
hold much
at the
weight to
bottom
that
of the
because
screen,
it's a
Samuel
creator event. It's
at
fun. He
the
was
top.
the only person in that event that
And
actually
looks
had
like
CRL
Basotto
this
is pulling
weekend,
out a
so you
drill.
expected him to
Game
kind
one.
of,
Very
you know,
solid pick.
play close to the
Nothing
chest
to
in terms of
complain
showing his
about.
decks. But Tanjiro
And
came out
Tanjiro
and played really, really well.
playing
Samuel
Furnace and
did
Golden
kind
Knight.
of what you'd
Definitely
expect. He
signs of
played
some kind of a bridge spam
consistent. He ran into
starting
Adriel,
off.
which was really, really tough. Adriel has looked really good. So I'm excited to see what Tanjiro does. Definitely a bit of a
Snowball in
surprise
play,
yesterday.
signifying that it is gonna be in fact a Goblin Giant. I don't think another deck runs this type of sequence. And Tanjiro pulling out a Hog Rider, which completely drifts my predictions away. It's gonna be a Mega Knight Hog Rider deck that we've seen yesterday. I completely forgot about this deck because you just don't expect pro players to run this combination, and yet it works.
Not go well, as I said. EGW has not dropped a game. He went 0-2
Absolutely
against him,
stunning.
but yeah, Tanjiro was able to pick
Basato will
up
have to
game
be very
one
careful about
against Riley,
sending
drop
his
a game,
next
and then
drills,
come back. So
as
he's
Mega
also
Knight
got
will
a
be
little bit of
always
that
in
gumption.
cycle to stop that one.
And quite a lot of leaking as Tanjiro's just slowing things back down, maybe waiting to see what Samuel Basoto is going to do.
Yeah, Sam looks like he's going to drill, maybe not wanting to get too aggressive with the drill, maybe not wanting to ruin his
And
cycle.
both players leak Elixir. Samuel just knows he cannot go in because he's gonna be just facilitating the MK push, and Tanjiro has no interest in allowing Basoto to dictate the pace of the game, so he just waits at 10 and waits for
Yeah,
Basoto
I
to
mean,
play something so he can
especially once
respond.
you've already seen this
I
many
think
cards come
Basoto
out, you
makes
can
a
already see
mistake.
that Sam's deck
You
is
have to
pretty
play
fast.
aggressively with
It
drill
makes maybe a little bit, I mean,
to
not
get
really.
some
Even
kind of upper
Tanjiro's deck
hand,
it is a heavier
but at the
hog
same
deck.
time,
We've seen a lot of heavier hog decks.
because like in
the
double
current meta
Elixir,
with MK, with
definitely
Giant Skeleton,
Tanjiro has the advantage. That goes
but
without
both
saying.
these guys
But
kind
in
of happy to
triple,
sit back
the
and play
matchup
incredibly patient,
switches
which is,
again.
you know,
I think
kind of
Basoto will be
impressive
having
for
a
young new blood.
great time in triple, but in double Tanjiro will have to fight for the advantage as he won't be having a spell cycle advantage. He will have to basically get this MK over the bridge and try to get something down. With Hog Rider and Earthquake, definitely a good response against this Tesla.
Tanjiro was sitting on that Mega Knight, knowing the Mighty Miner was there to drill him down.
Evo Furnace in play.
Yeah, I mean,
getting it down
yeah,
is
makes sense.
Basotto.
I mean, he obviously does want to get to the Evo Mega Knight, but it's just too much to spend in single when you don't really have a plan, especially when
And
your
another
opponent can punish.
reason why I don't like
So
Basotto just
Samuel
not playing
playing
any
really,
drill
really patient,
is
which
because
I like. I
drill
like
is
seeing
one of
Sam
his
kind of
evolutions,
poised,
and you want to pretty much
as AC
capitalize on
talked
your
about yesterday, he's a
evolutions
guy that can
in
get
this game as
emotional. We
much as
saw that
possible.
not really
They are
yesterday.
pretty
You know,
much
he
your
ended up
fake
playing
advantage
very
makers.
well, even
If you
in spite
cannot
of some
create
of
the
the struggles he
advantage
went
out
through.
of playing cards in proper order,
Evo
you
Mega
have
Knight
to
working on the
capitalize
right-hand
on
side.
playing
Hog gonna go
evolutions
right
in the right
past
order.
as
And
the
right now, Basotto actually
Tesla
wastes
goes
Evo
down.
Snowball
Drill to
on
hold,
defense,
mixed with
believing that it's gonna be
Evo
a right
Snowball,
call.
and
He
that will
got
prevent any hog
caught with
shots
a
on the
bad
left-hand
cycle,
side.
he fixes it,
So far,
and he believes it's still
very
gonna be fine, that he
slow
still
play
will
from
be
both
able
these
to
two, very
out-chip the
methodical,
Tanjiro
not
in
really
triple,
getting over aggressive. That might
while
be the most
spending his
offensive move we've
very
had so far.
so
That connects
precious
though. That's a
evolutions.
big connection for Sam.
Yeah, I mean, considering that Sam has only used his drill on defense, the fact that he's actually in the damage lead is probably a great showing of why he's okay to play so patiently.
Good arrows, bringing the
You know,
Demolisher
drill
down,
is
and
one of
right
those
now
decks that just
Basotto
because it's a
in
fast
trouble.
cycle, it doesn't mean you have to play hyper aggressive. One of
Tesla
the
up
worst
high.
things that you can do is kind of send in uneducated drills or drills that just give your opponent an elixir advantage.
Final
And honestly, I couldn't agree
Right
more
now,
with Andrew.
25.93
This
top
matchup
left,
looks
bottom right
very
22.80.
good for Basotto in triple
Tanjiro
elixir,
has
and
not
right
been
now
aggressive
it's gonna
playing
be
the
his
Earthquakes
time
on
to
tower
shine.
instead.
He
You
pretty
see him
much
go
has to
again here. Earthquake higher on the Tesla.
put a
Misses
foot
the
on the
hog
gas
through, but
and
of
play
course,
as many
the
drills
drill
for
has
as
been
long as
heavily
this Mega
defensive.
Knight
It's
is
crazy. Even with 30 seconds remaining, Sam only has a 300 HP lead, and he's happy to
out of
poison the
cycle.
weaker of
There's
the two
another
lanes.
Evo Snowball
He's
on
using his
defense,
Evo
not on
Snowball
offense.
basically only defensively, and he's cycling his Mighty Miners like crazy. He's letting these Demolishers just create a little bit of pressure, and that Hog gets... Did it get a hit?
Got very close. Did not
Right?
get the hit though.
I don't think he got the
That was
hit, yeah.
right
There's the
there.
Golden Knight, very close. The
And look
defensive
at
drill
that. I mean,
and
Sam...
defensive snowball,
Oh,
making
the Hog
mistake.
is there.
Hog for
The
one,
Hog is there. The
Hog
Hog's
for
gonna
two.
get another hit.
Oh,
Oh my
the Hog gets
goodness!
two!
And I was just gonna say, this is something that we saw from Sam yesterday. He has played like kind of lights out for 4.5 minutes or so,
And that's a
and
tragic
then just
loss
in
for
the final
Basotto.
moments, just
He had
making
this locked
a few
locked
errors
up
that cost him
and
the
just
entire
with last
game.
snowball
That was
froze
one of
the
the
game
most
when
passive,
Tanjiro builds up the
crazy
big
losses I've
push
seen in a while.
down the lane.
That was absolutely astonishing, Andrew. I mean, you know, I understand trying not to let, you know, and this is the hard part, right? He's working up against an earthquake, so the buildings are circumspect in that situation. You have a lot of concerns about the Mega Knight and the Golden Knight being able to break through and just kind of create this big down
Brutal.
situation.
I
Because the
expected
Hog's
Basotto to
sneaky,
win
so
this. He
I
was playing this so
understand
well.
trying to make sure that you don't let that big avalanche come down at the end, but at some point you have to create a little bit more separation there, and those last few moments, just the Hog sneaking through. And I don't know, maybe it was more SimCity, maybe it was trying to lean on the cycle and get multiple Teslas down. Might have been the answer, to spread around and away from the earthquake. Either way, what looked like a clinical
Yeah,
game
that just
from Samuel
sucks
Basotto
for
ends
Basotto.
up with a throw in the final few seconds.
Okay, I think I'm gonna
Yeah,
mute
I
myself
mean,
for
that's
a
really the best way to
for a
put
while.
it.
I'm
And the
gonna be
matchup
like
is
back
not
in
bad for
half an
Sam.
hour,
You know,
and for now
his Demolishers and his Mighty Miners. His Mighty
I'm gonna
Miners
catch
can't
up
get
to the
reset.
stream,
His
but for now,
Demolishers
yeah,
can't really
just
be
enjoy
dealt
the
with very
CRL.
well. You know, he
Where
should
can I
be able to
even
get
mute
good poison
myself?
value with the pile-ups. He used snowballs a lot for that instead. I mean, here's the thing. If Sam won that
There.
game, we would all be
Here we
talking
go.
about how great he was, how poised, how calculated, and all that, and methodical. And he was very close to doing that. I just think that he needed to be a little bit more aggressive with his offensive evos when he had the drill, when he had the evo snowball, and I think maybe use the poison and Teslas in lieu of just dropping more and more of his units on, you know, his side of the map that didn't really ever turn into counter pushes. It was just a really passive game, almost too much so.
Yeah, you know, it's easy for us to litigate it on the back end, obviously. You know, I used to do a whole series on my YouTube channel of litigating things and saying what would happen in an alternate universe if you've done one thing differently. But Samuel was up against a pretty massive wall, massive wall there, and Tanjiro did a really good job in those final couple of pushes, right? He was, you know, we were looking at that going, hey, he's not getting Earthquake on tower very much, which to me was kind of surprising. And he was working trying to sneak through the Hogs. And in the end, he made the right call. He clogged everything up, made it really chaotic for Samuel to play defense, and snuck a Hog through in the very final seconds and he comes up with another big-time victory.
Yeah, and when you play that close to the chest throughout the entire 5 minutes of gameplay, you cannot make any sort of error at the end of the game like we saw him do. He plays the drill defensively, and then he snowballs the hog off the drill into his own tower. Now, again, that is the reason he actually lost the game. But if you look at the grand scheme of things in the full 5 minutes, it's kind of like when a kicker misses a field goal and then a team loses in football.
Sure.
It's not the kicker's fault that completely. Like sometimes it is the kicker's fault, but there's other times when it's like a lot of things had to go wrong for the last several, 48 minutes or whatever it is, whatever sport you're talking about, for that to matter. And that's how I feel like it went with Sam in game one.
Well, here we go, game number 2, and that Loon is in great position here.
Yeah.
Inferno Tower going to do absolutely nothing. Giant Skeleton on the tower.
Wow,
Balloon
and a little
on the power.
BM.
Wow.
A lot of BM.
And Andrew, I am just completely stunned. I don't know if I could be more surprised. And then Sam just goes, well, I will throw everything at the bridge right now. Tanjiro definitely low.
Hey,
will there be enough to actually turn back around here?
I mean, it's looking pretty good. Those Evo Bats are still alive. The miner is in, and the BM is still happening, and you can see the look on his face. That's the look on the face of a man that knows that he got a little ahead of himself. This is still Samuel Basoto we're talking about.
And look, he did something smart. He went and got the tower advantage. He got the tower down. He sold out. He didn't sell it to the point where he lost his king tower the opposite direction. But Sam was savvy and recognized the low elixir situation and just full sent the opposite direction and able to turn this into a real contest. And now, Andrew, a much more difficult contest, I think, for Tanjiro, as Sam really has no questions about what that Inferno Tower is going to do, and that's what we're talking about right there.
Yeah, the Inferno Tower was something that we talked about a good amount yesterday, just wondering how much more it was going to show up in the meta just because of how heavy the meta is right now. We're seeing so much lava, so much Mega Knight, so much Giant Skeleton. You have to think about what can be another way to get around these big beatdown decks, and Josh was talking about how the Inferno Tower could be a great answer. And the other thing here is that while Tanjiro feels like he might be in the advantage in a single, tower situation going in the same lane just because he has the Xe, the NATO, and the Giant Skeleton. This is Sam playing Quick Cycle with Inferno Tower, as we were talking about. He's very, very good with these types of decks.
The Xe creating problems. Zap for the reset. Sam has to get back around and distract this Executioner and have the bats ready for that balloon. And the Executioner and Zap, those two things together, not to mention the NATO. So many ways for Tanjiro to handle the two primary responses that Samwell has to these balloons.
I love the confidence of Sam to just drop that Inferno right in the pocket, knowing that he can just play large units like the Giant Skeleton on top of it. Hopefully he doesn't get, I was going to say, as soon as I'm commending him for it, he gets punished. Another great Magic Archer lineup here, and now Sam is almost in the lead.
Very tight, 1456, 1541, under 100 HP separating these guys with 90 seconds left.
It's a great Ice
Just
Spirit.
Like that,
it's
Sam
so
does
small.
Take the lead, yeah.
And just happy to get that Inferno down. It's a nice miner to pick up.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Back to the tower one more time for Sam.
And that little Bomber Berry does come out with the death damage, but Sam gets a connection? No, he does not.
Oh. Tanjiro doing a good job of sequencing here. Is trying to find different ways to break through, and now being a little bit more aggressive with the miners.
Yeah, Sam having a bit of trouble playing some defense here. Everything is just so heavy going in the same lane. It's just a really tough spot to be in. He's been doing a great job with the double-cycled Infernos, but that Xe in the back is just a menace.
Executioner still alive. Balloon still up as well.
And that's a really nice high cannon, and Sam is going to actually go down 2-0 here. The BM comes back, and the crowd goes wild, if you will, at the BM in the chat.
I mean, it was filthy the first time, and then Tanjiro let's be very clear here. Tanjiro a little lucky to survive after the way that Samwell turned that game around and fought a really good fight. And yes, we got the triple elixir and it got a little bit too heavy. Samwell did a really good job of trying to keep up with everything, but in the end, all the different pieces together, the executioner playing such a huge role, the NATO pulling stuff together, and it was just a little bit too much for Sam to solve that problem at the end, but he made it very, very dicey for Tanjiro.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear Sam in the conversation about how the beginning of that game went. You know, so many things went awry so quickly. Just with the placement of the Inferno, only having the Magic Archer, just the aggressive balloon, and Tanjiro very happy to take that tower early on. Sam able to even things up, as you guys can see, with his very quick cycle deck. He gets a Magic Archer with some Evo bats behind, and, you know, with the Miner comes in. A lot of good stuff there, but I think the bigger problem is you go back to game number 1 and the passivity of Sam, how passive he was is what I'm trying to say, was just a bit odd, especially with a deck that cycles that quickly. You know, there wasn't a lot of Evo drills going out, which is what you really, really need when you're playing a drill deck. The Evo drill can just be so brutal. You can really play stout defense and then get in an Evo drill late, but we just didn't really see that aggression that we needed to see from Sam. A big bummer to see him kind of drop game 1 in the manner that he did, and then the BM comes in game number 2. Tanjiro eliminates our former world number 3.
And, you know, that's a couple of top 3s now that Tanjiro has gotten wins over. So, you know, you look at some of these newer guys here, and they might have had different, varying matchups, but Tanjiro, 2-1 on Riley, and now a 2-0 on Samuel Basoto. Those are 2 wins you can hang your hat on.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I feel like, I mean, he's not done yet, but I feel like if you're Tanjiro and you think about the first monthly final that you've come to, where you're hearing the CRL stage, commentators talking about you, looking at the chat, all that, if you come out and you beat those 2 guys, you know, you might be able to be like, oh, well, you know, Sam was number 3 in the world years ago. Riley, it's been a couple years, but no, that's not how this is. Here they are in 2026, still at the top of their game, and Tanjiro has taken out both of them.
Well, you know, it's been interesting you mentioned that about staying top of the game for a long time. I made a post about it. I was blown away by how many long-term veterans, how many OGs of CRL Season 1 there were that made it to the group stage of CRL this time around.
There's a lot of dudes. I mean, it was great to see Belican in there and Surgical, all that.
Yeah, and of course, you know, you saw OP Sam here. He was the one who knocked out his former partner Morton, I believe, in the last second of the group stage. So, and on top of that, we still have both Sam and Ruben here in our monthly final. So a lot of OG players still showing they've got what it takes to hang.
Yeah, Ruben started off his campaign yesterday, a great 2-1 set victory over Vitor, and then he ran into El Mollejas, who he lost to 1-2, another one of our relative unknowns, who also has a dog and a cat with him on camera, which I feel like is just winning points with the chat. But a very, very impressive newcomer who was able to send Ruben down to the lower bracket, which is where he is now. Sandbox on the other side of it, you know, he ran into the force that was Clown, and then was able to take Rocket out to stay alive for day 2.
The Graveyard for Ruben in game number 1. Ran some Graveyard, got a win over Vitor with it yesterday. A little different construction in that Vitor matchup. He did not have Musketeer in there. Nor the Skelly Dragons, I believe. And Sandbox going drill.
Yeah, yesterday Ruben ran a Graveyard deck, the more traditional one that's in the meta right now with Knight and Evo, Furnace, Berserker. Berserker is just such a great card, in my opinion, especially defensively. You're able to defend like 5 Elixir units with 2 and just get an Elixir advantage or disadvantage back.
That's a nice bit of poison value for Ruben, getting a couple of troops plus the tower, plus the Tesla. He's going to be rewarded for it here.
Yeah, Skeleton Dragons, still to this day, one of the most underutilized card by the general public, but one of the most frustrating cards to deal with at the highest level. They're just not that tanky. They do just enough damage. They're cheap enough to where they're kind of annoying to deal with. Do I want to spend? Do I not? Do I want to just eat the damage? Are they really going to tank that much? And they really do a great job. That Hero Knight ability, though, not so great.
Yeah, Hero Knight, I mean, that's the thing with all the abilities, right? Is that temptation to use them in the Hero Knight ability. I guess the saving grace of it is that you always do get the bonus to your survivability out of it. But man, when you don't actually pull the aggro that you want, it can be pretty frustrating.
Yeah, totally. And I like what Sandbox is doing here with setting up a bit of a Sim City. And yeah, just to finish on that point completely. And I think that's why the cost of that ability is in a good spot. You should be punished for using it incorrectly because you're still getting a benefit.
Evo Drill in, Poison supporting. And again, that ability from Sandbox not quite there in time to have any sort of efficacy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm missing something here on why he continues to play it the way that he does. But I don't know. Sandy is a man with his own plan apparently, but down by about 500 HP.
Graveyard on the right-hand side. And he's just happy to continue to clean up stuff with the poisons, as the poison value has been significant enough that Ruben is more than happy to keep on sending it.
Yeah, and Ruben's been doing a great job with his defenses. The bomb tower's been carrying a lot of weight in terms of defense, and then he's got the great units in terms of the Hero Bar Barrel, the Knight, the Skellies that can all play great cleanup, even with the Snowball coming in. I like these Skeleton Dragons at the bridge. They bait out that Tesla, or they demand that Tesla.
Let's get some good damage here for Sandbox finally, as he gets poison in as well. And he will take the lead. Sandbox getting a ton out of that Evo Drill.
Really nice, and that's exactly what we're talking about, is you need to get a little more aggressive with those Evo drills. You need to make sure that Hero Knight ability has any sort of target, and it did that time, pulling the Knight away. You saw how much Ruben had to drop, and there we go. I mean, that's the thing about Evo Drill, is it's a fast cycle deck. You can get some damage in. You need to keep up your aggression throughout the game, but in Triple Elixir, this deck becomes so incredibly difficult to deal with. I would have actually loved to see that Graveyard in the opposite lane from Ruben. He's got the Knight there. He can keep going in with the Skeleton Dragon. And now he kind of recognizes, oh, I should have maybe put that pressure in the left-hand lane, but too little, too late.
And, we're seeing a very different story. Obviously, a totally different kind of deck that he's facing here for Sandbox. But, when you think about drill play, when you think about the difference in the Evo drill and when it's in its regular form, I'm a big fan of defensive drills when they're the regular drill. I'm a huge fan of using those defensively. If you do it in the right way, especially if you're like a single target defense, then you're able to turn those goblins into a little mini counter push, especially if you get a little bit of some sort of tankage in front of them. So I like that a lot. But, as you pointed out in the Samuel Basoto game, and as we saw here with how it turned the entire game on its head, that Evo drill, you need to have a really, really, really compelling reason for that not to go on the opposing tower.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that Sandbox was doing, which is something we were commending Mo Light for yesterday, is just setting up his Teslas, right? Like, we had a long conversation about, how lower level players might be more precious about their Teslas. When you look at higher level players, there's almost always a building on the board. Even when they have nothing to like in their mind, they're like, oh, my hand's not that good. I don't want to get super aggressive. My cycle's actually okay, but I still want to maintain a little bit of map control. I still want to get closer to my Evo Tesla, my Evo Cannon, what have you. And so cycling the Teslas, if you watched what Sandbox did, he had them on the board so much more. And, the conversation didn't really come down to, oh, how much the Evo Teslas saved Sandbox down the line, but it did come down to him just working through his cycle a lot more than like Sam did earlier today, so that he could get more drills out. He could get more aggressive. Because here's the other thing, is with drill, you're not always looking for damage. You are looking to throw off your opponent's rhythm and elixir. And that's really what drill does a lot in single and double. And then in triple elixir, you can really, really punish with that fast cycle, the Evo drill, Evo snowball combo, plus the poison.
Well, I do like what you're talking about with the buildings as well, where, people will sit on a certain card for a long time, and it could be a variety of cards, but buildings, the example we're talking about here, a 4 elixir card typically, when you're talking about Teslas and bomb towers, that clogs up your own cycle, right? And you mentioned getting the cycle moving. The ability to get that going and then possibly get one of your lower cost cards into hand, so now you can speed up the entire process. There's so much value to that when you're thinking about how often you can get your win condition down over the course of a 5-minute game.
So here we go. Nice King Tower activation to start there. E-Spirit on E-Spirit action.
Sandbox starting kind of the same way we talked about, setting up defensively with that cannon.
Looking like could be Hog Lightning here from Sandy and maybe going up against RG.
And Fish Boy makes it all the much more likely.
It's a nice Lightning. It's really aggressive this early on, but you can see Ruben going, man, he really got me there. Wasn't expecting it, and he's not really up by much. A nice defense here with the E-Spirit. Those aren't the hero goblins, so that's going to do more than enough. And this is the sandbox that we saw in the second set yesterday, kind of vibing. I think yesterday when he first came out, he was feeling maybe a little nervous or something, but in game number 2, you saw him dancing, vibing, feeling himself, even when things weren't going his way. And, you know, we've talked about this year in, year out. Sandy is a guy that just needs to have confidence, and then he's going to play the game that we're all expecting him to play.
Sandbox won against Rockin' in a lava matchup with the same deck yesterday.
Yeah, you know, Sandbox, it's really interesting when you look at his deck pool. I think he's leaning pretty far away from Royal Giant. We saw him play very, very little Royal Giant in the group stage. A guy that was kind of starting to be known as a one-trick RG player. Sometimes he almost would paint himself into a corner in best of threes because you knew it was going to come out. That is not the Sandbox of 2026.
That was kind of an unfortunate Hog Rider before Sandbox, as the timing just let the Hunter completely take care of business. And he's going to have a successful defense here, but he's going to spend a ton on this defense, and Ruben's not going to have to do a lot when he decides to go ahead and Fireball instead. Not going to have to do a lot to clean that up.
Yeah, it's really interesting because these Lightning Hog matchups are with RG can be pretty tough for the RG player. You've got a fast enough cycle. You know, your Monk isn't reflecting a lot of things. The Lightning coming in can actually be really, really effective against those units that are usually behind the RG. Whether it is the Monk in front or the Fish Boy plus the Hunter behind, the Lightning can really kill those pushes. So curious to see, you know, how Ruben's going to break through. He's a guy that is, you know, over the last few years we've talked about how Mugi is the best RG player in the game. Ruben is not far behind.
Lightning to try to clear the way. Hog gets completely gunked up, though, as the mass of that Monk clogs the lane well. 1764 to 2312. Sandbox comfortably in the lead as we go into the final 2 minutes. But this is where Ruben can turn up the heat.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about with the Lightning there. Nice cleanup here, Log to push back, and the E-Spirit to reset. I mean, Sandbox is really just in a great spot with his deck choice. And this is the first time we've seen Ruben play RG this entire weekend. Probably not going exactly how he'd expected, but he's not far behind. He's got, you know, he's got the Fireball, and obviously an RG shot is going to be more than enough.
Question is, does he have a solid double push ready and locked and loaded for this final minute? Another good Lightning. Hog should get one, and does it get a second one? Does not, but still damage in 1406. And now Ruben going up high with the Royal Giant rather than building from the back and trying to get the double stack to break through.
To build from the back, going up against a Furnace. Furnaces are so annoying. You have to spend a decent amount to take care of them, or you can just cycle that Furnace in the lane that the RG's in, or, you know, the first RG to kind of bait out the Elixir for the second. So he's got a relative fast cycle, and he's got a card that really clogs up the lane. That's a nice high Hunter, though, and that's what we're talking about with the way that Ruben plays.
That's a great Hunter. And now with 18 seconds left, Ruben not far behind, 15:59 to 13:65. Sandbox with a chance to 2-0 the former world champion.
Yeah, wow, he's going to be able to just cannon and Lightning. That's it.
Fisherman not able to pull away.
Wow.
Lightning will do it. And Sandbox 2-0s Ruben to continue in our lower bracket.
just dialed, bro. Just absolutely dialed. He starts his day yesterday going 0-2 against Clown. Since then, he's been perfect. 2-0 over Rockin', 2-0 over Ruben, and great deck choices, great gameplay, super aggressive in game number one, which is, I feel like, what you have to do. He recognizes the matchup. He starts to figure out ways to pick apart, the defenses on the drill. We see some better hero knight abilities. And then in game number two, we saw this yesterday with a similar type of matchup, RG against Hog Lightning, and the ability to get back around, the lightning on the support troops, the annoying hunter, and then, of course, you look at, just how much damage a hog is going to do early on, and then you're able to kind of just sit back and play the game that you have kind of designed over the next few minutes.
It's so interesting when you see a Royal Giant game where the fishermen really can't get involved in the conversation at all. It's been such a critical part of RG success for such a long time.
Yeah.
And in this game, whether it be because the fire spirits from the furnace were clogging at the lane, or the electro spirit and the skeletons were there, or the lightning taking it off the board, the fish boy was pretty much neutralized. And at that point, you're almost reverting to playing an old school version of Royal Giant where you actually are playing beat down and trying to break through and push through. And when you look at what Ruben was up against in that situation, trying to get to the second level was going to be nearly impossible. I'm pretty impressed with the job he did of getting it back within shooting range at one point. But this was just a phenomenal pick by Sandbox, knowing that Ruben is, from a deck pool perspective, going to lean on Royal Giant a lot, and he was rewarded for it.
Yeah, I mean, so far 4 games up, 4 games down, 2 sweeps back-to-back. Former world champion sent home, former world number 3 sent home. Sandbox staying alive, Tanjiro staying alive, and they'll be facing off in our lower bracket in the third round. Next up is going to be Clown versus OP Sam. But if we want to take a look at the guys that are sitting pretty top of our bracket, EGW and El Mollejas still hanging out with Mo Light and Kimchi. 3 relative unknowns, Kimchi and El Mollejas more so than EGW. And then you have the goated one in Mo Light, who he hasn't. So Josh was telling me this yesterday, where he had already won 6-0 in the group stage, and he'd gone 2-0 in every single one of those games, or every one of those sets, and then he played some meme decks against Ian. So if it weren't for the meme decks against Ian to probably farm some content, he ended up losing that set, so it didn't work out. He has been undefeated for over a week now in CRL. He is just playing lights out, and we're going to have that conversation when we look at Clown, because, you and I talked about Clown and how he's an exceptional player. He's a guy that has just barely missed the mark on World Finals year in, year out, and we've expected him to be there for the last couple of years. He hasn't made it. And I do feel like in 2026, he's still looking just as strong as ever until he played Mo Light, and then it just looks like chess and checkers. Sam, on the other side of it, had a much more Sam day, right? Kind of battling, gritty. He actually had 3 games with mirror win conditions that he won in the final 20 seconds, that he was losing for the other 440. So Sam is also locked in. He's going a little bit of a harder route than Clown is.
Sure, definitely a big uphill battle for Sam from this spot, but taking things back to Clown to continue along that, Clown's another one of those guys. You talked about him being just kind of a cusper for World Finals a number of years in a row. He gained a lot of respect in those non-CRL competitions during those years, right? He gained a lot of respect when he put some pressure on Mohamed Light, another one of these guys who's a smaller name who took some, and probably more so than anybody else, took some unexpected games off of Mo in team competition. And this was kind of on his way towards some of his more individual successes in CRL. And I don't know what the formula is for Clown to finally break through. The reality is that this league rewards consistency, right? You can have one great competition and win a golden ticket, or you got to be there every single month and putting it together. And this is one of those questions: is does Clown have that consistency where he can really break through enough to make that top 16? This feels like it could be the year. Or is he going to need to be somebody who has one good run that he relies on?
Yeah, I mean, considering we're now allowing the top 1,500 in, you know he's going to make it every single month. It's just about what he can do in the Swiss stage so that he can get the points in the group stage. I don't know if he's going to win a monthly final. That's such a difficult thing to do, but I really, really hope to see him at World Finals, at least based on the leaderboard points.
Well, it's very possible that you can lose a monthly final and still go to World Finals with a golden ticket this year. We've seen it happen a number of times in the past.
Archer Queen, not a card that we saw much of at all yesterday. I don't know if we saw her even once. She is actually back in the meta. Not the most popular card in the meta, but she's there. That's a really nicely timed Vines.
Yeah, she's going to go bye-bye, and Dark Prince requires a response. Valk will come out to clean it up. And Giant Skeleton, you and I were talking about this during the creator battle. Giant Skeleton has just made such a resurgence, and as we talked about that day, Giant Skeleton is either everywhere or nowhere.
And he is very much so everywhere right now. Actually shocked we didn't see him in the earlier two sets.
Mad Scientist always doing Mad Scientist things. We talked about that mirror deck yesterday.
Yeah.
one of those ones that I would have loved to see.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well, but it was definitely a fun one to watch.
I don't know what the lore is, but it does feel like there's some relationship, maybe younger sister happening between the Valk and the Berserker.
Oh yeah, totally. I wasn't sure where you were going there. I was like, are we talking about Sam or Clown here? And then the Valkyrie and Berserker made more sense.
There you go.
Clown yesterday started off his campaign going 2-0 over Sandbox, running RG and Lava. But going with a Drill Goblin Hut deck here, which is just a really, really unique deck. It's one of those decks where you look at and you're like, are you trying just a little bit too much or are you brilliant? And as of right now, defense is making him look pretty smart, but the game is still very, very close. Very new.
Well, you know, Sam has played a lot of like Battle Ram, Hog Rider, Royal Hogs, and he knows he probably has to cover those style of decks. He's at least maybe preparing for that throughout this best of three. And so this might be partially because of, and that might result in a small connection there.
It does.
Just barely stops.
Well, the spears get a little bit of damage on the right-hand lane, so Clown's still in the lead. I guess, you know, the thing that I think about here, Rich, is that Sam did not run Lightning once yesterday, and I don't think he ran it much during the group phase, which is probably why we might be seeing AQ here.
Yeah, I don't know who's coaching or who's like helping Clown with deck picking, but you know, you think about not worrying about the Lightning, you think about going with a non-traditional building option for Drill because he probably knows he has to cover certain cards that require building responses in later games, and it definitely seems like someone's out there doing their homework.
Yeah, and the Goblin Hut is really difficult to break through. That building is actually very, very HP heavy, and obviously the spears coming out just give great support. Didn't see as much Goblin Hut as I thought we might see yesterday, but starting off today, wow, this is a tough push to deal with. Only 4 elixir. Maybe he gets back to Valkyrie? No, he goes back to his Goblin Hut as I'm singing its praises.
Yeah, and that's just trusting what you have in cycle, right? The Evo Snowball able to roll everything back up. Has to drill defensively here.
Ooh, this is a really nicely constructed push by Sam. Delivery comes out with the Snowball. Wow. I mean, that was good by Clown, but it feels like he is fighting for his life right now.
I mean, he's facing true bridge spam right now. It just is relentless. For the first time, Sam gives him a breather. And, I mean, that was about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes of just relentless pressure at the bridge.
Yeah, and still just barely behind is Clown, even though he hasn't been on offense in what feels like forever. Obviously going to be a bit difficult just looking at the responses that Sam has, but more so the aggression. You can see Clown with the shake of the head, as that is a big breakthrough on the left-hand side.
Yeah,
wow.
And that the writing was on the wall there when that second hut had to come out right in the thick of everybody. That was going to get evaporated, completely disappeared. Some Chris Angel stuff. It was gone. And next thing you know, so was the tower.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about the HUD is as strong as is it just needs a little bit of support. Sometimes when it's played as a last-ditch effort time and time again, you're just kind of eating through Elixir because, yes, it does have a good amount of HP, but it doesn't do a ton of damage. The spears are more so there to be supported, so you need the hut to come down to pull a unit, but you need a unit to kind of protect the hut so that the spears can help with the DPS, if that all makes sense. So you look at the way that Sam had hyper-aggressive plays there, just pulling out those huts, AQs coming out desperately. But I think the thing that stood out to me the most was how well-timed Sam's vines were throughout that entire game.
Yes.
Just making Clown spend a bit more or stopping the Archer Queen, right? We talked so much, or I was talking so much about how Sam didn't play a lot of Lightning. It leaves a space for AQ. Good job on Clown on the pick there. But well-timed vines, a lot cheaper and just as effective for Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through not a lot of Lightning. I mean, there's nothing played yesterday for Lightning, and I didn't go through all of his matches from the group stage either. But, you know, you look at the read, and you feel like the read was a good call. But once you get deep into those later waters and the elixir starts flowing, we've all been there with bridge spam, right? Where
Yes.
all you're doing is keeping your head above water, and eventually that's going to climb up to the top of your head. And we saw that happen here, so... a tough one on the side of Clown, and now he has to go back and regroup and figure out, A, what does he come out with in game number 2, and B, is Sam going to continue with the themes he's done here, or is this that moment where suddenly Sam does something unexpected?
Yeah, I mean, that is just such a good matchup. There's very, very little data on it online, but even just with 6 cards or more matching, it's an 80-20. 7 cards, 8 cards or more, it's 100-0, but there's only 1 sample size. And in total, there's only 7 sample sizes of this matchup, so obviously not played very often. That happens a lot in dual mode, as we talked about yesterday. You know, with the way that the decks are constructed for dual mode, they're going to be just a little off what is traditional. You know, like in this deck, we're seeing the Goblin Hut instead of something like the Tesla or the Cannon. The Valkyrie comes out instead of, you know, like a Knight or a Mighty Miner. But, you know, this is a very, very tough matchup. You've basically only got one true ground tank in the Valkyrie, and you have so much to deal with on the ground. The Wizard, the Skeleton Dragons
in CRL? That's my
and
question
honestly, man, just this
that I want to
combo
see the
right
answer
now
to.
of the Giant Skeleton in front of. Doesn't matter if it's a
Welcome
battle
back,
ram,
player
a ram
home, and
rider,
today we're
a
going
balloon.
up again.
It is
Today
just so
we have a
difficult to
drill
deal
cycle
with, which is why
versus
we're seeing a bit of a
Mulfolk
rework, or at
battle
least a
clan
rework in
hunger. Yeah, not
progress
battle
at the
stage,
moment
clan hunger.
for the Giant
Yeah,
Skeleton for next season.
unfortunately, the drill player has
Sam's been
Pasreal
enjoying
installed,
going piggies,
so
MK
Morfolk player
Hog an
has to
option
counter
as well.
by buying Resin Pass
Yeah,
in
Sam's been
turn.
really enjoying those heavy hog decks.
Exactly, the credit card, the most
Hopefully
powerful
group
card
stage
of
we
them
saw him play
all.
more of those.
Yeah, it's
The
much
one
like for the
card
credit
to rule
card.
them all.
You know, it's
That being
interesting, just in
said,
the same vein
I have
as
missed
you
a
see
couple of
Giant
games,
Skeleton
and I'm
come back, a lot
surprised
more
that you're
Dark
still
Prince
in VC.
Yeah,
this
Thank you
season
for
than last
that.
season.
Yeah, the
Sam,
Dark Prince, I
Of
think,
course.
is just another great
Playing-
response to
I
how
wasn't
much drill
even
we're
like
seeing.
in VC technically. I was like
You know, we're actually
away
not
from
seeing
my
much
computer,
Royal
still
Ghost
in the
this
VC,
season.
just
Sam played
doing
a lot
live
of
stuff.
Evo's Royal Ghost in the group stage.
and it just
But
happened
I'm wondering
to
if the
hop in exactly at the same
increase
time as
in
I
Dark
did.
Prince
Nice
usage
timing.
is a
No,
lot
I had
do
to wait
with
a few minutes, but yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Early graveyard
Close
here
enough.
for Sam.
Anyway, OP
Yes.
Sam playing with Graveyard,
Clown has
with
some
Furnace and Poison,
Work to do in front of
facing
him.
Clown,
Yeah, Sam started
like
the day
most
off,
likely
with
what is
Graveyard
gonna
yesterday,
be
if I
the Magic
remember
Archer
correctly, against
with
El
Pigs,
Mollejas.
Lightning,
El
and the
Mollejas.
Dark Prince. Very popular
That game
deck.
gave me some-
We've seen it
So I've
multiple
been working
times
on it all day
across
at
the
night.
CRL
And that was one of those
qualifiers.
games that he kind of
And Clown
stole
actually
from
pulling
behind
the
in
Hero
last 20
Wizard
seconds.
instead. This deck has 2 variants. One more defensive, solid if you may,
And is happy to
trying to
work
basically
slowly
prioritize
as
defense
Sam Pigs go
with
opposite
Hero
direction.
Wizard, and the more
Hut is
offensive
zone here
one
in defense.
This Hero
with the
Wizard
Hero Magic
has
Archer.
just been a menace in ladder, in competitive play.
And Clown
you
opts
know,
to
we
play
talked about
safe
it a
in
bit
game
during
number
the
1
creator event, where
against
you used
OP
to see
Sam, who
Wizard of
plays
Witch, and
his
you're like, all right, this game
very
is-
trusted
I'm gonna win this game.
Graveyard
Not the case
Poison.
anymore with the Evo Witch and the Hero Wizard. We even saw Evo Wizard.
Matchup wise,
yesterday,
I think Clown has the matchup. It's gonna be very
Nice little barrel
difficult
clean
in
up
triple for
right
OP Sam to
into
perfectly
tanking
defend
for the
Pigs and
graveyard.
sustain the
It's a
good
really
choice
nice
against the
placed
lightning.
bar barrel there from Clown.
However,
Gonna tank that,
OP Sam will be
hero
having
bar
better
barrel,
time
but
for the
needed to
first
spend those
4
skellies
minutes
a
of
bit
the game,
earlier. I would've
where he will
loved to
be
see
pretty
more
much
defense
dictating
instead
the
of those hogs
tempo.
first,
The
just
moment
taking
lightning
a
drops on
lot
the
of
furnace,
damage.
OP Sam will be able to go
There just
all
isn't
in
a phenomenal
with the
graveyard
graveyard,
response
and that's gonna
for
be
Clown
very
in this deck.
scary
There
for
are a
Clown to
lot of
defend.
okay graveyard responses. A lot of ones that can work collectively
Tesla
to take
already
care of it,
pre-played
but
against graveyard.
you kind
Beautiful
of either
play
have
from
to eat
Clown.
some
You
damage
have to
or
make sure
overspend to
that
deal with
these
these
scary
GYs.
troops do
Yeah,
not cross
and
the
you know,
bridge, and right
I
now
like the
opts
way
to
that
play
Clown is
Barbaro
doing it
on the
here. I
Evo
would've
Furnace.
maybe liked
Very
to see the
dangerous
E
play, and
Spirit
right now OP
first,
Sam
and then the
will
Skelly, or
be
excuse me,
getting a
the
lot of
Skellies
damage
first
with
and
these
the
Fire
E Spirit
Spirits.
second.
11,
Um,
24
the bar
on
barrel
his
has
left
to go up high on that
side
Evo
tower.
Furnace, but yeah, WoW is right.
Pigs in kind,
So
and here
much
comes the
damage
lightning.
in already as
Like
these
I
Evo
said,
Piggies come down the lane to try
Pigs
to
plus lightning will
narrow
be
the
very
gap
difficult
for
to
Clown.
defend, but right
Well,
now
to add
Clown
insult
is
to
still
injury,
playing
you saw
on
that
low
last Fire
elixir,
Spirit leap
and these
onto
pushes will be way
Dark
easier
Prince
to
as it
defend
got
compared to a
away from the
triple elixir
furnace,
where
and
you
that
will be
one's one of
able to
those
pretty
ones
much
where
play all the
just a little extra
offense,
damage you'd love to have back.
like all in
Yeah,
on
yeah,
offense, and get away because
we
triple
saw
elixir
that
is pretty
yesterday
much
too,
infinite
where it was
elixir
just
for
like
pros at this
the
point.
Fire Spirit from the furnace baited out 4 elixir because there was no better
OP Sam
response.
cycling
You just
once
can't
again the
beat that
furnace in the back.
fireball's
If
worth
this
of damage
furnace
late
won't be
game,
punished properly,
but it ends up being a
it will
-4
become a
trade,
nuisance
which
on
is just
offense, and
insane
if
to
it's
think
gonna get
about for
lightning,
something.
it's gonna be
0
instantly
from your
punished by
opponent, 4
graveyard
from
all
you.
in at the
It's tough
bridge,
stuff.
and here it is. Wizard not
And so here goes
protected
Evo
well, and
Tesla
Clown
plus
just
Skellies to
taking
deal with
over the
their
game with
graveyard,
Evo
but,
Knight. Thank you for
you know,
a
you
hit
don't
or
always have
two.
Evo Tesla. That's part of the problem.
The other thing too is that Sam has been one of the best players with the Hero Bar Barrel, which is a card that you can be like. It does deserve that level of conversation now because of how offensive it has become.
Clown in a
Not
uphill
quite able to make
battle
anything
in
happen
this
from
game
him.
number 2
Lightning trying to
against
clear the
OP
path for the
Sam,
Wizard.
fighting
This
for his life
gonna require a
with
response, and it does.
962 to his
But
name. Definitely not a good position, and
still
OP Sam
just
going
kind
in
of stuck in
most
his Clown.
likely. No, baiting
Yeah, I
out
mean,
Hero
it's so
Wizard at
easy
the
for me to
bridge.
sit here
Very
and say, I
smart
wonder
play.
if or should he have done this. But the
Evo
thought
Knight
process
will
I'm having is just
contest the
wondering if he
bridge,
should have spent
and
a
Hero
lot more
Wizard
time
is
on
forced to click the
defense
ability.
in single and
In
most of
comfortable
double,
damage
and then
lead
gotten
is
aggressive
OP
in
Sam,
triple with the
and these
lightning,
Evo
with the
Pigs will try
piggies.
to get
We're
an
still
upset
seeing good damage
lightning
here, but
on
look
the
at how much
tower.
damage just
Right
came
now
in there,
Clown
Rich.
finally
And if he
getting
would have maybe
damage back.
focused more on defense
11,
throughout against these
92,
graveyards, because
and OP
Sam's
Sam
deck is
has
so
to
much more
play more
aggressive,
graveyards.
I wonder if he'd just be in a better spot.
Pigs in kind to prevent the graveyard
These
from
piggies
going
trying to make
all
a
in.
race
Barbaro
against
as
the
well.
graveyard, but
And
they're
right
getting
now,
stopped mostly.
OP
One little
Sam
snout touch. 11-18.
finding himself in a very
697.
precarious situation where he
Because
has to
I
keep
feel
going.
like if he was a little more passive earlier
Goblin
on
Hat,
and then
10
aggressive
seconds
later,
left,
it
and at
makes
this
it
point
so
Clown
hard for Sam
knows
to play
it
these
is
cuts
over.
as
OP Sam will
confidently
be
as he
taking
did
the game
throughout
number
the
2
game,
and
because you know
moving
the
in
lightning's gonna come in. I
to
mean,
the
that's
next
only a
round.
difference of 8 or
Well played from the
300
German.
HP. After what looked like an unsurmountable amount of damage early on, I think maybe the macro understanding of that matchup was just a bit misplayed by Clown.
Sam 2-0 victory. Will move
Yeah.
himself into the top 8.
Dude, we are
So
breezing
that's
through this day.
Yeah. I mean, don't jinx us, dude. Come on. you caster cursed us, of all people?
Yes.
My word.
I got nothing better to do on this Sunday. All right, here are the 2 games that we saw from OP Sam and Clown, who has just been eliminated, walking away with a little bit more cash, a little bit more points, but obviously going to be pretty disappointed at the end of his first monthly final. Who's not going to be disappointed is Sam, who played this very, very well. We saw game number 1, Bridge Spam. If you don't know how to play it, well, this might not be the deck that you run, but if you do want to run this deck, Sam showed you exactly how to play Vines, and he showed you how great dual lane pressure can be created. And then, of course, the synergy of the Giant Skeleton plus that Evo Battle Ram, one of the most difficult things to deal with in the game. We had a delivery, we had a snowball, we had a poison, and we had a hut, and that still could not be stopped. So pretty crazy stuff there when you think about that. And the Archer Queen. The fact that the Archer Queen was just completely snuffed out by that Vines. Great stuff. And then in game number 2, Josh said a really great thing yesterday, which was that Lightning, not only does it, deal with stuff on the board. But if you're playing against Lightning, you have to think about where you place and play everything, and you start to play a little scared. And we saw that a few times with Sam down the line, where he wasn't playing the HUD as much, and he was starting to just defend with troops. And then we were seeing a lot of Lightning value out of Clown. I would have loved to see a little bit more of those Lightning mind games throughout that entire game.
So here we go, Sam advancing on to the third round, top 8. He'll await the winner of our next matchup, Adriel and Rafael Nadal. And we're going to see if we're going to continue with the trend of the newer players making some big splashes here, as Tanjiro already did it today earlier, or will Adriel show up here?
Wait, Tanjiro defeated
Basota?
Basota? That's actually disappointing.
Between him and OP Sam. That one's coming up next here.
Oy,
of course.
oy, oy, oy.
Stick around, folks. EGW Eloyas and Mohamed Light and Kimchi in our upper bracket. Lots of Clash Royale left to be played. And, of course, we do have rewards coming up later today, rewards throughout our broadcast. So our first one, I don't know exactly what time our first one was. Was it 90 minutes in?
I believe it's 2 hours, 120 minutes in. So we're actually about halfway to our first reward of the day.
So we got boxes coming your way. We got a box coming your way. We've got banners. Got a lot of fun stuff coming your way. And, of course, more great Clash Royale. And, you know, when you were talking about the synergy of the giant skeleton kind of with every, like, you know, it works really synergizes with this and that. At this point, it's in that place where it feels the giant skeleton would synergize with a watermelon.
Yeah,
if you put it out there. Like, there's no non-synergy at this point with that card.
Yeah, and that's why I think the rework is really necessary. And I don't envy the balance team in trying to figure out what it is, because the giant skeleton, as you said, Rich, for 9 years now, 9 seasons of professional play, it has been in or completely out. And when it's out, it's non-existent. And when it's in, it's too strong. And we're kind of in that exact same place again. So I'm very curious to see, you know, they've obviously tried a few reworks over the last several months. And then with the current meta that we're in, it's just a little bit, even if you didn't think it was too strong, it's still showing up too much. But that's the only reason things show up, is because they're too strong. So very curious to see where that goes. And I'm also really curious to see where this set goes. Rafael Nadal got a bit of swagger to him.
Right now, Akaza versus
you know, he
Adriel.
kind of had a rough start to the day, and then was able to turn things around. It looked like he was just going to go 0-4. If my memory serves me correctly. He goes 0-2 against EGW. I think he lost the first game against Riley and then pulls off the reverse sweep. Adriel on the other side of it, he was just Adriel, right? He came out against Samwell. He looked unstoppable. But then a bit of a surprising second set against Colin, where things just did not come together for him. Colin had a really, really great deck pick in game number 3, where he played Evo Royal Recruits,
both players opt
Skeleton
to wait.
Dragons, Ram Rider, and Adriel
last
just
staring
had
contest.
0 answers
Adriel
for
most
that.
likely
It was
run
an
something
insane
heavier.
deck pick,
I would
actually.
expect Akaza to run drill. He's
Haven't
very
seen
well known
skeletons this
for running
weekend
that
yet
on ladder.
From Rafael Nadal. Very interesting.
And drill
as
players
the
like to
first
wait
shown card
nowadays because they
from
know
him in
that
this
Triple
one.
Elixir is their time to shine. Even though
Yeah,
there are a lot
Nadal's,
of
a
heavy
little bit
decks
all
in
over
the
the
game,
place. You know, he
drill
played
is
Piggy's
a psycho
3M,
deck
played Royal
that can
Giant,
definitely
played
compete in
Minor
Triple
Poison
Elixir.
with the MK. I think the only thing he repeated was RG, and he played very similar versions with Monk. He also played E-Giant, which he lost to EGW with that. So both these guys looking a bit heavy at the moment. Curious if we're going to finally see our first battle in the skies today. We saw a good amount of lava yesterday.
The only deck in his pool from this CRL campaign, or that he's been running in the last 18 hours, was a Giant Skeleton Hog Rider deck with that Evo Skellies.
Yeah, and, you know, we did see a good amount of RG and
16 seconds left and Adriel pulls out a tombstone, so it means Adriel most likely going to the skies and instantly biting my words as Giant Skeleton comes down the lane. MK in kind. I would expect RGL to run a minor balloon deck. It's been very prominent in CRL yesterday. And here comes the minor. Second test being cycled by Rafael Nadal.
Second one does get down.
And beautiful ability
it's gonna stay
from
up.
Adriel.
Wow.
That should get a
This
hit.
balloon is
I'm
getting
actually
for one
shocked
hit.
with the double Tesla in. That snowball was so effective.
And
Adriel just
Adriel
breaking
with a
through what
huge
seemed
sellout
like a pretty
in double elixir.
impossible feat to do. It felt like he was kind of just pulling out an elixir and setting up for the next, what could be another loon push or just kind of feeling out his opponent. But a great breakthrough there. As
I'm
this giant
pretty
skeleton
confident
does get
this
pulled
magic
back.
archer is dead. And here it is, Miner on the tower,
aggressive
forcing
Miner
out the magic
loon.
archer and Tesla to be played.
Evo
Beautiful
Tesla this
prediction
time,
from
as
Adriel,
he uses the
making this
ability,
Tesla
trying to
a
see if he can break
non-factor.
through.
Right now I would
Not
expect
gonna do it.
Rafael Nadal to
I
go
know,
for
I think
Mega
that
Knight.
ability is just in the
And here we
right
go.
place, honestly.
Very
Not
good
in terms
snowball,
of
bringing
placement
a magic
just
archer
now,
to
but
the
in
opposite
terms
lane.
of
And right now
balance.
Adriel
It's not too
with a
strong,
uphill battle
but
trying
when
to
used correctly, it is
control this
incredibly frustrating.
Evo
And I
Mega
feel like
Knight.
that's kind of how it should be.
Snowball on
with heroes.
defense,
Shouldn't be
Nado,
game-breaking, but
and
it should make you think
definitely a
twice, and
huge
that's a
miss.
really
Magic
nice
archer
magic
on the tower,
from
and
Rafael
this
Nadal.
magic archer
I mean, that's a ton of damage out
starts
of the
to
magic
tear
archer. And
up
trying to deal
the
with
tower.
it here
Wow.
with the Xe and
10-32, and
Those
Adriel
last
in
two
dire
shots were
straits.
just absolutely devastating, and one of the things we talk about is how strong the giant skeleton is. Well, it's got a massive hitbox, and it is very slow, so just prime cannon fodder for the magic archer.
Here comes the balloon, Miner most likely in kind, and here he comes, trying to catch the magic archer, and he does. Magic archer is dead, balloon plays the ability, and right now Adriel trying to make the way for his giant skeleton, making the second giant skeleton on the bridge and loon behind. Since the Tesla is out of cycle, Nadal
giant
in
skeleton
dire
plus loon
straits.
push at the bridge.
Tornado
All
to kite the
magic archers are somehow
hog,
every
not
one
yet.
of those shots has hit the balloon as well. That is not as easy to pull off as you might think watching.
and the balloon on the tower, make it
death damage might be in range, and it is
1107.
11:07.
Game
Very
on,
tight
Rafael
here in the
Nadal,
final third.
Adriel, very close game.
And
We're going to
Evo
the
Mega
30
Knight,
seconds left of triple
one of the
elixir.
cards
Evo
that is
Exit
just
fighting
a
at the
great
bridge.
counter to that
Miner
giant
going for
skeleton.
the
Just
chip, getting
really-
caught by
The Evo Mega Knight
E-Spirit.
controls
And
the
right now Balloon
conversation, whereas the giant skeleton usually controls the
trying to make it to
conversation.
the
That's one
tower.
of the things that's
Hog
so good
Rider
about Evo Mega Knight, and it's another reason why
not
the
scoring a
giant
hit, Evo
skeleton
MK,
and the piggies are bringing
making
out
the giant
so
skeleton a
much
non-factor.
of that
Lightning will
MK,
come down, and Nadal,
wow, man,
aka
yeah,
Akaza,
Hero Magic Archer ability
stealing
going
the
from
game
1 to
number
2,
1, I would
no
say.
problem for
Definitely
Rafael
the matchup
Nadal.
for Adriel.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
he
the
messed
magic
up
archer
a
was the MVP
tornado
in that game.
early on to
For
activate the
sure.
King
A
Tower,
huge
allows
lineup
the Hog
in the
Rider to
middle
get 2
section
hits,
that
and
got
Giant
so much
Skeleton
damage, and then consistently,
getting stuck in
you know,
the
and
way.
it created a problem for
Beautiful
Adriel
play from
where
Akaza.
he kept on getting the giant skeleton involved for these pushes, but then it did exactly what you talked about, where it created a really easy target for lineups. And what he did really, really well was using that Hog Rider to pull the giant skeleton back and give the magic archer more space to do more damage.
Look, I mean, this guy could be a problem. I've heard about him on the tennis courts, but here in CRL, it's a little bit different. Going 0-2 against EGW to start his day yesterday, that's game 1, day 1, first monthly final ever for Nadal, and first monthly final of 2026. There's so much pressure in that moment. I feel like anyone that goes 0-2, you can kind of give them some grace, but since then, he's 2-1 Riley, and now he's up a game, about to maybe eliminate Adriel, and I don't know, man. The gameplay was just really clean. As I said, those magic archers, not only on the lineups to get damage on tower, but in terms of how much damage he was able to get on loons by perfect placement on that magic archer to have it go through the giant skeleton onto the loon time and time again. It was just really great stuff. Every time that the loon was close enough to finally get some value out of that hero ability on the magic archer, it was usually too late. And, you know, for a game that started off pretty well for Adriel, things went south real quick.
Well, you know, it's interesting, too. When you look at Magic Archer, it tends to find itself in 2 decks. It tends to find itself in Bridge Spam. There's some Hog Rider, some Royal Hogs as well. But Bridge Spam, Royal Hogs, and then some sort of Miner, Drill, NATO, things that can get in front of it and create lineup conversations. Really interesting. This MK Hog Magic Archer deck and the way he was able to use it to still get significant, in fact, devastating Magic Archer value. I mean, I'm trying to go through.
And I think it's
was
courtesy
sitting here
of
going,
Evo Mega Knight.
what's the story on this
Evo
deck?
Mega Knight
I've
is
been
the
going
card that
deep
throws every
into
card that he touches
possible decks that involve
towards the
Magic
tower,
Archer, and
but
I
Magic
still
Archer
haven't
just
seen one
synergizes it
that
with it
involves
very well.
Hog Rider alone.
I
much
still
less Hog
prefer
Rider
Hero
MK.
Wizard
Yeah, and the Hog
in Rafael
MK
Nadal's
thing,
deck,
Hog, Giant
but
Skelly,
Magic Archer
Hog,
definitely
in these heavy
was
decks
the
is
key
something that we're not
component
really used
for
to
him
seeing at the highest
to win
levels
this game.
competitively, but You know, as we've talked about yesterday, as we talked about in our creator event, we're just in a really, really heavy meta at the moment. And yeah, that was just a really nice stuff. And at the end of the game, we saw that Evo Mega Knight really control the conversation at the bridge, so that that giant skeleton was just completely out of the
Game
conversation.
number 2, I believe both players still have a lot of good cards
Yeah, I mean, I'm serious.
in
Going
play,
back through the last
so they still
3
can
days
go
of
for a
gameplay, and
very
I'm not seeing a single
interesting deck.
Hero
Agile
Magic
going for
Archer
Skeleton Barrel,
Hog
more
Rider deck.
likely playing a Mortar Bait
So
as
nice
Hyper Bait,
creativity here. out of
have been
Nadal, and
killed
he
in
takes
recent balance
the
change.
1-game lead.
And Nadal going to the graveyard
And seeing if he can keep the sweet
with
train
Giant
going.
And
Skeleton.
the last thing that I want to talk about is, even though Adriel had an insane minor prediction, he went to a minor prediction in the very far back right corner.
I don't like
behind
these
the Magic
rascals.
Archer,
Right now Agile
knowing
down to
that
Elixir
Nadal
and
was going
pretty
to
much
hit the
losing
ability,
every
thinking
single
the minor
card
was going
here.
to the Magic Archer. It still didn't
Nadal
matter.
overspending with this
Nadal was
poison
able
and
to get
Adriel
a second
instantly
Tesla
smells
down
the
to
blood
pull
in the
balloon
water.
away. So even with Adriel making those
Fairness
insane
definitely a
in the
mistake. I
future
think Agile
plays,
has to
they
pounce
really
on this
didn't
mistake, and he
matter because
does.
of the way Nadal played that matchup.
And he does. Right now Agile up to trying to take advantage of this Berserker being played. And
That
that
is one of
start
my
of the
more
pressure.
satisfying things in the game
Hero
now,
Goblins
is
in the
when
back.
you send
likely
a
will be
spell
playing-
to where the Magic Archer ability is going
Yeah.
to be, or like a minor. It's just cool. It's like a prediction
And Bats
that
in
didn't
kind for Rafael Nadal,
exist before.
aka
And,
Akaza. I have
that's,
to
That's a thing that I always like to watch.
It makes you
Have
feel
myself.
pretty genius. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Even though in Adriel's case it didn't help him win the game, it won some style points.
So you being the mortar player of our long-standing pair here, Andrew, if you're in the situation for Adriel, how do you feel about the matchup,
And that's a beautiful
what do you
mortar,
feel about
instantly
your-
punishing the Giant Skeleton in the
methods for
back.
getting on tower?
This Berserker will
You know,
not
the
be
nice
sufficient.
thing here is that you can
And right
play your
now,
mortars
Agile
offensively. That's something we were talking about
trying
a
to
little
get
bit
a
yesterday, which
cheese
is just
in,
like the inability to play
barely not
offensive
being
mortars,
able
'cause you
to,
have
and
to
right
have
now,
your mortar
I would
be
say
a
actually
tank
the
for, like, an
beneficial
RG or a
advantage
hog or
is for
something.
Rafael Nadal,
So
who's gonna be
that's
having
one
Evo Bats.
positive. This deck in general is going to match up pretty well against Graveyard, just because you have the goblins, you have the rascals that you can split, you have the Dark Goblin. But the biggest thing is about breaking through. How do you break through that Goblin Hut? How do you deal with those Evo Bats?
One more
so
card
I'm
till
just curious
Furnace.
to see how Adriel's
Berserker
going to play
in
this
defense
out.
for
But I do
Akaza.
like that he's running this
And now
version.
Furnace
I like
at
that
the bridge.
mortar can get on offense.
You have
I
to
like
play
that he
this
can still
Furnace at
send
the
out
bridge,
Skelly
but he
Barrels to
doesn't.
bait out those Goblin Huts.
This Giant
Then when
Skeleton will be
poisons
on the
do
tower.
come down, you can start
Courtesy
to
of
stack
Goblins,
your
he's
heavier
not.
units like the Cannon Cart and like the Rascals.
And Furnace is getting targeted
Card
by
goes
Mortar.
down in
Definitely
the
a
backfield.
great play by Agile,
Pop the
getting
goblins
his
on the left.
one
Of course,
mortar
Nadal
hit
has
on
to
the
sit there
tower.
and stare at that for a
Ever
minute
so important hit, bringing
and
him
eat
to the
some
lead.
mortar damage.
And this is kind of what I'm talking about. The poison's out. Goblin Hut comes back in cycle. Goblin Hut, when it's not
And Dark
super
Goblin being
effective,
played
starts
on
to
the
kind
wrong
of eat
plane.
through your elixirs. You can see a bit of an
Agile
advantage
trying to desperately
for,
break through. Fireball comes
Adriel
down
there,
and Mortar
and
is on the tower.
Aggressive fireball
But
on
Akaza,
top. I don't mind this.
with a huge
but that is
elixir
a
advantage.
beautiful hero bar barrel. It does get a shot on tower, but you saw how much Adriel had to spend.
Gets the shot on the tower, and you see Adriel popped the
Most
Hero
likely one
Goblin's
card
ability a little
away
late,
from
didn't
Mortar,
prevent
and
the
there it
shot
is.
from getting
Agile will
connected.
try to pressure with
Yeah,
Mortar
and I
at
think
the
the other
bridge.
part of this conversation is that Adriel
Here
has
it
to
comes,
be really okay
Evo
with
Mortar
keeping up the
trying to
blue lane
sell
pressure
out
just
on
so
the
you can't
advantage
get that
Berserker played in
gigantic
kind and
takedown push,
Evo Furnace.
and then the Graveyard comes in behind.
Definitely a great response to the Evo Mortar. Adriel
Final
playing
80
right
seconds.
into Akaza's
Slight
hands
lead for Nadal in that left-hand lane, 24-33.
Beautiful
will
log
get some chip
to
damage
stop
and
the
make it a tad
Evo Furnace
closer,
in his
but
tracks, and right
if
now
you've seen those giant
I
skeleton
believe
bombs
triple
taking
elixir
the
will
ability to
be
create counter pressure,
Nadal's.
especially out of that
Akaza's
cannon cart, almost non-existent.
time to
Wow,
pretty
and
much
again, that
start
hero
going
bar
for
barrel
the
ability
very
just baiting
aggressive
out the
graveyards.
Rascals, making,
Agile setting up another
Adriel
Mortar,
have
that's
to spend,
exactly
now
how you
switching
want to play
lanes
this
again.
matchup.
It's Fireball versus
Log in
Poison,
kind
or
against the
it's Fireball
Berserker,
log
Furnace
versus
getting
Poison at
sniped,
the
and
moment.
right now
You
this
know the
Mortar will
Graveyard's gonna come
force
in.
out
And
way
right
more
now,
elixir
Right now is the moment. That Dark Goblin is so high,
from
it should be able
Akaza.
to still help out, but you saw it as soon as that second Giant Skeleton
Log
comes
on
in.
defense against
Look at the
Graveyard,
damage.
way too late from Agile is at
Yeah, log coming
1461.
down,
That's
trying
not
to
a
let those
situation you want to
skeletons
find
pile
yourself
up, but that's
at.
the problem.
And
The
Adriel
skeletons did pile
getting
up.
a
Good
double
damage
lane
on the right-hand
pressure.
side.
Selling
And now
out
a
on the
full
opposite
send on the
lane.
left as the giant skeleton comes
Beautiful
down.
poison from
Trying
Adriel,
to
but
stop
maybe
it.
too
Nadal,
late.
though, knows he's going to
Yeah.
get got here
Rascal
for
Boy
quite
on
a
the
bit.
tower, and
Fireball
Skeleton
in,
Barrel
and
on the
he
tower.
sees the
Beautiful
writing
comeback
on the
from the
wall.
Adriel. Trying
Skelly's
his
still
last
down,
hooray.
tower
He gets
down,
it.
and Adriel
GG.
steals that one back from Nadal in just one big flurry of action.
I'm a fan of Mortar. I'm a fan of Adriel. I'm a happy man right now. So well played. Actually saw a little bit of a celebration there from Adriel. A bit of a shake of the head like, buddy. We are going to game number 3. And he did so much right in that game. You know, you have to keep up the aggressive pressure. You really do. Even if it doesn't feel like you're ever breaking through, you cannot allow your opponent to get those huge pushes. And we finally saw it late game, which you knew was going to happen, was Nadal was going to somehow get a giant skeleton at the bridge, and then he was going to get a graveyard in. You had to have a Dark Goblin available. You had to have other units to support. And Adriel did take a good amount of damage. But again, that dual lane pressure, it ended up baiting out so much elixir in the right-hand lane. It baited out the poison. And then you saw Adriel go with just a full send on the left-hand side. Beautifully played. So calculated and so patient. I love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, the moment he saw so much elixir being used on that right-hand side, and there's a time you just got to put the pedal to the metal. And,
Yep.
you know, one of those skills that I think we don't talk about enough in Clash Royale is tempo control, right? Is knowing when to slow down a little bit, when to push really hard. And a lot of those players who do compete at the highest level successfully, their understanding of tempo control is so perfect.
Yes.
And that was one of those moments where obviously a recognition of the elixir being spent there pretty heavily, but Adriel knew that this was a game of wait until it's the right moment to actually up that tempo significantly, and saw the window, walked right through it, and now we go to game number 3. And if we look at the decks and what's been used so far, Nadal already used on the spell side poison, log, and the lightning, whereas for Adriel it's fireball, log, and NATO. So when you start thinking about how much more lightning has been involved here, opens up some great opportunities for Adriel. In the same vein, Adriel both has the advantage to use it and not have to deal with it.
Yeah, you know, and there's something that I remember from La Picati. There's two things, actually. One of them is him falling asleep with the phone in his hand and his thumb playing Clash Royale while he was asleep. His thumb was, I mean, he wasn't actually in game, but he was holding his phone and his thumb was moving like he was playing Clash Royale. That is one of my favorite memories. Yeah. The other one, though, is when he was a very confident dude. He loved to talk a little bit of trash, but he would literally be playing a game and someone would make a move and he'd be like, oh, that is such a mistake. They're going to lose. Watch this. They're going to lose now. And that's exactly what you're talking about, Rich, in terms of tempo control. The greatest players, yes, you track cycle, you track elixir, but the point of tracking those two things is knowing exactly what your opponent has in hand and how much they can spend on it. And Adriel did just that, recognizing you don't have the response you need and you barely have enough elixir to survive. Now I have to go full pedal to the metal, because we always talk about these methodical players. Just sitting back and being passive like we saw from Sam in game 1, not to, you know, go too hard on Sam here, it just doesn't work out. But if you're going to hold for 4+ minutes, and then when your opponent plays the wrong card in the wrong moment, you have to be able to have the recognition to punish. And that's exactly what we saw, and that's exactly what Lapo was talking about 7 years ago.
Nadal, you know, looking at sort of ways he might go, he has the Three Musketeers Royal Hogs deck that he won with yesterday open. That's one option. Of course, with NATO out, he's not as worried about having all the 3M pulled to the same side. He has a Royal Giant deck open as well.
Yeah, I wonder if we do see lightning from Adriel here in this game.
Royal Giant.
Like
let's go. Adriel going to the comfort.
And looking like Nadal could be going to lava.
Yes, sir.
Seeing the praises
That's definitely
of the Spirit
RG.
yesterday was just another
That's
way
3
for
deflections
Lava
and
Dex to
oh no,
have some presence on the
Adriel
ground.
going for Hog. I
Historically,
also like
you'll
this
see
call.
players going up against Lava sometimes just go a Naked Knight or a Naked Mighty Miner at the bridge once they know that the
Berserker to
guards or the
distract the Mega
Valkyrie or
Minion,
the
definitely a
Tombstone are
valid
out of
play.
cycle, what have you.
And Argel
Now
most
the
likely
ability
cycling the
for
Furnace in the
a
back, and
card
there
that
it
is
is.
excellent in the skies and excellent on the ground in the Spirit Empress to kind of fill that gap so your opponents can't just go hyper aggressive on the ground opposite lane.
Adriel losing this Furnace definitely not a
I
perfect
will
play
say
for
another
him.
conversation that we had
Still,
yesterday,
in a damage
and
lead
I feel
is
like it
the
might come into play here, is
Adriel.
just these Lava decks don't really have Loon because
Monk
people
in
are
the
holding
back.
Loon to play with Giant Skeleton.
No
as
Monk
we
in the
saw,
back.
you know,
Adriel
Adriel
knows he
run
has to
earlier,
save the Monk for
but
the Spirit
threat
Empress.
of a Lava
Very
deck
good
without
recognition.
Loon is substantially less, in my opinion. And that's a bad God
Berserker
pitch.
on defense against Bomber
Yeah,
and
definitely
Goblin Brawler
direct
alike.
counter to
And right
the
now
Hog Rider
Adriel
when
has
placed
to go
correctly, and
in for the Monk
Nadal
in the
maybe starting
back,
to show some
securing
cracks in the
his
armor
lane
as
and
the
preparing
stress
for the
starts to
incoming
build.
push.
Yep, and that is a tough place to be in when you're going up against Adriel, because you know that he is not a guy that feels any sort of pressure no matter what situation he's in. And that's a great Mega Minion ability.
Yeah.
The retarget from Tesla, the ability to take
Great
care of the
matchup from
furnace,
RGL.
and
I
wow,
don't even
you see,
expect that.
You see
But
Nadal tilt his
delivery
head back going,
is a
really?
hard counter
You have delivery too?
to the Lava Hound. You cannot ever break
Yeah,
with
that was
Lava Pops,
brutal.
you
You're
cannot
sitting
ever break
there
with Spirit Empress.
going, hey, he
Your
hasn't
only
shown a
damage
spell
will be
yet at
coming
all.
from the fireballs
Maybe
and
anticipating
misplate.
lightning as the spell, logged
Troops
out,
played in the back.
which makes the
That's just such a brutal
Hog
matchup for
Monk
Adriel
deck
in ever
all
so
that much more
important game number
interesting.
3.
And Adriel opting for a more defensive variation.
Playing Hog Rider at the
Ooh, this
bridge
is a
is
scary
Adriel
push.
playing Lightning
Yeah,
in
you can see
kind,
Nadal already
and
going, I think this is over. The Lightning
And that's
plus
a
the Evo
beautiful
Furnace behind.
sell
Now
out
we have to
from
see
the
him
Adriel.
trade towers. Adriel only has 4 elixir though, so I'm
Monk
excited to see
played
how he
in time,
defends.
and
That's a perfectly placed and
Akaza
timed Monk.
in Dire Straits. It wasn't his matchup. Delivery won't even come
Absolutely
down. He's gonna
brilliant.
wait
Evo
for the Lava
Tesla
Hound
comes
to
clean
pop.
up.
And that's just a
And
beautiful
Adriel,
matchup, beautifully
Yeah.
played from
absolute
Adriel.
clinic.
No
and,
chance.
Talk
GG, well played.
about deck variants. Pulling the Hog Monk Lightning out here without log being one of your options and opting for this more defensive posture with the Royal Delivery. I mean, ended up being a stroke of brilliance and absolute shutdown win against this Lava deck.
Yeah, and this Lava deck doesn't always give the best targets for Lightning, but we saw Adriel use that spell absolutely perfectly to just create that massive breakthrough.
It's just a beautiful
really,
set
really
from
clean
Adriel.
stuff from a
Game
guy
1
that we've
also,
expected
I
nothing
think he
less
had
from,
the
pulling off the
matchup
reverse sweep
advantage,
and finally sending
yet
Rafael
fumbling
Nadal
some
home, who has
defenses,
had
and
a great
Akaza
run so far
also
in
with great showing.
2026.
Adriel, however, will stay alive
Yeah, you go
and
back
move on
to
to
game
play
number
the next
1
game.
and Nadal running this MK Hog Lightning deck with the Magic Archer, and that was a really beautiful game out of Nadal. He did a lot of things really, really well. Game number 2 just ran into a couple of challenges and one really good pace change from Adriel.
Yeah.
And then game number 3, right? If I'm Nadal and I'm preparing for this game number 3, arrows are still out there, poison's still out there, delivery's still out there. A lot of spells that are good against lava are still out there, and this is one of those ones where you wonder if this was more of a comfort choice or if he was looking for a specific matchup and didn't get it.
Yeah, that's a good point that you make, because with Lightning and Tesla not being used yet by Adriel, they're so popular. Yeah, it's so tough though. We used to do a lot more of what do you think they're going to play next, but with the way that the game has been blown wide open in terms of variability in decks with heroes and evos, it's just become so much more difficult. I would love to hear what the thought process was, but just ran into a very, very tough matchup. So there we go. Our lower bracket is flushed out for the next round. We have Adriel going up against OP Sam, 2 former world finalists, and then going up against Tanjiro and Sandbox. Sandbox, obviously, another former world finalist, multiple world finalists here in the lower bracket. And then we are going to go to our upper bracket for the first time today, Rich.
Finally, upper bracket
very
games,
to see this upper
and a
bracket
lot of
shake out,
new faces
right? Of course, all eyes
in the upper
are on the
bracket.
3-time Mohamed
EGW,
Light.
Elmolejas
what
aka
he'll do
Axel
here, you know,
and
it's Mohamed Light
Kimchi77
scary enough in
aka
the lower
Colin
bracket,
against
upper bracket,
Mohamed
Mohamed Light
Light,
with a life to
the
give
only
is a
player
whole
from the
other
old
problem.
guard
And so all these
standing
guys
in
have
the
to
upper
just, you have
bracket.
to play the guy in front of you, obviously. What's interesting to me is that in this situation, we have either players who only have been to multiple World Finals, or players who've never been to World Finals. Those are the two groups that we have right now.
Which is again such a great thing about CRL in 2026 already. We are halfway through our day 2 basically, or getting close to halfway through our day 2, and everyone's just like shut up so they can show the QR code. And we still have world champions and we still have newcomers. So here we go, guys. Your very first reward, or at least maybe just a tease of the reward. I don't think we're actually 2 hours into the stream. This is just to make sure that you guys aren't going to go anywhere because you have more rewards coming your way. So first thing's going to be a 2-star lucky chest. After that is going to be a banner once we get 4 hours in. And then after the final match of the day, you'll get a little decoration to go on top of that banner. But talking about this next matchup between EGW and El Mollejas, EGW perfect on the day, but against two relative unknowns. You know, when you talk about Tanjiro and Rafael Nadal, El Mollejas on the other side of it, going up against a former world champion and a repeat world finalist in Ruben and Sam, respectively. So two very different runs for these two guys. And honestly, it's actually really hard to give either one of them an advantage, just because EGW was perfect against newer guys, whereas El Mollejas went to Game 3 twice against seasoned veterans.
Yeah, I mean, it's with any new player, we have such a limited amount of data. Obviously, the EGW, we have far more. He's someone who kind of, I almost put him in a similar vein to OP Sam, where he's a guy who gets creative, who gets weird with some of his deck picks. But we're gonna, instead of going there now, we are gonna stay here in the lower bracket as our match number 21 coming up next is going to be Sandbox and Tanjiro. So we have to wait a little bit longer to get to those upper bracket matches.
Yeah, oops. I guess that's where we're going to go, which makes sense. So we're going to try to figure out who's going to be playing against the losers of those upper bracket matches. We're going to figure that out first
and
before we go to the upper
Sandbox
bracket.
against Tanjiro. I believe Sandbox beating Clown before, and Tanjiro upsetting Samuel Basoto. Interesting matchup. Obviously, Sandbox is definitely clear cut favorite, but Tanjiro making his name this weekend in CRL. No one expected him to go this far. And yet he does. Huge props for him, but I think his run has to end very soon, as Sandbox is a very prominent player. And Tanjiro whipping out the Lava Hound first game with Lightning. Sandbox playing with Graveyard, and I have to give the matchup to the Sandbox. Furnace, very difficult to kill. You cannot kill it without overspending. Goblin Hut, another card that will generate infinite value until we kill it.
Right, definitely no graveyards in single.
I would say Goblin Hut S tier counter to Lava Hound, so unless Tanjiro gets some ideas how to get on top of it, it's gonna be a very easy game to play for Sandbox.
Hero Barb Barrel, man. Shout out to the team. I feel like that card is just fascinating,
Hero Mega Minion coming down the lane trying to snipe the Furnace, not gonna be the case, as Spear Goblins from Goblin Hut will prevent it from happening. Sandbox playing some small troops behind the Furnace, opting to protect the Furnace, and he does. Goblin Cage, Evolution played on defense, and right now Sandbox with a downhill push will get a lot of damage. Below 14, below 1300 is Tanjiro, and Sandbox with a very prominent lead, just knowing how to play this matchup. Recognizing that Skeleton Dragons are the only card that matters in this matchup, and as long as you can erase it, that's gonna be it.
Hot, heavy, early on. He's got a huge lead. This is the Sandbox I want to see in 2026. I'm here for it.
Evil Knight absorbing the Skeleton Dragons, beautiful, and right now the Graveyard comes down once again. Sandbox just not afraid to drop the Graveyard and put a pressure on his adversary.
Are you surprised by the Golem here?
I'm
am not.
definitely surprised by the golem here. I really was not
I
expecting it
am
to
not
come
surprised
out.
by the golem. Tanjiro
It
is
is
very well
interesting,
known
though,
from
because if you
playing
can see right now,
these
it is
types of
changing the
decks
pace
that
of the game
require
a little bit. We're
less
seeing a bridge spam mode here in
skills
golem, so
and
we're going
more
to see a
of a
reset now after a perfect defense.
very
And if I'm
heavy
Sandbox,
outplay.
I go in at the moment. I mean, you're about to tick to 7. Can he do it? He doesn't. He decides to reset, and hopefully that won't come back to bite him
And
in the
golem
butt,
at the
because
bridge,
you
that's
know that
actually
his
a very
opponent's gonna go
interesting play.
aggressive.
Goblin Hut in the close to a proper position,
go.
3 and 3,
Dark
trying to
Prince
avoid
to
lightning.
across the
It
board.
won't,
Good pickup
but
by the
Hero of
Berserker
Furnace, I
from
mean Evo
Sandbox. Ice
Furnace,
Spirit to hold
playing a
everything
double
together.
duty.
This looks like it could be
Lightning
a
comes down. I
successful
think it's
defense
time
as
for
long as that
Sandbox to
Dark
go for
Prince
Graveyard.
does get taken down, and it does.
He does.
Yeah, and you
He
can see
does.
that Sandbox
The
is in the
Evo
game
Knight
as
at the
we
bridge, Graveyard
baits
in
out, trying to
kind.
bait out the response, and he goes with the
And
late
Poison should be
Graveyard. I
pre-played
like
on the
that.
Skeleton Dragons. There it goes. Tanjiro fails to
And
kick
the NATO King
fails to
activation
activate the
attempt
King Tower,
fails,
and
that should be it.
Sandbox
that should be the final
in a prime position to
swing.
take
Of
this
course,
game
we have to
number
do some
1.
cleanup duty here for Sandbox, but that is a brutal 3 elixir to spend for nothing.
Yeah, totally. And you know, you really want that Graveyard.
That's just not the deck
King
that you
Tower,
want
going
to
up
see
against Graveyard. You really want that
while
King Tower
playing
activation to come
Golem. Defensive
in, but
Golem
Sandbox
Goblin
just
Cage. You want to play
recognizing
a
on going
micro
up against
game,
something heavy. Who in the beginning
preferably
maybe it was
against
gonna be
a deck without the
lava, but it
building.
didn't really look like traditional
Graveyard,
lava decks,
Poison,
especially
one
with,
of the best
you know,
defensive
Dark Prince
decks in the
there,
game,
the Hero
and the
Bar
most
Barrel,
offensive
but
ones.
the Golem ends up coming
Once
out
you
very,
switch the
very late
momentum,
game,
courtesy of the
and at
Furnace
that
being
point,
a
you're
great
playing in the
pressure
exact
card.
same lane against an aggressive Graveyard deck with Poison and Gob Hut, just really tough to break through, and really nicely played by Sandy.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the other times that a similar construction has been played this weekend, and lost to Cody Go in the Swiss stage, and I don't know the other player here who ran Graveyard, but this so far has mostly been in the direction of both talented players between Cody Go and Sandbox, but just an interesting choice here. It feels like Golem, I don't know if I see a really clear spot, especially as a Game 1 deck.
Yeah, I would agree. And, you know, looking at Sandbox, he's gone 5-0 since he started off 0-2. And I'm trying to see in his game number 1s, it just... In every single game 1 that Sandbox has played, he's had a building and he's had Poison, it looks like. Other than,
Well,
yeah, maybe his game against Ruben, but in the second game he did. But I guess what my point is that he's always had pretty strong defensive decks in game number 1, as we just saw there. You know, you talk about the Evo Furnace and how strong it is, the Goblin Hut, and when it's supported, especially by something with an Evo Knight, or even protecting it with a Berserker like we saw him do. It's kind of a menace. Yeah. Then, obviously, the placement makes it so that the Lightnings aren't as effective because you're like, well, I deal with the Furnace or I deal with the Hut. And plus, this deck gets around relatively quickly, so just a bit of an odd choice. You know, we've seen a lot of good deck picking from these newer guys, but, you know, this is a conversation we've had for years. You always wonder how strong the team is, if there even is a team behind these relative unknowns, and I just feel like
And
that
Sandbox
was
going to the
not
game
the
number
greatest
2 with
analysis
Mortar,
for
love
game
to
one.
see it. Tanjiro,
it just
bringing
seems
in
like there's one of those
Goblins, bringing in
situations where,
Lumberjack,
hey, you're talking
and
about
bringing arrows.
picking a deck that is ultimately fairly matchup
I love
dependent,
this Sandbox
right? You don't have
pick.
a ton of that playability.
If you want to
with
play
this Golem
safe,
deck,
And
you
you have
play
no
Mortar
information.
bait,
Game one
and most
with
likely
zero information.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
that's a
be
great
another
point.
good matchup. As Tanjiro opts to play some kind of a bridge
Like,
swamp
are you
deck.
gonna shoot an arrow just blindly into the forest and hope there's a deer there? That's crazy.
The only time I've gone hunting.
Hulk Rider
Blind
in
shoot
kind
into a forest.
from Tanjiro, so Tanjiro actually finding himself in a good matchup.
This
Usually
man's
Hog
licensed immediately.
decks
And you know, this is the
beat the Mortar
conversation.
bait,
This is the
because
conversation
aside
that
from
I was
Mortar,
kind of having
there's not a
earlier
consistent
about
way
these
of
Mortar
stopping
decks.
the Hog.
You know,
You have to
we've
pre-play
talked
calm
for a long
cards
time
behind,
now about how Mortar has always
and your
had to have
opponent
a
has a
secondary
very
win
clear-cut
condition
window
for
of
a
punishing
very
it.
long time. It's been the Skeleton Barrel. We're starting to see, you know, different versions with Hog, with GY,
Rascals in
with
play.
Miner once again.
There we go.
You always need that secondary win condition.
And
but the
Log
problem in this matchup,
most likely
and what
coming
we
in
kind of saw
kind, not
yesterday, is
really.
sometimes
Goblins
it's very
in play.
difficult for that
for
skeleton
Sandbox
barrel
and a
to
very
actually
clean
be
defense from the
effective
Korean.
when the mortar can't create a lot of pressure. The other thing that if I'm Sandy, I'm thinking
Sandbox
about is do they not
opts
have
to
a
take
big
the damage,
spell
very
with
smart
arrows
play.
coming out? So
And right now
once you
Sandbox
recognize
has
they
to
don't
set up
have a big
against
spell,
an
that's
next
when you
Hog
kind of have to
Rider,
take
because if he
control of
doesn't,
the map
he's gonna have to
with
waste the Evo
your
Mortar
cannon
for
cart and
defense.
with your
It's definitely
rascals.
not something you want to do in single leg.
And
Hog
Sandy
Rider in
opting to
play,
just fully eat that damage.
and Sandbox playing actually normal
From the
mortar,
Hero
so I
Goblins.
miscounted the cards. Very good defense from Korean.
Wow. And
Taking
Hog
still one
from the
hit.
Hog too.
I
Wow.
Yeah, that's devastating.
I retract everything I've said. This defense could have been
Here
better.
we go,
And
double elixir,
Tanjiro
and
in a commanding
Tanjiro
lead
has
with Mega Knight
established a
Hog
pretty
Rider deck
significant lead,
against Sandbox
1686
Mortar
to
Bait.
the 2500s on both of his own towers.
I gotta say, this is, you know, for as much as I was just saying, you wonder what his team looks like, this is a great deck pick. You know, that the Evo Mega Knight is
on
just
the
annoying
opposite
as a
lane,
tank.
pretty
But when
much
you look at the
playing
fact
a
that you're
very
going up against
ignorant
Mortar,
type of
you have
defense where you
Earthquake, but
push
it's
the
this Mortar
opposite
deck with
lane,
Rascals
and
Dark
not
Goblin
paying
and
off,
Goblins,
Evo
you have
Mortar
the
will
arrows
provide
for
a lot
that.
of value.
It's
Hog
great.
Rider
And then
will
the
have to
other
be
thing
played
is
against
that
the
you can use those
Evo
zappies
Mortar.
really well against a skeleton barrel. So just curious, once again, as a Mortar
Spirit
fan and
Empress
as a CRL
blocking the
fan,
shot
just
and
how
right now
this is gonna
saving
play out
the
for Sandbox.
Tanjiro's tower. This Mortar
And little
evolution
tankage to get that
didn't
Goblin
get
for a
much
couple of
value,
stabs in
and
on the left-hand side.
Sandbox
And now
slowly
back
but
to
surely
Mortar
coming
one
back
time
to
for
the game,
Sandy.
setting
Gets
up
about
offensive
200
Mortar,
damage on the
Mega Knight
left-hand
in
lane.
kind.
But these mortars consistently are getting controlled and just not quite able to get
Rascals
on
in the
tower.
play, defending
And
Mega
a
Knight
nice
very
barrel there on the left-hand
nicely,
lane, though.
and Mortar
And the mortar connects
on
on the
the
right,
tower.
so well played here
Sandbox
from Sandbox, but
will
just going
have
to have
to
to eat
eat
another
up to
hog
eat a
hit,
hit.
which is just so demoralizing. You're kind of playing this dangerous game of, when I play that mortar offensively, that means I have to be willing to take a shot, overspend,
And right now Tanjiro
and then I better
will be
get some
playing
damage out
a
of it.
Mega Knight on top of all of that. I don't
Wow,
think
This
anyone
is
is
going to get some
surprised.
damage, and it does. That
1400
Goblin's getting tanked for a
for
moment,
Sandbox,
and
so
finally the Evo
Sandbox
Mega Knight comes out, but
getting a
not
very
before
good
an
end of the stick
absolute
of this interaction
devastating
still.
blow, and now Sandbox smelling blood
Not
in
in
the
comfortable
water.
position,
Is turning the
as
pressure
Tanjiro
on.
can
Evo Skeleton
definitely
Barrel, Dark Goblin behind. Arrows
just
don't
play
get the
full
Dark
on
Goblin,
defense
and now
and
it's just
Earthquake Cycle.
spamming the bridge for Sandy.
Yeah, and then we go another high Dark Goblin here, and then I'd love to see a Mortar come out opposite lane. No, he goes same lane. I don't know. I don't know. I think it just maybe would have been... Nope, never mind. I'm wrong. That was a beautiful cleanup.
And the fireball on
Wow,
Zappies
that
comes
mortar
down from
cannot
Sandbox.
decide
This
what to
Mortar
target.
will
That
get a
took
hit.
so long for that first shot to come
And
out
right
from
now Sandbox in a commanding lead. He has to set up a cannon card against the Spirit
got it
Empress.
on tower,
And at this
but
point
I think the
Tanjiro
real
cannot
victory
push
there,
into the
Andrew, is
left
how much
hand
that mortar
side.
sequence sucked
Sets up
out
the MK
of Tanjiro there at the
in the
bridge.
back
I
is
thought you were just gonna
Tanjiro
say how
and
much it just
instantly
sucked for
Mortar on the
Tanjiro.
opposite side. Just a
But pretty much the
brilliant
same thing,
understanding of the
honestly. Yeah,
position.
that took so much time and elixir and attention. And the other thing that we don't talk about a lot is in those panic moments where your cycle just goes completely out the window.
Yeah, you have a game plan. You have an offensive sequence you're trying to establish, and you can't
Sandbox
do it
with a
because
beautiful
you're having
defense.
to hyper-respond.
And Mega Knight goes on the wrong lane. Right now
Evo
Sandbox
Mega Knight
should be
right-hand
spamming the left side,
Final 10
trying
seconds.
to get some last
Slight lead for
damage.
Sandbox. Earthquake and lightning.
Mortar on
Earthquake and
defense,
arrows both
fireball on
available. High
offense,
mortar to
and there's
hold.
just no way for
Fireball goes one
Tanjiro
direction.
to get back on
Sandy
track.
is playing
Sandbox
out of his mind,
2-0
bro. He
Tanjiro
started
and
0-2.
eliminates
He's got
him.
6-0
GG, well played.
since then, and he is just on fire in the lower bracket, moving through Rakan, moving through Ruben, moving through Tanjiro, 6 up, 6 down, and he is now on his way to our lower bracket final. Just got to get through one more round.
You know, I just want to say how much I appreciate that none of Sandbox's multiple retirements have ever stuck. I don't know if anyone has retired from Clash Royale League more than Sandbox. He's definitely up there on that list. But, I mean, you know, he's just like a pro wrestler. He keeps on coming back.
Yeah, just
true.
great stuff.
Sandbox
honestly.
Earlier
Very,
in the
very
year
well played.
announced that
Love
he's
to see
retiring
it.
from the pro play
And
in Clash,
you know what?
and he just
is
didn't stick with
in
his words.
perfect
Very
fighting
nice to
form.
see.
His deck variability all over the place, his patience, his aggression, his understanding of the macro, his micro gameplay. It's just all really, really clean. I loved what he did in this Mortar, in this game number 2 with Mortar. Obviously, I'm a Mortar stan, but just the way that he was going hyper aggressive, going both lanes. Then he realized that he'd kind of broken through on the left-hand side, controlling that Evo Mega Knight. Just all of it was really, really nice. You know, you look at the synergy of the deck that Tanjiro's running, it almost feels like a deck that is more so trying to stop things than trying to create things. I don't know if that offensive synergy was quite there, and I feel like Sandy was able to kind of lock that down pretty early on.
Well, you know, we've been seeing Hog mostly going Hog Lightning in this weekend, and a little bit of Hog EQ mixed in here. And you have this idea of trying to break through, but I really like the observation you make about it feeling very defensive, right? Zappies in this Hog deck. We saw some attempts at Tanjiro to turn this into a two-lane game and create that pressure, but the Cannon Cart and the Rascals did such a good job of pulling that stuff back to the middle and putting heavy DPS on those attempts to create a two-lane game. And Tanjiro just was never able to get it going. Sandbox will knock him out in the top 8 and find himself in the top 6.
So Tanjiro takes out Basoto with the BM. Sandbox silently takes Tanjiro out in that third round. The bottom of your screen there. Adriel and OP Sam up next. This is going to be a really, really exciting one. We got two guys that have ice running through their veins. One of them, though, the mad scientist, you never know what you're going to see. And then Adriel, who has just been a guy that plays pretty firmly in the meta year in, year out, and has gotten him to World Finals time and time again. And then we will finally get to our upper bracket, EGW, El Mollejas, and then Mohamed Light and Kimchi. Excited to see what all those guys are going to do, especially Momo. You know, it's just so funny because we have this conversation every year where people are like, oh, stop talking about Mohamed Light and oh, Holy Glaze and blah, 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 blah. And it's like you just watch him play, and he is just too good not to talk about. Josh was even saying yesterday, if you're the coach of anyone going against Mo, do you just tell them not to watch? The coach will watch the gameplay, and he'll come up with a strategy, but I feel like it is demoralizing to watch Mohamed Light play. Maybe watch later so you can learn something, but in the moment of it, I don't know if you watch him play because he is just on another level. So curious to see if he can keep that going or if we get the biggest upset of the weekend and Kimchi sends him down to the lower bracket.
No, I feel like watching him play before your matches come up is like when they have the TV in the back of the warm-up rooms for the UFC.
Yeah.
And you're like, did that guy just get knocked out stone cold? Maybe I made a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here right now. My dad runs a construction company. I could have been like the VP by now, and instead I'm doing this. This was a terrible choice.
Yeah. They show the highlights of the guy you're going up against. You're like, wow, really? That's what? Okay.
Yeah,
Here we go.
right.
But right now we're going to go to Adriel and Sam. This is going to be a really, really exciting one. Adriel started his day off yesterday going 2-0 against Samwell. Since then, he's gone 1-2 against Kimchi or Colin, and then 2-1 over Rafael Nadal. Sam on the other side of it gets the second upset, I believe, of day one, where El Mollejas sent him down to the lower bracket. But since then, he's gone 2-1 against Vitor and 2-0 against Clowns. So Sam has really found his footing here in day two.
Adriel, a two-time world finalist. Sam, I think, also a two-time world finalist. I think that last year's solo appearance was his first time making a Worlds during the solo era.
I can't remember if he made it before, but obviously...
Actually, three-time world
like
finalist for Sam.
2021 or 2020, right?
Well, he made it twice in the Teams era.
Oh,
he and
gotcha.
SK Gaming went in 2019 and 2020. And then that
Last
2021 year,
And
where we had
Adriel
like 800
starting
people in World
off
Finals.
with the
I don't
graveyard
think he was
against
in that
OP Sam going Jan
made it
Skeleton
last year.
Balloon most likely.
Yeah, that best of one finals.
Dark
that was
Prince
a,
probably
a tough
signifies
one
it's gonna
for
be
so
Jan
many
Skeleton
players, and I'll never
Batorama.
forget that
Very
being
interesting
hard
to
at the
see.
end of the
Adriel
day.
definitely
So
wants
here
to
we
play
go.
the start of this
Adriel,
game very
bottom of your screen,
passively.
Sam at the top.
As
Giant
Graveyard is a
Skeleton
very
back in the
prominent
mix,
deck
or
to
did
play.
he never leave?
Strong
Goblin Hut
defense
seeing
and
a
no
lot more
mistakes.
today than we saw yesterday, actually.
OP Sam obviously bringing up the best
quite a bit of
decks,
Hut
homemade
and
most of the time, trying to get the
quite a bit
Patram
of
connect to the tower.
spammy decks
Not
at
gonna
the bridge
happen.
as Sam
Adriel
goes back to
ready with the Golden Hut on
sort
the
of the
spot.
well here.
I think
Just
when I
got
looked
me
at the group
kind.
stages, which I spent a good amount of time on Friday night, just looking through all the group stage matches, it was Battle Ram,
Valkyrie.
Ram Rider, GY. Those were
Play
probably
Piggies,
and
Jenske.
Piggies. Those were the four most popular win conditions that we saw.
And Hero Wizard being played at the bridge will not get a
And has
one
to spend
hit.
a little bit to
Adriel
make sure that Wizard doesn't
make
touch.
Yeah,
make
they're
sure
nice and even though, or I guess
that the
Sam's
wizard
up by
doesn't
about
get
half
even
an
a
elixir,
single
if you want
hit.
to even call it that.
Here we go. Double elixir starting to flow. We'll see if either one of these guys starts to turn up the heat a little bit. Adriel, of course, more of a
And
counter-punching deck.
Lumberjack being
Yeah, I
played
mean, if
in
I'm
the back.
Adriel,
Right
I'm
now,
probably just
OP
going to
Sam
hold stout on
with a very
defense for a long
interesting
time and hope that my
dilemma
opponent starts
of
to
what
get
do
a
you
little
play
antsy and
to
makes a
break through
mistake.
this
These
Goblin Hut
graveyard
Furnace
decks
setup.
with Poison, with Berserker, with Furnace, with Hut are so difficult to break through. You can do what he's doing right now, Adriel, and just try to get Poison value where and when you can. And then finally, deep in double and in triple, you can start to get really aggressive.
Our defensive barbell from Agile, he just knows
then he can turn
this
up the heat.
game is being won by him being patient, by
Skelly
him
Dragon should
waiting
get one on the left-hand side, and it does. And
trying
Sam
to
finally
stay
starting to get
alive
the
in
damage
this double
conversation
elixir.
as
Triple
we are
elixir
just
is the
ticking
time
away
where
in a sudden
Graveyard
death.
takes
And there's another
the
good Poison. I
game.
definitely pulled the trigger on that Poison.
In double elixir, definitely OP Sam with a huge
Don't
lead,
know if I
as the
actually
elixir allows him to
like
set
that
up
hero
his
wizard
perfect
ability,
10 elixir, 11
but
elixir pushes at the
obviously
bridge,
not the worst thing.
and allows him to support with his spell at just the last second.
All right, we got a lock to the
Agile,
left-hand
knowing
side.
that,
Now Dark Prince to
will
the
not
right-hand
try
side,
anything
just
risky, and this Dark
getting
Prince
in the
is
mix, and it
going
should
to the
get, and
tower,
it does
barely
not
not
get to the
getting a
splash
hit.
damage there. It gets stymied just a little bit early. So right-hand tower staying clean for
Graveyard
Adriel
being
as he
played
now
for
gets
Agile,
his
and this is a
first
good
real
graveyard,
look
forcing
at
out
offense.
very awkward zappies
Yeah,
and
it's
getting
kind of
some
what we're talking
hits
about, right? Deep
as a
into double,
result.
getting close to triple, get some good damage in on that right-hand side. And, you know, we've talked about this for years with Graveyard, Splash Yard being one of the most powerful defensive decks in the
Zappies
game.
will
We see a lot
go
of
on the
players just
tower,
kind of
getting
hold
in some
fast
damage.
until
Agile has
towards
to
the
resort
end.
to the playing defensive
And similar to
Barbara.
this Graveyard deck, it's just incredibly defensive, even though it's a completely different look.
And
than what we're
Janskian
used
on the
to.
opposite side once again. OP Sam trying to
And that's
sell out
I mean, that
on
is
his
such a great
advantage.
poison.
A lot.
Very good Ice Spirit to stop the Batram in his
Such a
tracks,
good
and
poison
right now
because the Ram
a
Rider wasn't
downhill
even, or the
push
Battle Ram
from
wasn't even
OP
there
Sam,
yet, and
double
Sam is
Evos,
forced to play
trying to
into the poison, which
desperately
you
stop
never wanna
the
do.
Lumberjack Evo and Batram as well. Great
Final
defense
minute.
from Adriel. He knows he has this game
Adriel
in control
just
as Triple
maintaining
Elixir
a
arrived,
stingy
and right now
lead.
it's
Yep, and
time
then
to
you
play
cycle-
Graveyard
Shutting
and
down.
Poison,
Yeah,
and
you
Graveyard
cycle
and
the
Poison.
Furnace because it completely
And
clogs up
just
the
a
lane towards
very
your weaker
good
tower,
position
even though it's still
for
very,
the
very healthy. And you know
for
you
the
have
Dominican
at least
player.
the damage conversation with your Poison plus the lead that you already have regardless of the spell that Sam has, even if it were to be a Rocket, which it's not.
And Adriel just playing downhill defense, not trying
is such
anything
a
funny. He's
patient
gonna be winning
game
this
out of
game
Adriel.
by
Exactly what he
out-defending.
needed here.
That's beautiful stuff from Adriel, knowing that he doesn't even have to
This is
play
one of those
Graveyards
things
on
where
offense.
Adriel's like, you're gonna play my game, and you can see Sam just going, what on earth? Like, not
GG
even
well
going
played. Adriel
in the lane
taking
that he got the
very
graveyard
comfortable
damage in.
game
He's
number
going
one.
to the lane that got chip damage and poison chip damage from throughout the game, and I mean, look at that, just perfection.
Absolutely clean and just a good job of recognizing early that all he had to do was stack up tiny pieces and make sure that nothing got through. And that's a very mature win, right?
Yes.
We've seen Adriel competing for quite a long time. We finally saw him break into true CRL right when he turned 16, and he'd been doing his best to try to do that beforehand as well. So we've been seeing Adriel through a lot of iterations, and the maturity that we've seen develop for already at a young age he had it, but now we're seeing it here, and that was just a really, really good job of recognizing early, of not feeling like you have to do a ton of damage, just do enough and play a smart game.
Yeah, really great dude, really humble guy. Great meeting him and his dad. You want the best for Adriel. It's been so nice seeing him show up in World Finals, numerous times now. Hasn't got the finish that he's wanted, but he's always finished, at least deeper into the tournament than just getting eliminated on day one. And when you talk about that confidence and that poise, he's just a dude that has worn it forever to us in CRL. Legally, let's talk about. He's just ice in his veins, and as you saw in that game, and as we've seen so many times, even on the live stage, he doesn't ever reach for the finish line. It is so very rare that he makes mistakes late game. He's human; it'll happen. Other pros will make you make mistakes, but for the most part, it's exactly what we saw there.
So Sam has opened with bridge spam a decent amount during this tournament. What we haven't really seen from him yet today is, I don't think we've seen lava from him on the weekend, where something he leaned on a fairly decent amount during the group stage. So very curious to see if he kind of switches things up and gets that involved. Maybe he decided that he did it too much during the group stage, or that he was going to retire it for this one, but lava was one of his go-tos. And now with Poison out, Adriel's going to have to do a little bit of work to cover, obviously. Delivery's still there, Arrow's still there, some other good options. But very curious to see if Sam gets that back in the mix or stays with these kind of spammy ground attacks that have defined his weekend so far here at Monthly Finals.
Yeah, it is really interesting because, you know, when you do talk about what Sam was playing, he did have a lot more variability, like you're saying. You know, he played a ton of Evo Royal Ghost in the group stage, and we didn't see barely any of that at all, the Royal Ghost, this whole weekend. And I don't think any from Sam yesterday and today. And yeah, like you said, he played Lava a good amount. He actually played a decent amount of Mourner. And then, yes, back to the Battle Ram Rider conversation that we've seen a lot of people play. He also was playing really heavy hog decks with Lightning. So, yeah, curious to just see where he's going to go here now with his back up against the wall once again. If I'm going up against Adriel after that game one, I think I still want to play aggressive. I think I still want to go with a more aggressive deck because I don't think you win that long, calm game against someone like him.
Well, we'll see in a moment.
And both
here
players opt to League Elixir, most likely running something heavy. We've seen Agile earlier in the day, leaking Elixir with a Lava
I feel like I
Hound.
can see him going Graveyard, but it looks
And
like
now
it might be
Agile
Hero.
playing a Hog Rider into the Bomber and Guards. OP-Sam most likely bringing in the Mega Knight. Oh, never
There he
mind.
goes.
It is
Yeah,
a Lava
that's what
Hound.
I was wondering if he's going to go this direction after being kind of predictable on the ground throughout the weekend.
And
That's a good call. I mean,
Agile
you know, that's one of the
covering
notes that I had
the
was just that he did
skies
play a decent
with the
amount of
Tesla
lava in the group stage.
and
Some
Hero
pretty
Wizard.
good success. So
Very surprising
nice
to
see
see
him come
that.
out here. Probably not very happy about the matchup though. This Hero Wizard is going to be super annoying. He's got the Tesla to deal
And
with
Hero
as
Wizard,
well.
a beautiful
And there we
pick
go. Okay, this is nice though. This is the
against
this is
a
the
Lava
conversation that AC and
Hound
I were
and
having
Balloon
quite a bit
from
yesterday,
OP-Sam.
which is these lava decks are just not as threatening without Loon, and already we're seeing that Loon is a great card to play with lava. Who'd have thought?
Agile not opting to save the Elixir for
shots,
the
but
Balloon,
this is the big question
definitely
here, and now we're
predicting
gonna see
it's
the
gonna
same
be
thing
Lava
again.
Empress, and right now
What do you do
OP-Sam
against Hog?
in a
He's gonna take
comfortable
Hog hits,
position,
it seems, every time,
getting one
unless maybe
hit.
he can get his Evo Valk in the mix.
OP-Sam has to be happy
But
with how single Elixir
so
is
far,
turning
both
out to
Hog
be.
pushes have resulted in damage for Adriel.
By the way,
don't
Subterra.
pretending to be
this
Rick
is a
Slayton.
tough one.
Okay, I'm
wonder if
trying my
Adriel
best,
does
fine.
want to switch lanes, or if he wants to just go right
Adriel
into
is
this
playing,
time and
so
time again. And
Goat
in my
is
opinion, I just don't know if that's
doing
the
his
right
magic.
idea,
So that's where the
especially when you know
Discord
that there's
ping
that Evo
came
Valkyrie
from.
looming. That's the last thing you
Yes,
want.
sir.
Is an Evo
Yo,
Valkyrie
home, if you're
to defend your
commentating
hog,
on
and
the
then all of a
world
sudden lava's dropping
monthly
in front
finals,
of
gotta
it,
put more
Inferno's
passion
behind
in it.
and you were just in a whirlwind.
I am
Or
putting a
also those
passion,
guards
okay?
are getting a decent amount of value. Just,
More energy.
well,
More
I
energy.
guess actually the
more
Wizards do a
footwork,
pretty
more
good job of
footwork,
cleaning
more
them
passion.
up, so we'll see.
No,
Yes,
just
this
kidding.
guy gets it. This guy gets it.
Yeah, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
Great
wisdom is to
Hero
play
Wizard
under the-
Splashy, getting
the
every
lava.
single lava pop in one shot, and right now
And
Adria
like you
with
just called it
downhill
out, the
push,
Wizard might
Plank Monk,
be
and instant
the
ability to
making that
predict the
happen.
fireball, not gonna happen. OP-Sam
And
is
Adriel
patient
actually
enough
looking
to
for
not
a
allow it to
spell
happen.
there, with that early
And
pop of
OP-Sam
the
going
abilities,
in
but he's
with a
going up against
freeze
mad
in Lava
scientist
Hound.
who has freeze. Why not?
Why not?
That's a
And
very
this
wild
is-
pick
this is
from
why
a
we call
guy
him the Mad
that is known
Scientist,
from
folks. We
picking wild
coined
cards.
the name back in the first season of CRL when he was
And right now
the late
OP-Sam
addition to
trying to
TSM,
cheese his way in on
and
the
was
opposite
just
side.
doing what you can only describe as
Adriel
absolute
playing the
nonsense,
Hero
especially
Wizard
in
plus
that era of
Tesla,
Clash Royale
not
with
gonna
so far
happen,
fewer
and
cards.
it looks
Came
like
in and went on, I think, a
Adriel
9-game
slowly
win
but surely
streak
is
when he
running
first
with this
joined
set.
the team.
Monk coming down the lane. No, it is
TSM ended up
Hawk
qualifying
instead.
for playoffs, or qualifying
OP-Sam
for-
will
yeah,
opt
for
to
the playoff stage
eat one
in
hit, make it two
CRL
with lightning
back
from
then, North
Adriel,
America, and
and then
Sam
just
was
a
a big
beautiful
part of it.
sequence from a Dominican playing
And
Monk
that
at
is
the bridge,
great
forcing
protection
out
on the
something
Wizards. The
annoying
Wizards have been
in
so
Evo Inferno
annoying
Dragon
to
that
deal
won't
with
be
for
tanked, and
Sam.
Adriel instantly taking
And this
advantage
Wizard
of that
ability,
with this
again,
Hero
so
Wizard
nice,
ability.
not allowing
So
that
violent,
Inferno Dragon to
so
charge
vicious,
up and then taking
and
it off the
Adriel
board,
just
and that is
proving
Evo
that
Inferno
Hero Wizard
to
is not messing around. Hog coming down the lane, and Adriel not playing Lightning. He is in a prime position to just take the game right here, right now, but he doesn't take risks. He wants to save the Lightning for the last balloon. No risk involved. And right now, a beautiful freeze from Sam, and this balloon is on the tower. Adriel dropping the game number 2, and we're making the game number 3.
Goes to the lab and cooks up absolute
Okay, Home,
insanity.
you have the perfect commentary if you were just like
taking the win from Adriel.
louder.
Wow. I mean, that's
And then more energetic.
It's happening as I was
Probably.
talking about it. Is that you cannot.
You sound like you're reading from a script.
I am not having a script.
Have to get that freeze out on offense. He's only got one
Bro,
card to deal with.
Adriel with
in
such
that
a beautiful
wizard.
matchup, and he
You
actually
can deal
filled the
with
game
the
number
Tesla,
2.
you've
Like,
got
what
tanks
the
on the ground,
what the
you've got
hell is
units that can get
this?
there, but just a
No,
really,
OP Sam
really
with
great
Lava
recognition
Loon
of Sam to
freeze.
go, okay, this
That's
game
crazy.
is starting to slip through my fingers. I can take a hog hit, but what I cannot do is not get back on
He
offense
didn't
and
even
try
need to
win
use
right now,
arrows.
because time's ticking down, elixir's ticking faster, and I'm
Arrows
getting
weren't
so close,
a
and he
big
also has
factor in this
lightning.
matchup.
So
Like,
what a great
you don't
way
use
for
the
him to eat
card
some
that
more
doesn't give you
damage
value,
and
and
then just
Adriel was
turn that
just
game on a
not
dime
giving
with
arrow
a
value. Like,
perfect freeze.
freeze was just better
And
in every
this
way.
matchup doesn't exist. Like matching
Yeah.
6 cards or more here doesn't exist. No one's
bad.
playing this. This is vintage OP Sam. Let's go and figure out something. And
Yeah, I
that
think the only
really
card
doesn't
that
make
Adriel
sense. There's
didn't have
lot
a
of
good
reasons.
response
You know,
against
Balloon Freeze has been a common
was the Valkyrie.
a common deck
You don't
for
have a
long
good
time.
response against Valk, you
It's
have to
really
overspend
fun
on
to
it every
play
single
if
time,
you've never
and
played
if you
Balloon
don't have
Balloon
Monk
Freeze,
against Valk,
it's a blast to play.
the
But playing
ground,
it in
I mean,
this
the
very
ground
slow Huff
Valk
Balloon deck,
will pretty much pull
is
everything that
something
you have
I'm
on the
not
ground
trying to
yourself
track it down right now.
and
No
mess
one's
up your
doing this,
defenses, and that's
why
exactly
we
what
love watching
happened.
Sam play.
Evo
Yeah,
Valk
and I'm
freeze
pretty
in kind,
sure
and OP Sam
This might be the
opportunistically takes the game
second
number
time
2
today
exactly
that
what
we
he had
didn't
to
see
do.
Sam play his
Crazy
last
stuff.
card.
Game
Is
number
that
3.
right? I think it is. I think there was that game
Home,
against
what's
Clown where he
the
didn't play
point
his last
systems
card.
and
I
all
don't think we
looking
saw
like?
the arrows in this game.
I didn't like
trying to remember
read
if
the
they came out
details
or not.
of the point system, but I
either
know
way,
that
that's like part
you
of
can
the,
start
the,
getting points even from a Swiss stage.
the
So like
double-edged
technically
sword
speaking,
of-
for
of the
every
mad
Swiss
scientist.
win,
No,
you
I
have
mean,
Create this
I mean,
brilliant deck that somehow still
you remember
works
what you
out,
sent
and
me
you don't end up
yesterday?
using all the cards.
What's
So I
the
guess
difference
in
for
your
today,
mind,
or did
I
it
mean,
just
you're looking
start?
for matchup, right?
Sure.
There could be something that those arrows
Wait, what did
covered
I
that never
send you
came out,
yesterday?
but you
Let
were
me
glad you had
check.
them. But it is just so interesting to see Sam
Riley
the way that he
eliminated.
constructs these decks and not
Ah,
having to use
yeah,
all 8
I can show
of
the
those
bracket.
slots
So
because he's made
basically,
the 7 do enough.
Well, and it
Riley,
really did feel
Riley,
like Adriel
Vitor,
was going to consistently be
Rakan,
able to
and
get
Ta got
the
first rounded.
hog
Then
to do its
Akaza got
work. And I think that if
eliminated,
there's one
Clown
moment
got
in this game
eliminated, Ruben
that
got eliminated by
cost
Sandbox,
Adriel, it
and
was when
Tanjiro
he played
eliminated
the
Samuel
hog
Bosoto. So Tanjiro
into
actually
the
beating
Evo
2
Valk.
players.
And that Evo Valk just completely shut
What
down
the
that
fuck?
one push.
So wait. So the people
Most of the
alive right now are
exchanges,
Mohammed
that
Light,
hog's gonna be fine.
Anjiro,
But that
and
Nah,
one
Adriel?
Evo
Tanjiro
Valk
is dead.
exchange just
Tanjiro
shut it
lost
down,
2-0
and
to
he
Sandbox
couldn't
and
get
is
the shot that he
officially
needed.
out, but like
And that
after
shot
taking
felt
2
like it was
players
the whole
out.
difference maker.
Yeah. So here we go. Game
Hey,
number 3.
honestly,
Sam
I don't.
doing
Whether
kind of
Tanjiro's
what we
cheating or
talked
not
about
is a whole
yesterday,
thing.
where
I'm not
he has these
fully
these
too sure.
brilliant moments at the
He
end
was
of the
picking
game where
very,
he just
he was
kind of
having a
makes
very good
everything come
picks.
together.
Let me say
Rickon
that
was
much.
the most
He
interesting
sees the
one.
light
Like
at the
he
end of the
2-0'd
tunnel, and
Samuel
he just
Bosoto
makes
in a
mad
great
dash
fashion.
for it
Actually, his
and
only
creates a
wins
great
in the
opening. Adriel
his
a bit
only wins
stunned,
in
and you
the
can see him shaking his head,
multi-final
recognizing,
come
man,
from
that
good
was-
players. He
that
beat
is
Riley,
not
he beat
how I thought
Basalto,
that final push
but
was going to go.
if I
Felt
recall
like he had things
correctly,
locked down with the wizard was putting in so much great
yes,
work
he
in
lost to
both
EGW
lanes.
I'm
and
assuming
then
he
he
had a
lost
good
to
match,
Sam
Sandbox.
go hyper aggressive with the guards and then push to the
I actually didn't
left-hand
watch
lane.
the
Sam was
game
still-
against
excuse me,
Basalto.
Adriel
I
was
can
still
check
able
the
to play
matchups.
that wizard offset to the right to then defend the next
battles.
lava push, but just didn't matter. Just a
Battles
really
Tanjiro.
nice freeze.
Okay, so against
And this is
Basalto,
where,
he had
you know, you
Mega
talk
Knight,
about
a Hog
where
against
Sam
Drill
could go
Cycle,
from here
and I
when
actually was
played
watching this game.
Oh yeah,
Bridge
that's
Spam
such a
and
good
Lava
matchup.
Hound
No,
together.
no, it's
There
not.
was
Samuel
one great
Basalto
match against
was
Vitor
winning for the
where he
4.5
went
minutes,
to
and
a
Tanjiro
big
stole
deck
it in the
with
last,
Evo
last 30
Willow Ghost.
seconds.
Talked about
Like
Evo
Samuel
Willow
just
Ghost
made
earlier.
a defensive
That
mistake.
deck, you know, I'm
And
looking
game
at
number
what Sam's
2,
played so far,
Basalto
that deck
was
is
running
open.
the
So,
running
as
the
someone
Minor
who is
Marcher
friends with and
with
training
Inferno
partners
Tower
with one of
against
the
Giant
all-time,
Skeleton Loon. So actually,
bait
I would say
players
Basalto had
in Morton,
2 for 2 in
he
terms of matchups, and Tanjiro
as he
just to
sends
ult
that
him.
Skelly Barrel right into a Mother Witch.
Yeah, I really like this pick
Yeah.
that Sam went with because in my mind,
It's actually crazy.
I thought that Graveyard might be a good
Right.
place to go for Sam. Instead, it looks like he's going to
Let's
Mortar.
put a
which,
game number
it looks
3
like
on the big
Graveyard
screen
is
and
something Adriel
Adriel.
was thinking about,
Bro,
seeing that
he was
Mother
my
Witch come
goat,
out
he's
early.
right
And
now
then
your
the other
goat.
part of
He's
this
pulling a
is that
P.E.K.K.A.
Josh and I had
second
this
play
conversation
right
quite a
after
bit
the Mother
yesterday.
Witch
We were
against
surprised
Mortar
Oh my
bait.
god,
Mama
oh my
P.E.K.K.A.,
god.
But she does seem to be a good card to bust out in game
P.E.K.K.A. Bridgespam
3
making its
because
first
the Giant
appearance
Skeleton,
in
the
monthly
Mega Knight,
finals.
they're both
You gotta love to
kind
see
of
it.
weak against the Mama P.E.K.K.A., and they're both so prevalent in the meta. And
I
so
don't
while
think
Sam
Adriel
has
has a
played
good
the Giant
matchup,
Skeleton,
as
he has
you
not yet played
are
that
known
Mega
for
Knight.
hating
So we
on
see
this
the P.E.K.K.A.
matchup.
coming out here in game 3.
And I think so
What's the
do
matchup?
other P.E.K.K.A. Bridgespam versus
Bridgespam variation.
versus Mortar bait.
Out of Adriel after we saw it in
Honestly though, it is
the first
doable
game from
if...
Sam.
Here's the
Mother
thing, if
Witch?
he gets a good Evil Battle Ram push.
Yes. He also has Mother
What,
Witch,
I mean,
which
what's P.E.K.K.A.'s target going to be
is
here, though? That's
better
the
than
cannon cart,
usual
I guess.
P.E.K.K.A.
Cannon cart
Bridgespam, but
versus
like
P.E.K.K.A. is kind of the
it's
story.
still
I
miserable
think
because
in this
OP Sam
matchup, I
obviously
think
has
it was
Fireball.
It was a tough pick. I think he was, trying to cover his bases,
Yo!
especially because
I
we've seen so
see.
much MK.
Yo,
We've
Adriel
seen Sam
getting
play
so much
MK
pressure. I think
Lightning
if he
plus,
plays Dark Prince at 0, he... Oh,
Hog,
he cannot, he cannot.
And I think Adriel is
I
maybe
get too
thinking
excited,
about
sorry.
that. He's got the
He
slow
plays
and the stun
Lumberjack
with the
though. He
Ewis,
plays
he's got the big
Lumberjack
Mama
instead of the
P.E.K.K.A., he's got
Bandit,
the
and
Mother
Dark
Witch
Prince
for
instead of the
Graveyard.
Ghost, so like
I think
modern
he was going to
Bridgespam.
a lot of the things that Sam has been playing and just
And
pick
right now
wrong.
Adriel just up for Elixir, he's gonna drop P.E.K.K.A. in the back.
Yeah, I'm trying to see the last time that we saw Bridge Spam out of Adriel. Hasn't been this
He
weekend.
drops the Dark Prince, choosing to play it safe as OP Sam has the Evil Mortar
he
and
played
Psycho,
some,
and Rascals come in kind.
He played, I
Adriel
think,
in
very
a
little
commanding
even in the
position,
group
having a
stage.
damage
He was a
lead,
guy that
and dropping
leaned more
P.E.K.K.A. in the
towards
back,
the,
capitalizing on the
Royal
Elixir
Giant
advantage.
piggies and just traditional Hog Rider.
Gun card goes down the
Yeah,
lane
so
as
Grand
well,
Rider
and
MK,
Adriel playing
but
the Battle Ram in the
Bridge Spam not so
bottom
much.
right corner.
Not a
As you
single
said,
play
it's
of,
the
a
exact
Battle Ram
plan
yet.
how
In
to
the
play
group
this
stage or
matchup.
this weekend.
Just beautiful stuff from a Dominican.
Those minions can always pull out those arrows.
Golden Knight
or else
playing an
arrows
ability,
can be
forcing
really
out the
difficult to
Elixir
deal with
on the
Adriel,
Ewis, and he
as
does.
that
Battle Ram
Evo
on the right
Ram,
side, sneaking some hits,
Evo Battle Ram, did some
2290
good damage on that right-hand
on the
tower
right
with
hand
barbs
side.
underneath.
And Adriel, once again,
Yeah,
I will
that
repeat
barb
myself
escaping
in a commanding
is,
lead.
Is just one of those ones where
Plays Battle Ram on the outside, trying to
you're like,
avoid
hey,
the
that's just
mortar.
one barb,
Arrows
right?
for
Kinda
the Rascals,
take
not
that with the tower a
just
little bit,
yet.
and it always ends up
Opting
being
to
just
eat one
a
hit
tad
from the
bit more
mortar,
damage than
that's
you
fine.
had hoped.
Golden Knight will
This
clean up the
Golden
Rascals
Knight
and
is
get
a
on top
pretty
of the
great
can
pick, though.
card.
It's something that we haven't really talked about.
Great
the
sequence.
arrows, you're
Mother
gonna do a
Witch
good job against the minions,
forcing
but that
out the
Golden
Fireball
Knight is
on
gonna do
this
such a
Mother
good
Witch.
job against the Rascals, the cannon cart
And minions
pile-ups, being
will
able to deal with
get
the
on the
skeleton
tower
barrel
for
if
2
you don't
hits.
have the Mother
Adriel
Witch
stops it
or
with a
the Ewis
Lumberjack
in
and going
hand.
for another
So,
aggressive
this is an
Battle Ram.
interesting deck for
Adriel
Adriel, 'cause it actually
just
covers a ton of
going
bases.
for a very aggressive sellout with Evo Lumberjack to force out the can card early
Sam
on Dark
resummons
Prince
the
to punish,
goblins to
but
keep this
the
lane
Evo
strong.
Lumberjack is
Oh,
on the tower,
Lumberjack
and right
escapes
now
anyway.
I
That's a
think
ton of damage from the
that's game
Lumberjack.
over.
And the Ghost
And
Arrows
Sam knows
and
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Adriel
boy.
takes the
That is-
game number
yeah, that's
3.
game,
Beautiful
man.
Oh.
stuff.
That is so
Adriel
well
takes it in 3
played
with a P.E.K.K.A.
by
Bridgespam and
Adriel.
that.
I mean, again, we've just talked about how
Love
these
to
mortar
see it.
decks
Oh
can
my-
really, really struggle when that mortar can
Wait,
only
Holmes, send
be
me that
used for
replay.
defense,
Bro,
and you want to force
Terra,
it on
you
offense. We
can
even
watch
saw there, Sam kind of forced
monthly
it on
finals
offense, and
like
then that
yourself,
turned into
right?
the push
On
that we
YouTube.
just saw. Things kind of
Yeah.
slowly
I'm about to go
started
outside. I'm about to go
crumble,
outside and get food.
Ah,
for
okay,
Sam
makes sense.
defensively, and Adriel recognized it. This
By the
deck
way,
pick by
Terra,
Adriel is pretty
uh,
fascinating.
how-
It's got the
how
Mother
high
Witch,
did
it's
you
got the
finish in,
Ewis,
like,
it's got the arrows,
triple
it's
draft
got the
ladder?
P.E.K.K.A., so it's
Oh, I
basically
didn't play the past
straight-up
3 days. I just
counter
played a
deck
game. I just
to
played
what's
one
in the
game,
meta.
ended up
And then
queuing
when you
against
talk about
Yuckis,
going up
played the
against
worst
Mortar,
ever, and
it is
somehow still
also a
won, and I
counter
found that
because,
so funny.
again, the
And then I
Ewis is
didn't play
there
at
to
all.
drop off
I
skills
genuinely
if you
had other
have to
things I
let
was
that
doing.
barrel connect.
Okay, so you
But
literally just
usually
played
you're gonna
one
try to
game.
get the
I
Mother
thought you
Witch out
started to
to
grind.
bait out the fireball. So now your opponent has spent
No.
7 on your
Okay,
4
okay,
because
fair
they
enough.
can't
I
deal with what the
didn't.
Mother Witch is going to produce. Then
Glitch,
you've got
I
the
think,
Giant
was like
Skeleton
top
Mega Knight
200
covered
when
with
I
the
last...
P.E.K.K.A.,
Top
you got the
150.
air covered,
Top
even though you don't
150
really
last time I
Don't worry
checked.
about it 'cause Sam already
I'm
went to the
curious. He either
skies. It's
finished
just
like
a
low
pretty
top 1K
brilliant
or he
Or
finished like
tilted.
top 100.
Yeah.
And it's worked out well
Let me
for
check, let me
April,
check, let
who
me check, let me
finds
check, let me
himself
check.
now in the
Let's
top
Glitch,
6
glitch,
and
glitch,
awaiting
glitch.
the loser of
Where is he?
AGW
And Agile will
Mollejas.
be
So that's
Let's see
a
how high
good
it is.
spot for Adriel.
bro.
Not only
The
is he
Agile will
in
be
that
playing.
top 6,
in
but
a
he is not
against
in
a
that
loser of a
firing
game
line of
EGW
what if
versus
Mohamed Light
El
slips
Mole has
and have
a
to deal with him in a lower bracket
KA from
run.
Mexico.
So, nice spot for
So very
Adriel, and
interesting.
a little bit
And
extra
Sandbox
cash in
will
his
be
pocket
awaiting
and
the
one
loser
step
of
closer
Kimchi versus
to
Mohamed
the
Light.
first golden ticket of our 2026
Bro, if
campaign.
Mola, if
And now,
okay,
finally,
hold
Andrew,
on.
we're going to
Where is it?
turn
Where is it?
our
Where is it?
focus to
Wait,
the
where's
upper
Glitch?
side of
I
the
had
bracket,
Glitch
as
added.
these
Oh,
four
here he is.
guys have been waiting quite a while to get
He
into the
finished
mix. We're going to start
130.
with EGW.
Nice, good
Emoye
finish.
Haas, the loser, will go down
I've seen
and
that.
face
I've seen
Holy-
that.
Adriel. Reminder for those of you who are
I've
just
seen that
joining us or don't
triple
know, in this
draft
double
ladder
elimination
was like
format, if you're in the upper
super
bracket, you
weird.
still have one
Where
match
like I
lost to
believe
give
trainer
that would
Adnan
knock
was
you
like
down into the lower bracket. So
top
these
one
two guys
with like 2 hours
not
to
fighting for their
spare.
lives, but of course the path to a golden ticket so much easier if you can stay up here and
Hello?
not have to fight your way through the bottom. These two guys now going to step into the ring and see who can come out on
Okay,
top.
why is my
Yeah, big shout out to Sam. You know, picking up right where he left off
You're
in 2025
cutting out-
to 2026.
Wait, is
You know,
this just
being
me,
an
or is
old
he cutting
title,
out
did get
really
eliminated day
badly,
one, but
like,
then is right back
he's in the
first.
Nah,
Arctic
he's
with a
cutting
red
out
loop
badly
fever?
on my end too.
Reward has come
Hey.
on screen right
he's cutting out
on
badly on my
time.
end,
Okay,
too.
I believe
Shout
it
out
should
to
be
our
better
Yeah.
right now.
team. They are
I was
punctual
not
as
having a
ever.
good
I'm not going to show what I'm getting
situation.
today. I got roasted yesterday for my cracked screen, and it's not fixed yet, and I just can't take the abuse in the chat.
Fair
I can't.
enough.
But I'll tell you guys
Yeah.
what I got. 4,400 gold, so it wasn't worth showing you anyway.
Oh, okay.
I've got
Oh,
Uh,
it's still really bad.
I'll take the bullet here and go ahead and see what pops up for me when we
Interesting.
come back on
Let
screen
me-
You
here in a
sound
moment.
like
Let
you're
us
in
know in
the
the chat what you're
Arctic.
getting from your chest. How high did it roll up? Did it stay at 2? Did you get it pushed all the way to 4 or even a 5?
Oh, I know exactly
I would
what
be
happened.
Quite jealous if you
Uh,
did get to a 5.
So
All right,
apparently
Rich, what do you got?
my
What do you
computer
got?
has
All right,
a
let's see.
some
Let's go
type
ahead
of
and-
problem where
let's-
my
let's roll mine up.
GPU is
Okay.
like
Good start.
randomly deciding to
Alright.
not work at all, and because of that
Alright,
all
stick with
the
three.
processes in my laptop are
Okay.
taken
And a
over
lot of
by
gold.
the
Not a bad amount of gold,
by the
considering
default
I'm sure you need it to upgrade a lot of
graphic
your cards to level
card,
16s.
and
I
it's just
still
so weak.
I haven't gotten below the
Hey, Helmet,
millions
check your
because I haven't
DMs.
gone through and just like
Oh,
stacked
send
wild
me.
cards and upgraded
Sure.
everything. But
Bro,
it is nice to be at a
Adriel,
point where I
absolute
am
goat,
looking at
pulling
gold
out
as
the
a reward, and
Becca
I'm like,
bridge
good.
sum of
I
all
need
decks
it.
in game number
Thank
3
you.
and getting a dominant
Yeah,
win
I'm
against
down
the
to
counter. Love to see it.
4.965 million, so I'm starting to really feel the stretch of how much gold that I have. I'm really glad I was able to pick that up.
If
You know,
only in
whenever
real
you're a
life,
little bit-
man. If only in real life.
That's not real? Dang it.
Okay, let me actually
Take the bullet here and go.
pause it for a second. Let me get this copy.
Go ahead and see what pops.
And yeah,
Hog
let's
Lightning, and
go
then
live
game
again.
number 2 he loses with Graveyard to a really nice gameplay of Ruben playing Mortar, which I feel like that so many games, so many matches, but I feel like that was a game that Ruben kind of took towards the end. I feel like it was maybe a mistake or anyway. So then game number 3, El Mollejas comes out with I believe one of the first Evo RGs, Royal Ghosts, excuse me, I know how that can drive some people crazy. One of the first Evo Royal Ghosts yesterday, and it was an MK Ram Rider deck there. EGW, like you said, man, a guy that you were excited to see come out. He just had an exceptional showing yesterday. After seeing how far Nadal and Tanjiro went, I think you can give even more credit to how EGW played, going 2-0 against both of those guys.
Okay.
One thing that stood out to me in the very first set, Rich, which was really interesting, was game 1 he ran, Giant Skeleton Battle Ram, but he ran it with Vine Snowball. And then in game number 2, he runs a Rune Giant Mega Knight Minor Little Prince deck with Rage and Goblin Curse. So
Yes.
no big spells in both the games.
That was actually very
First match of the
interesting. Like
day,
EGW
and
was
a
literally cheesing
really
his
weird
game
Rune
1.
Giant deck in his game 2 when he was up a game. So there's just a lot of things there. There's the deck building, there's the saving the spells, and there's just the confidence of running something so weird in your first monthly final.
Well, I mean, that's been kind of defining EGW's play style for a long time, and that's one of the reasons I'm excited to see him here in the mix in CRL is sort of that weird stuff that he does, the way he really views these tournaments or these duel modes as
And
3
here
games,
we are.
not 3 individual games, right? He views them as a collective, and the way he
Game
plays
number
through that.
1.
You look at EGW, You know, he's only
Prosperic
dropped
Mexican
3 sets
versus
along this
Cheeseman,
entire
Cheesy
CRL
Englishman.
path, right? He dropped
We'll see
2 in
who's
the
gonna
Swiss
come out on
stage,
top.
one of them to Sub,
Elmo
who's
has
a
on top of your
multiple-time
screen,
world finalist.
EGW at
And he
the
dropped
bottom,
1 in the
playing
group stage to
Miner,
Pedro,
Balloon,
who's a
I mean
multiple-time
Miner,
world finalist.
Tombstone
So,
and Tornado, and
you know, he's
not
Did you say
Balloon.
Miner
really
Dune?
clean. The only
No,
knock you
no.
can say
It's
on his
Miner,
route to
Miner,
getting
Tombstone,
here is
Tornado,
that,
and now he
you know,
plays
maybe you would
Tekka
say
and
that
Skeleton
his
Dragons as well.
Swiss stage
So
was
more
kind
and
of
more
easy,
players
not
are
like
playing
the
names
Pekka
we
in
faced in Swiss,
multi-finals.
and
Very
his
interesting to
group
see.
was
I still
not
suspect it's
totally
gonna be
soft.
a
Pekka is a
Balloon.
good count against the
It
Golden
is
League
Loon.
count,
It is Loon.
Not like a
It is
super
Pekka Balloon.
stacked group. You know, there was no one who he really had.
And the
defied. It
Balloon
was
skips the Inferno
devastating
Tower,
along
that's
with
gonna
that.
be a hit.
Talk about devastating, just a misplaced Inferno there, trying to do duty in both lanes to deal with the Big Mama Pekka, who still gets a swing on that tower. So a little bit rocky for both of these guys, but El Molleja still somehow in the lead after that Valkyrie Goblin Barrel push on the left-hand side, even with the King Tower activated. But because of how much he spent on offense, ended
EGW
up
plays
having to
the
take a good amount
Pekka
of damage
instead
on
of the
both
Giant
lanes'
Skeleton.
defense.
That's the idea. You want to
that's
save the
Clash
Giant
Royale
Skeleton for
you,
game
right?
2 and game 3,
You
so
try
you
to take
play a
advantage of
Pekka
that
Balloon in
moment
game
and
1.
cash in,
Makes a lot of
and
sense.
then you realize, oh, the rent's still due.
Wow, and a Pekka Loon deck in CRL. You love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't gone through a Pekaloon phase? Of course, the Pekaloon freeze is one of those ones that stays in my deck selection as an option. I remember just kind of feeling like, you know what, I'm done with all this. I'll go Pekaloon freeze for the fun.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those decks that things can go so bad so quickly, and I like what EGW
No
is doing
Snowball
here. He
and
goes, yes, I
Mollejas
know I have
just
the lead in
being
the
very
left-hand lane,
careful,
that's where the Inferno
protecting
Tower
the
is, so
Magic
let me go to the
Archer.
right. Gotta
Great
get good
stuff from
damage, gotta
the
bait out the Magic
from the
Archer
Mexican.
and take it off the board.
And
Not
EGW
quite in the damage lead, but
will
making
be
some really
in
nice
4A
plays.
trouble defending those
He's gonna get a
counter
good counter push
pushes
out of
from
this. There's a lot
Mollejas.
on the
I
board.
believe
Healthy
the Evo Barrel is in
XE,
cycle,
healthy
and
Skeleton
so is
Drags.
Evo XZ on the board for EGW playing Inferno Tower
And
to defend
for the
himself
moment,
out
the
right now.
XE tanking.
Beautiful
Let's see if
Ice
the snowball
Spirit
makes enough
from
room to hit
a
the Magic Archer plus the
from
towers is
a
enough,
Mexican
and
player in
Mollejas
Alex,
holding
getting
on
the Evo Barrel right now,
against that
getting a
push, and now
double
finally
duty
gets the double
pressure.
barrel going.
Yeah,
And
the
Evo Barrel
double barrel
is gonna connect
with
for
the
a
wall
huge
breakers.
damage,
Left-hand side
1300
takes a
on the
lot of
left
damage,
side
so does the
tower.
right.
Mollejas in a
But
very
as long
clear
as you
lead.
can kind of, I mean, here's the thing: is your opponent has no direct damage, right? In El Mollejas, you have very little direct damage with Snowball, NATO, and Miner, but you at least still have the option if you're EGW. That's something that you can always hold
Miner
on
sent
to
in the
hope
back,
for
trying to
when you're
predict the
going up
Magic
against
Archer.
a deck
Not
with no
gonna
direct
happen.
damage.
Magic Archer very well placed to counter both
Little
the Skeleton
chip
Dragons
damage from
and
the Miner
minimize
on
the
the back
Miner's
left-hand
damage.
side.
Wall breakers
Wall
go
breakers
on the
pressure at the bridge as we
left-hand side. Evo
are
X
now
in
into
response,
sudden
and
death
Balloon
overtime.
goes behind the Pekka, forcing out something uncomfortable. Evo Snowball goes on defense, allowing Mollejas to settle
Balloon's gonna
the
get death
defense
damage on the
correctly,
right-hand
and
side.
right now
Wow.
going for the Evo Breaker is gonna be caught with the defensive Tombstone.
We are razor thin here, Andrew, with that bottom
75
right-hand tower
seconds
taking one more
till
shot.
the end of the game, and
Mollejas
Mollejas
trying to
going
keep
for
the
another
pressure up.
Evolution Goblin Barrel.
Recognizing
There's
there's
no
no
Tombstone
great
in
counter
cycle, and
to these
two
bait
connections
troops, and that
from
was
the
a
Mexican
massive connection.
Yeah,
429,
huge, and I like this Miner,
and
obviously going for the
EGW
Inferno
trying
Tower,
something
the Skeleton Dragon
desperate
tanks
to get the balloon
first,
on the
but
tower.
there's no
He's
reset
gonna
for the
run away,
Inferno,
no
so you see
Inferno
the
Tower
balloon going
in
right-hand
cycle.
lane. This balloon should
Magic
get a
Archer will
connection,
die, and
and
this
it
balloon
does.
Wow.
is
And
connecting
the
for
little bomber
one,
berries
is
on the
connecting
tower,
for two.
and the tower should be close to down. Bomb
At
gonna go off, but
132
still damage
for
remaining. He's
Mollejas.
got to play some stout defense.
Goblin
Is
Barrel
there a snowball? No,
going
there is
for
not.
offense. Both guys very close to
78
each other.
HP to 69
Right now,
HP,
Mollejas
38
trying to
seconds
find
left.
a
NATO.
lineup. Not gonna
He's gonna
happen.
Miner on
Miner
tower. Does he
trying
have a
to get on
snowball
the
here to
tower.
defend against
No
this?
snowball for EGW, and
doesn't
Mollejas
have
getting
it and
a
loses
game
by
number
53
one.
HP.
Very close game
El
to open
Mollejas
our
wins the
set.
nail biter.
Oh my goodness, man. So this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Your opponent does not have direct tower damage. You do. It's not a lot, but you still have it. So what do you need to do? Stop Magic Archer lineups and stop those Goblin Barrels. That is your only job. I know it's so hard to do that when you have less than 100 HP, but your opponent cannot get to your tower if you defend correctly, and that is just a rough spot to be in. I would have done the same thing. I would have lost earlier, but still.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely brutal, because you're sitting there going, and here's the thing is, Mollejas sitting there knowing that he's going to consistently either get damage or force overspends, which will then pay dividends on damage on the back end. And the consistent, let's go take a look at the ending here. And that's a little replay, thanks from the booth. And this NATO play, for a moment, it looked like EGW was going to steal this one back as he holds the defense off, and this miner goes to the back and just barely gets caught by the wall breakers. And that right there is the win for El Mollejas, is just put whatever you can in front of that miner and stop it.
That snowball that goes in to support the miner is just the worst. It's the worst. I'm so sorry, EGW, but just save that. Save that snowball, play it on defense. You're then up by a couple hundred damage instead of up by 10. You know what I mean? So great NATO back on that high magic archer against the skeleton dragons. That's exactly the right thought process. But the panic comes in. It sets in. You're on the CRL stage. You want to win. You got such little HP, but your opponent has no direct damage. Stop the magic archer. Save the snowball. Just then cycle NATOs or, cycle snowballs later. Keep sending in miners. He can't catch every miner. And if he does, then at least you still have the snowball for defense. It's so much easier said than done, but that's just one of those things. You reach for the end when you can taste it, and you just get ahead of yourself.
Well, and there's
Such
a
a
moment
close
where you
game.
realize your opponent doesn't have NATO, is not going to activate King Tower against your miner, not getting anywhere, so starting to vary up those positions. And we saw at the end there, miner going to the number 1 spot, getting picked up by skeletons. And you know there's some mind games there, and you're thinking maybe number 1 spot is the least predictable. But what we all know is in those final moments, that number 1 spot is the default spot, right? Yep. So you have the number 2 behind, you have the number 3, the inside front corner, and you have to really be making your opponent make decisions there. And EGW did a really good job of getting some critical hits in here. But as you said, just at the very end, trying to decide, and we talked about this with Adriel earlier, the deciding when to really press versus sit back and defend a little bit and hold is one of those hardest decisions that you always want to go back and think about, oh man, maybe I should have done it a little bit differently here. And in this case, as you were saying, maybe the sitting back and defending a bit more might have been the key for EGW.
Yeah. A couple things here in the chat as we hop into the next
Very
game
heartbreaking,
very
heartbreaking game for
when our best of
EGW.
fives are coming. They are coming at the end of our day. They will be the lower bracket final, the upper bracket final, the grand finals, and possibly the grand final reset. And
Let's see, game number 2, and EGW bringing Furnace and Ice Spirit, most likely going to the graveyard. That has been so prominent today. Goblin Hat, and most likely this. El Mollejas, however, also bringing the graveyard on his own. Very popular graveyard with the Giant Skeleton for the last 2 months. So Mollejas saving the Giant Skeleton for game 2, and EGW still not playing it. Also, EGW, a player very well known for playing Giant Skeleton in games in games. EGW cycling Mega Knight, which signifies that it's not gonna be the traditional deck that you expect to see from a pro player of this caliber, and very in character from EGW. Getting the Mega Minion on top of the Giant Skeleton, and Mega Knight will be tanking for this graveyard ever so slightly. I don't think that's a correct graveyard from EGW.
This is not his debut in a monthly final. Went out early, 6th place in that.
And graveyard in kind for El Mollejas Berserker to defend. Very good card to defend the graveyards.
A couple years ago, so
both guys will be having a great time on defense, so the game most likely is gonna be decided by who's gonna play more graveyards plus poisons on offense. Very important, plus poisons to clean up the defending troops and prevent any vicious counterplays.
Like better than the other?
It's tough because
EGW playing Furnace in the back, trying to reset the situation on the board,
but it's easier said than
and EGW picks up the Furnace of Goblin Heart in kind for El Mollejas, and EGW started to play poisons on offense instantly.
So that's one thing that you feel like goes in the advantage of
Evo Furnace played by EGW, prepared for the incoming graveyard, and Evo Bats poison in on offense for Mollejas, and right now EGW definitely thinking about dropping this MK, and here we go, evolved Mega Knight on the board. El Mollejas setting up the defensive Goblin Hut already.
The thing is the bar barrel also
Mega Minion
from
in
El
kind,
Mollejas
targeting
gives
the
you
Goblin
ability
Hut in
to
case
always
it
have
needs
a
to be
tank,
get rid of.
even if that Mega Knight is stopping the Giant Skelly.
And poison for EGW to pick off
Berserker
as many buffs
Barbaro
as is
going to
physically
work on
possible,
the
as well as the
defense
Goblin Hut.
Against that graveyard.
Giant
Poison getting some
Skeleton
value.
will
And
be a huge target,
Evo
and
Mega Knight Slam.
EGW
The Giant
with a
Skeleton
huge swing
just getting a little
just before
distracted
the end of
by
our regulation
the
time.
graveyard spawns and opens up a door, and that Mega Knight just jumps right through it.
Yeah, Mega Knight Berserker played on defense here. Should get a couple leaps from the Fire
Good
Spirit.
Ice
No,
Spirit
high Ice Spirit
from
comes
EGW
out,
preparing
and
the
while he
counter
did take a good
push
amount of
with
damage,
the
I
MK,
like
and
that he
Mollejas
uses the Mega Knight to get it
knows
back in
how
play
to
defense,
stop
so
this
he can then try to
with
get
the
a
Giant
counter
Skeleton on
push
the bridge
out.
blocking the
Nice setting
Graveyard,
of the
Berserker
line
and
here up
Barbarrel
high with that
to
Giant
play in
Skeleton.
kind, and
Now,
a beautiful 4
El Mollejas
elixir
has to think
to
about
defend
how that
5
Evo
from a
MK is in
Mexican.
play and
Mega
what he
Minion
wants to do
to
with it
escape the
against
upcoming
defense.
damage and a
You like
huge
the
Mega Minion
fury
on top
there
of the
with
furnace.
the
EGW
hero
still
Mega
up
Minion,
200
right? Seeing the Giant Skeleton
damage,
bomb at the bridge,
but the
using the ability
advantage
to get
is
past
slowly
it
but
and
surely
try to get into the
diminishing, and
backfield.
Evo Bats
Went and
on top
targeted
of
the
the Mega
Barbaro, which
Knight.
wasn't the first
Beautiful
target
play
that you
from the
want.
Mexican,
Didn't get,
getting rid of the
really much damage
very
in the way of
prominent
tower
counter
damage,
pushing
but
card.
you like the idea of what EGW is going to do.
Beautiful
And
poison
giving
from
great poison
Mollejas.
value
Right
up
now
high,
game
obviously
pretty
not
much
on tower,
tied
but
up.
I'd be very happy to take an
EGW up
Evo
only
Furnace
30
and a Goblin Hut
HP.
off the board.
And
The other
Mega
thing is
Minion
that when
played
you
in the
talk about
back, preparing
defense
for
here,
an all-out
you
assault,
know, that
going
bar barrel
into a
is just a
triple
little bit
elixir.
more effective than a Berserker
Mega Knight
plus
played
Ice Spirit.
at the
So
bridge,
you can go bar barrel
most likely
plus
Giant
Berserker
Skeleton in
or
kind,
Bats
and
plus either
EGW
of those,
starts
and
to
you're gonna probably
engage
have a
in
little
this
bit
bridge
cleaner of a
battle with the
defense,
Golden
and we're
Hut, with the
basically tied up
Furnace.
here.
That
30
used to be a
HP is the
spawner, not
difference.
anymore.
Final
EGW
35.
setting up another
Every
Mega
time you use a
Minion trying to
poison
control
win a
the
bridge
Giant
fight
Skeleton,
right
and
now,
Mega Knight
you're
should
behind
come
by
down,
30
knocking
HP. That's
down the
poison you're
Giant
not getting on
Skeleton
tower.
to the
El
opposite
Mollejas
side,
has
and
to
right now
recognize that.
EGW goes for the
I really
graveyard
like that El
first,
Mollejas didn't go in with the graveyard
trying to
after
opt
he
to
baits
play
out
the
that
second
Evo
graveyard
MK with the Giant
afterwards.
Skeleton at the
Second
bridge,
Giant
knowing
Skeleton
that
is
the
on the
Evo
board.
MK was in
El
cycle,
Mollejas with
but
a
it did allow
great counter
EGW to
pushing
get on
potential.
offense, but this
EGW
push
gets a
coming
Mega
back
Knight
it was almost like a
on top,
bait of,
and right now
here,
EGW
I bet you think I'm going
trying
to
to
play graveyard,
stay
but I'm not. Let me
and
get your
hold
MK out
for
of
his
cycle,
life.
and now I
Too
can
much
punish
damage
you.
from
This
the
is an
graveyard, and right now
overwhelming push
it's
at
just
the
a
bridge
downhill
pitch.
push from
Yeah, this
Mollejas.
is way too much.
EGW
and
won't be
there's
holding
no way
this,
to get back from
and
this one.
EGW gets
El
sent to the
Mollejas
lower bracket
Wow.
to
dancing his
face the
way to the
Adriel,
upper bracket final
and Mollejas will be
as
facing
he
the winner
stymies
of Colin vs
EGW
Mohammed
in
Light
back-to-back
in an
games.
upper bracket final.
This kid
Beautiful
can play,
stuff
man.
from
This
a
kid
Mexican.
Can play. He has been playing so well this weekend. He has played against really tough competitors. EGW, you know, we talked about maybe had a bit easier of a path, but the mind games here were just really, really great. El Mollejas is trying to bait out that Evo MK, and he does just that with the high Giant
In
Skeleton.
game number 2,
No
it was
graveyard
definitely the
comes
Giant
out. Instead, he
Skeletons
just builds
blocking
an
the
ocean of
graveyard
troops on his
because
side of the map,
EGW
then sends in the
has to
GY
get
with
a
18 seconds
Mega
ish
Knight to time for the
remaining,
graveyard
and
if
it's
he
just
wants
a
to get the
downhill
damage
push from
on the
there on
tower,
out.
and
I
this
think
was not
EGW
happening. Mollejas
recognized the
aware
moment
of
that
what's
he
the important in the
overcommitted at the
position,
bridge.
and baiting
Yes, the
out
Evo MK
EGW
comes out,
to
but
play
just because your
a
opponent
lot of
got you to get your
elixir
response out
and getting
doesn't
nothing
mean you
in
need to double
return,
down on
as
the
the Barbaro
mistake.
and Berserker are enough to fully counter the graveyard
And
every single time.
Mollejas just kind of putting a little bit of the screws here to EGW as EGW goes with the sort of fun little off central meta pick with the P.E.K.K.A. Loon minor deck in game number 1, and then game number 2, as you talked about, just you mentioned the bats being a real potential problem, those Evo bats, and you look at the overwhelms that happened, and the final one that pushed El Mollejas over the finish line to get this win. Those evil bats, there wasn't really a phenomenal way for EGW to deal with them, which is why we saw those poisons being used on the troops defensively.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more than you saw them on the tower. And those bats ended up helping create this big opening for all those massive troops to roll on downhill.
So El Mollejas takes game number 1 by the skin of his teeth there. No direct tower damage. Only looking for a Magic Archer connection, and EGW just gets a little ahead of himself. Very difficult for him, I'm sure, to look back on that game and think what he could have done differently. Game number 2, near mirror matchup. Giant Skeleton versus MK is one of the big conversations that are out there in the game right now. These two compositions fairly even, but El Mollejas does a great job at the end with the mind games. We are finally going to get to the goated one in our next set, Mohammed Light versus Kimchi. And then as you can see, it will be EGW versus Adriel, and then Sandbox waiting to see who he's going to go up against, probably hoping for Mo to do Mo things so that he can have a chance to stay in the tournament longer without having had to run into the GOAT.
And if you're looking to get more of El Mollejas, he's a creator on TikTok at Selamorash21. Tried it hard to follow that one, but then on Instagram at El Gran Mollejas. So if you're interested in seeing more of him, a couple of ways to go check him out. But right now we turn our heads towards this matchup of Muhammad Light and Kimchi77. And, you know, it's one of those ones where, hey, you have to draw that first big matchup at some point in your career, Andrew. Kimchi's competitive experience is pretty limited to global tournaments.
Yep.
He did win a global tournament earlier this month, so, you know, but that's really been where his focus has been. What a way to start off your competitive career, your true competitive career, with a run he's having and a winner's bracket fight right now against the three-time champion.
A legendary run. Comes out 2-0 against Ta, then he goes 2-1 against Adriel, and now he has a chance to go and take Muhammad Light down to the lower bracket, which is, again, a very, very tall task. But starting the day off going 2-0 against Ta, really, really impressive. Ta is a great player, and then as we've seen with Adriel and how well he's played this weekend and today, you know, that's just a really, really strong showing. He was very poised. Which you have to be when you're playing against someone like Adriel and Ta, honestly, and you're going to have to do that tenfold against Muhammad Light. Mo Light, on the other side of it, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, my match to watch at the start of the day yesterday was Rockin and Muhammad Light, and the reason for that was that, you know, Rockin has finished in the top 10 several times, close to 10 times since January of last year, which is very, very impressive. But he got 2-0'd by Mo. Mo ran Battle Ram Giant Skeleton. He ran Bait with Magic Archer. He ran MK Hog, and he ran Drill yesterday. And once he got to that second set against Clown, he was just absolutely unstoppable. Look here at our four-match to let everyone know. We went from 1,500 players, the top of ranked ladder. If you want to try to get into CRL, you need to be in the top 1,500. That has been extended this year from 1,000 at the end of the season. Then you'll go to the monthly qualifier, which is a Swiss stage in one weekend and then a group stage the following weekend. So you can see there, 64-player group stage. Top two from each stage will move on through to our monthly finals. 16 players now instead of 12. Double elimination, best of three, dual mode, until you get to those final 3 and maybe potentially 4 matches of the weekend. Those are best of 5s.
Look at our prize pool. And where we are now is players are starting to move themselves up into the big-time money. El Mollejas guaranteed himself a top 3 finish with that win, and that's a minimum of $6,000 he'll walk away with. Muhammad Light and Kimchi coming up next. Winner will also guarantee themselves a top 3 spot. Everyone who's still in this one is top 6 at the moment, so 2K, the minimum they all walk away with at the moment. But, of course, everyone's looking for that golden ticket to the World Finals stage and that $14,000.
Yeah, and obviously for some of these guys that haven't already won $1 million from Clash Royale esports, this is a huge prize pool for them, especially the relative unknowns. Mo Light, I'm sure, still happy to stack his cash, you know.
Sure.
Put more in those investments, young man, if you even need to do that at this point. But $14,000, still no small amount of money. Would obviously be very happy to walk away with that. But as you said, Rich, claiming that golden ticket, being the first person guaranteed at monthly finals, can be a blessing and a curse. We've seen that in the past, where sometimes the early qualification means that you kind of sit back for the rest of the season. But for the most part, we've seen the early qualifiers stay strong. You know, there's one side of it where you're like, I've already qualified, fine. But then there's the other part of it thinking, oh man, I'm going to go to World Finals. I cannot wait to be on that live stage. I've got to be ready. You know Mo's going to be there. Mugi might be there. You know, who knows who's going to show up, but you've got to be at the top of your game. So very excited to give away our first of 5 golden tickets in the monthly finals. Then there's, of course, the LCQ golden ticket, and then the leaderboard golden tickets, 8 of those, and then the golden tickets from the other regions. So a lot of spots at World Finals this year. Cannot wait to see where we're going to go.
Yes, sir.
This is that part of the year where it's just there's no specific, there's expectations, there's dreams. everything is possible at this stage in the year. Of course, we start tightening. You tighten up that rope a little bit every month that we go on. Okay, there's one golden ticket down. Okay, this guy has put up a whole bunch of points. Oh, I didn't get enough points in that month. Right now, it's all just possibility, which is really exciting. You talk about possibility. You talk about a guy like Kimchi, who it feels like every year there's a Japanese player who just shows up.
Yeah.
Right, and then suddenly there's something. Right, we had Ta as someone who's back here this weekend, but I remember when we first saw him pop into a monthly final. I remember that we all said, "Okay, yeah, that's just a random. We'll never see him again." And of course, now Ta has been a mainstay in CRL ever since then. So it does feel like every once in a while there's like a sleeper Japanese player who just turns out and goes hard. And right now, Kimchi's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Clash Royale is you never know who's going to come up in the next year of competition. There's always the roster always changes at World Finals. We've never had the exact same players year after year at World Finals. There's always someone that comes out and either surprises or disappoints, and that's just part of the game. And that's why when you look at consistently over the years, the people that are return World Finalists, that is one of the most impressive things to do, if not the most impressive thing to do, other than winning, because the idea of being able to stay in the game year in, year out, that consistency, evolving with the meta, getting away from being a one trick, talking about Sandbox, a guy that we are so used to see play RG, not really play it at all in this first month of competition, in the group stage as well. It just shows the evolution of how you have to be if you want to be at the top of Clash Royale League.
And, we talk about these newer players in here, and I want to reiterate something, that this is a completely open system. You watching at home right now could be here on broadcast next month. You just got to, as we went through that format, making that top 1,500 on the Path of Legends on that ranked system. But that's a system, there's no entry fee. There's no, did you sign up or did you get selected for it? You don't have to be drafted into CRL. This is, are you good enough? And that's it. Do you have what it takes? And if you do, you can be here.
Kimchi back on the bed. As Josh said, it's the pose that you have when you talk
start
to
the
your
game.
fourth-grade crush. And
Kimchi,
happy to see him back playing
77.
comfortably. Mo Light.
This is Mohammed Light at the bottom of
Upgraded
your
the chair
screen.
to a love seat, if you will. And my goodness, was he unstoppable.
And Mohammed
yesterday.
Light starting off with Berserker plus Poison. Very expected from him to see to bring a save deck. Most likely to be a graveyard. High Spirit comes down, and Furnace in the back. So it's gonna be graveyard from Mohammed Light, Kimchi, bringing Magic Archer and Baby Dragon.
Denied Mohammed the
We'll
opportunity
see who's
for
gonna,
a more accurate name.
what's gonna
Unstoppable Light.
be the deck of
Sixth
choice
account.
from a Japanese. And so far so good
so
for him.
coming out with Loon and Marcher and Miner.
And Pekka in
against
the back from
Mohammed
Kimchi.
Light.
Very interesting pick.
Looking like he's
Mohammed
running
Light most likely
GY.
sighting the Goblin Hut, and here he goes.
And I don't know. I don't love when Mo is playing a very strong control deck for the opponent, not for him.
Sure.
It's one of those things just
And
breaking
Balloon
through
comes
Mo
down,
Light
Kimchi
is
bringing
very difficult to
back
do, but we'll see if
a
he can
very
do it right
heavy
now.
win condition,
Goblin
and
Hut out
this-
of the way. Poison
and
gonna
this
come in.
balloon
Furnace
is
there.
running away
This
with
balloon
that.
should get a drop, and it does.
One hit for Kimchi, and
he has to get
opening the lead
late
he
Ice
is
Spirit
in
on.
a
He'll
big
take a lot of
fashion
damage. Magic Archer connects, and that's a ton
against the
of work
Pharaoh.
getting done early by Kimchi. And Mohammed Light
1460
opting
on Mohammed
not to
Light's
play
tower,
something high in the middle
getting
for the
surprised
power
by the early
activation, which
balloon
feels
from a
like that could be
Japanese,
really
and
impactful in the
right now
long
Kimchi
term
opts to
for
eat the
this
Furnace
Loon
to
battle.
give back some damage,
100%, especially when you're talking about how tanky this
trying
deck
to
is
not
that
get
Kimchi's
first
running. You gotta
played
get
by
through the
Mohammed
Pekka, you gotta
Light,
get through the
Evil
Baby
Furnace in the
Dragon, you
back,
gotta
and
take down the Loon,
Kimchi
you have to deal with
cycling
the
to
Miner.
his
That
Evil
King
Baby
Tower
Dragon,
activation
possibly
is
preparing
huge,
a
but
timing
it's
in a
also one
double
of those
elixir,
moments where Mo
where this Baby
recognizes,
Dragon will
"Man, I
support
don't know
the
if I can go
Pekka,
that
will
far
support the
down
balloon,
in
and
elixir
Kimchi
at this
going for a
moment,"
very weird
and
snipe.
ends up,
We
as you
usually
said,
don't see
opting
this
not to
deck
activate King Tower,
of
which
Pekka
does feel like a bit of a
being
mistake,
played
but he's
with the bomb
Mohammed
tower.
Light.
Kimchi probably scared of
More
raw
like a missed
hogs
opportunity.
or
Yeah,
sniping
Mistake.
something
I like
from
that.
Mohammed
He had
Light.
to- He had to make the call.
Definitely
The
an
opportunity
odd
was there. He
choice,
couldn't take it.
and Mohammed Light
Yeah,
keeps
that Fire
the
Spirit
Furnace
does not
alive
leap on
at the
tower,
bridge
but damage
with the
already
Berserker
done.
and Bar Barrel.
Now giving
That's
a
gonna
little
be a
bit of poison
huge
value,
send
and he does,
from
as this
Mohammed
freeze comes
Light
out
to force
at
out
the
something on
bridge,
defense,
and
and
Mohammed Light has
he
screamed
continues.
into control of this match.
to play offense
Pekka-Loon
by playing
freeze.
Poison
I mean,
against
we've been
Magic
seeing
Archer.
freeze
Right now,
pop up a
Mohamed
little
Light
bit today. We've
finally
seen some
back into the
Pekka-Loon pop
lead,
up a little bit
setting
today.
up another furnace
This
in the
variant
back,
with the
making
miner
it
mixed in
as
does give some flexibility
practically
to
difficult
Kimchi.
as possible for Kimchi to do anything. Poison
And this time,
comes down
Goblin Hut
against
does
the balloon.
freeze. You should
Will we see
assume
the Ice
Miner is
Spirit?
gonna
We
go
probably
to
should.
Furnace,
The balloon
and
is
it
running
does.
away
Push
from
over
that
there
with
to
that,
help.
and Mohamed Light is
And now
forced
Mo
to
is
play
double
the
cycling
Goblin
Huts,
Hut
but still takes death
to make
damage.
sure he doesn't take a
Yeah,
balloon
he
hit.
wasn't willing to risk that one. It felt a little bit too dicey. Here he goes, Graveyard in.
And Graveyard
Berserker trying to work
is
on
being
the bomb.
played.
He'll get a
Magic
little bit
Archer
of
in the
damage
back,
here,
very
taking
well
the lead.
played. Magic Archer allowing
And he's
only
gonna
a
get poison value as
sliver
well, which I
of
think you
hits
probably
from
just
these
take.
skeletons.
Yeah,
And
he
right now
does.
Kimchi just playing Pekka in the back, resetting, knowing that Mohamed Light just used his offensive timing and there's no
So this is
way
kinda
to
do or
punish
die
this
right now.
Pekka
Sorry, go ahead,
in the
Rich.
back.
I was saying Kimchi continuing to set up Pekkas in the back and
Magic
play
Archer
a breakthrough game, right? Noticing that he's
being
really
2 cards
putting all the
away, now
pressure.
1
Not a
card
ton of
away,
great
balloon being played very
responses
aggressively, and right now
in this deck for
Valkyrie
Mohamed.
Oof.
being played
That is a
by Mohamed Light to pull everything
a
in,
missed track of the Evo Valk.
and Molite
because, I mean, you have
with
to
a
do
beautiful
it to get the Evo
defense.
Valk out of cycle, and there's still enough time to get another push.
And
so
now
it's not necessarily
selling out with
missed
the
track.
Graveyard, trying to
It's
get
just
any damage.
unfortunate how much you have to spend
And this Baby
to get
Dragon,
that out of cycle
probably
so that you can try to get on
MVP
offense in
of
the
this
final
game,
minute.
saving every single hit from the Graveyard.
And
Now
here we go,
balloon
a
comes
slightly
down, and
lighter
Mohamed
weight
Light already
Loon push.
in a pretty precarious position where he has to
Nice
defend
Valkyrie.
another very well played balloon.
Just there to take the Baby
981
Dragon,
on
distract the
the
Magic
tower of
Archer
Mohamed
from behind.
Light. Poison down,
But
and
that Magic
Kimchi
Archer
right now
ability, huge
in a
connection
very precarious
on the
position,
Princess Tower.
most likely gonna play
981
Pekka
to
at the bridge,
433.
make this Baby Dragon shoot once, and
seconds remain.
here we go. Mohamed Light
I wonder
has
if
to defend
Kimchi
this
starts
balloon.
burying Miner
Nado
and using it to
in,
go
and to
on
no
the tower
avail.
as
Mohamed
opposed to on
Light
these furnaces. Freeze in.
already
Easy
back to the
control
Goblin
with
Hut.
The second hut.
Baby Dragon does not get
He'll
onto
get
the
death
tower.
damage.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Balloon getting the death
freeze
damage,
makes
but
the
the
retarget
Mohamed
come
Light
in,
bringing back
and
Graveyard on the
little
offense,
bomb
and there's
guy,
just
Bomber
no
Barry
way
from the balloon was
to get the
tanking, it
damage
looked
back
like, for a
unless the
bit,
Mohamed
but
Light
Mo
somehow
Light
messes
able
up
to
the
seal the deal.
defense.
It
Not
never
gonna
felt
happen.
like there was a
GG
moment
well
in the
played.
beginning where you're like, huh, this isn't looking great. But as soon as Mo took that first initial bit of damage, it felt like he understood how he needed to stay in a small lead for the rest of the game.
I mean, you talk about the cycling the Goblin Huts, right? The spears certainly super valuable against the balloon, and getting the hut to pop and those spears to get that extra
It's just a
damage
beautiful
ended up being a really
beautiful
critical
game
factor. But the ability
from
to
the
get
Mohamed Light,
Goblin
getting
Hut down,
surprised
second Goblin Hut down,
by
continuously
the
able to do that control.
initial
There were a couple
aggression
of
from
situations there that
Kimchi.
got relatively
Mohamed
dicey.
Light managed to
And,
stabilize
you know,
the game,
it
play a
doesn't
couple
feel
of
like
graveyards,
the-
get his
like
damage
breaking
back,
through and
and
getting
never
one more
allow
big balloon
Kimchi
connection
to
was
set up
out of
another
the top of
threatening
a
push, taking
possibility for
only
Kimchi.
couple
And
of
that's why I
minor
think
shots,
you see Mohamed
blocking every
wearing
Magic
some of that
Archer,
stress on his
and
face at the
a
end
couple
that
of death
matchup
damages
because
from the balloon.
He knows that stretched him a little bit.
Opting
Yeah,
that
and-
it's
and
gonna
just
be
kind of a
enough
thing
to secure the
for,
game number one.
mid-level players
is
for
Mohamed
us to
Light.
think about is if you look at the way Mohamed Light played his Goblin Huts, he was never scared of having it out of cycle and then his opponent going crazy in the opposite lane. I feel like, again, this is a conversation we had yesterday about Teslas and having them on the board when there's nothing else in hand that you want to play, is sometimes people get so scared of a balloon going opposite lane. Excuse me. But with a deck like this, with Pekka, with Freeze, with Baby Dragon, you know they have to keep going in that one lane. They need that big downhill push.
Yeah, just couldn't find the way to break it all the way through for Kimchi. And now he's in a place that a lot of other people have been, which is how do I come from behind against Mohamed Light? I went and kind of used my really kind of surprising the deck that I was hoping to make a big splash with, right? I mean, Pekka-Loon Freeze, not something we expect to see much in CRL overall throughout the history of Clash Royale League.
Yeah.
I can probably count on one hand how many times I've seen it on broadcast being played, and you know, you're hoping, kind of like when we saw the Lava Loon Freeze deck out of Sam, right?
Yep.
You need that deck to get the win. Otherwise, you're kind of going, oh, okay, well, I used my tricks. What next? The only solace, I think, here for EGW in that matchup is he didn't use a ton that he needs elsewhere, right? He used some things that he needs elsewhere, but it's not like he burned a bunch of cards that now burn other decks. He's not using Pekka really anywhere else, not using Freeze anywhere else, not using Loon anywhere else. There are definitely good replacements for the Baby Dragon, for the Magic Archer. Miner is the only thing, but really this this is one of those ones where he does pretty much have the entirety of his deck pool open, even with this deck being burned.
Yeah, and Miner is most of the time coupled with Loon. We have seen some Miner Poison, Miner Wall Breakers, but for the most part this weekend it has been coupled with Loon. So, yeah, I like deck choice. I like trying to come out with something unpredictable. I think that is something that you have to do against Mohamed Light. Any advantage you can get, right? Looking for that matchup. And it did look for a minute there like he might be in a good spot, but Mo-Light doing Mo-Light things, controlling the board, double Goblin Huts regularly. Furnace is always coming out. And even if the Furnace was going to get taken off the map, he still made Kimchi work to take that Furnace off the map with the Miner and then the support on top of it. Always a Berserker and Ice Spirit there. So just great stuff from the Goated One, as he has still not lost a game in this monthly final.
And here's where I wouldn't be surprised to see Mohamed go with a Miner Magic Archer deck. He's played some Miner Wall Breakers throughout this tournament. I mean, that's, you talk about classic Mohamed Light.
Yeah.
He's even patented some openings with Miner Wall Breakers. So we'll see if he goes that direction. With NATO out, it would not be shocking.
Yeah, and he has not shied away from faster cycle whatsoever. No surprise there either. Outplayability is always there with a faster cycle. E-Spirit coupled with Hogs a lot, and there we go.
And that's going to be some pretty significant value out of those first Royal Hogs.
Yeah, Kimchi just opting to eat most of the damage.
We're in game number 2. Kimchi
exactly
bringing
what he loves to do, which is just control the
Mega
board with
Knight
Tesla.
and Furnace, most likely followed up by Ram Rider, Spirit Empress,
still be able to do some work in the
and
right-hand
Mohamed
side.
Light
Good
bringing
call on the
in
Magic
a
Archer
Pig's Lightning with the Magic Archer. Gotta love to see it.
Well,
With the Royal
again, that's one
Delivery
of
for the
those
Spirit Empress, beautiful pick
outplayability
from the
cards,
Pharaoh.
right? And Mohamed Light has used it a lot. And we've seen
Kimchi being up too, but down a lot of damage.
Not just because of the addition of the hero ability, but
And
people
Lumberjack
are really starting to
comes
think
in
about
kind,
the layering
probably
that happens
substituting the Royal
with
Ghost
Magic Archer
in
to
this
create opportunities at the bridge, right? It's not
meta
just
deck
about
that has
hitting
been
an
dominating
opportunistic
ladder and
moment
ground challengers
where
alike.
you drop a Magic Archer because they played one piece of defense too high, which is certainly part of it.
Pigs
But also the ability to
at the
use
bridge
your other attacking
to threaten
troops
a tower,
move
and
defensive
Kimchi
troops
playing
into
the
position,
double
which we
duty
saw
with this
earlier today
Furnace.
with the
Magic Archer in kind.
Giant Skeleton Hog Rider deck.
Yes,
And it's gonna be clogging the
nice
lane
thing
once again.
about the
Poison
Hero
comes
Magic
down
Archer
from
and how
Kimchi.
strong it was when it
Not
first
a
came into the
fireball.
game was I think it made
To
all of
many
us kind of take a
surprise,
small
and
masterclass
Mohamed Light
on how to
taking
play
a first
Magic Archer.
mistake,
Again, if you weren't
getting
person
a
that really
very
loved
late
it,
delivery,
you
not
kind of
catching
were
the Fire
forced to
Spirit,
play it in
and
that
eating
meta.
the Furnace hit.
And yes,
Definitely not the
it's gonna
best
work on
micro.
all of those micro interactions that you're talking about.
And Tesla set
And
up
me,
as
someone who never leaves
Kimchi
Magic
wants to
Archer
set
even
up
when
the
it's not
Mega
as
Knight
good.
and the Ram Rider.
I was very excited for
Mega
the hero
Knight
ability.
being set up in the back, and right now Mohamed Light
Just so strong.
trying to figure out
there's still
what's the
moments where
best
I'm
way
actually
to
surprised
defend
it's
this
not giving
downhill
a little
push
bit
that we
more,
know it's gonna
but,
come.
you know,
Lumberjack
Six
on the
Elixir
opposite side,
being
trying to
spent a
separate
little dangerous.
the troops
So,
from
nice adjustment.
one
Yeah,
another, and does a huge mistake
Yeah,
from
just makes you have to
from
think about it a
Colin,
bit more. It's
aka
still a great
Kimchi,
ability,
getting the Furnace
when you
killed
just are
by
a
the
bit
Tesla
more-
that was
bit more
literally
precise.
about to
Tough
be
Furnace there,
eliminated,
but
and
a
Mega
great
Knight
push
just
still
barely
from Kimchi,
not
although
connecting.
he does get
Magic
damage
Archer
in,
at the
but
bridge,
what
and
cost?
that's gonna be the
And while
game.
it felt like
Mohamed
he might
Light
have had a
putting
good run
up
there,
a
it started
clinic
off a little bit
in game
weird.
number
It almost
2,
felt like Mo-Light kind of
and
baited
beautiful
it all out
lightning
with,
to predict
you know,
the full
yes,
sand from
that
Kimchi.
Furnace comes out and gets sniped
That's
by
just
the
a beautiful
Tesla,
win for the
probably
Pharaoh,
a
and he's
moment
gonna
for you
be
to
in a
pause
upper
instead of
bracket
go double
monthly
down on it.
finals.
Mo-Light takes some
Clean
damage and then gives a
2-0
boatload as he is still
from
perfect
Mohamed
for the
Light.
weekend.
And, of all the people who are involved in this tournament, obviously Kimchi may be the most disappointed in what happened just now. But I can tell you right now, El Moyejas, the second most disappointed person, as he really was like, hey, maybe I have a true just path to the grand final. And now he's going to find himself playing in the grand final against, this feels like final form Mohamed Light, the way he has been playing so far in this first monthly final.
Oh yeah, and yesterday he was really playing it up for the camera, for the crowd. We talked about how
I feel
dark
like
Mohamed
people are
Light has
taking
kind of
too
come
big of a
into
risk
the ring over the
against
last couple
Mohamed
years
Light.
in a good
They're not
way.
getting
You love
themselves
the
in
swagger, you
micro
love the confidence.
matchups. they're pulling
all of
out the
that
heavy
feeds
decks
into
and
him
just
playing better
not the
and
way you
better
want to
and
play against
better, and
Molite.
I
You want
couldn't
to
agree more, man.
try
It
to
does
force
feel
out
like being that
mistakes
Final
against
Four
him.
Muhammad Light, and his deck pool is just
But people just
absolutely
stopped playing
insane.
Psycho against Molite, which is such
Yeah,
a
I mean,
weird
it's,
thing
it
to do.
isn't a deck
Mohamed
pool,
Light
it's just
scores
the
better
cards.
against Beatdown
Yeah.
than
You know what I mean?
against
I
Psycho,
think
and
that's
it's
the most
just
important thing to
a
realize.
very bad
when,
thing to do.
And you know, when you talk to coaches who've worked with him over the years,
I believe
I think that's one of the biggest
Kimchi77 is a
emphasis
Psycho
they
player,
give
and he
is
pulled out
that
two
you
very
there
heavy
really isn't
decks,
anything he
trying to
can't
get a
play,
matchup, but
even
not
if it's
understanding
something
how
that no
to
one's ever
play
played
it in the
before. He
first
can
place
figure out how to
at the
play
level
it.
So
of the
he's-
Mohamed
That gives you
Light.
so much flexibility.
Yeah, and he's played 6 games. He's won all of them, and he's played 6 different win conditions. He has not repeated once yet, which is, again, like, just terrifying if you're the field out there. So here's our lower bracket. It has rounded out. Sandbox will be going up against Kimchi. Adriel will be going up against AGW, 2 of our former world finalists, few-time world finalists, going up against 2 guys that would love to punch their ticket to the World Finals at the end of the year. And as you said, El Mollejas, hoping that Colin would have pulled off, or Kimchi would have pulled off, a big upset there. Not the case, as the goated one stays perfect, and now it's going to be El Mollejas and Mo Light in the upper bracket. And just like that, we're down to just a few more players.
You know, I need to go back and look through all of Mohamed Light's runs in these monthly tournaments, because he's 16-2 between the Swiss stage, the group stage, and here. And you mentioned that one of those was him kind of running meme decks against Ian, so you could call it like 16-1 if you want to take that one, just kind of wipe it off the board. I don't know. I mean, maybe someone out there knows off the top of their head. I don't know what his best run of Swiss through group through monthly final is, but this has to be up there with one of his best runs of all time.
I mean, he's like at 90%. You know, Adriel was the other guy when you went through Swiss and group, had both of his win percentages in the high 80s.
Sure.
But Mo's was still better, and it continues to be better, obviously, as he stayed completely perfect. Yeah, man. And then again, you talk about he played Graveyard, he played Piggies, he played Drill, he played Hog, he played Bait, and he played Ram or Battle Ram. Like, it's just insane. And, you know, even that deck he ran yesterday, the Bait deck with the Magic Archer, Evo Barrel, Evil Wall Breakers, was a deck that we hadn't seen yet. It was kind of an evolution of the deck that he played last season at 2.8 Elixir, you know, Magic Archer, kind of spammy. So, yeah, we won't talk too much more about Mo Light as we're about to hop into this next game between
Yes,
Adriel
sir.
and EGW in this elimination game. But, my goodness, the goated one looks pretty scary.
And Agile pulling out the Giant Skeleton game number 1. AGW starting out with the Miner and the Monk to respond
As
to
he
the
drops the
Giant
giant
fella.
skeleton to pick up the miner.
Bowler in kind from EGW,
And
he's known
first
for
bowler
playing
of the
these
day. And
type
no
of
surprise
decks
it's coming
that
from
on paper
EGW,
don't make sense,
as he
but
continues to
EGW
be
continues to play
unpredictable.
those, playing Bowler against what it seems from Agile is gonna be a Giant Skeleton Battle Ram Bridge Spam. Very good pick. Block the very important deck that Agile wanted to bring
So
up in
first
game
minute
number 1.
away,
Agile
Fireball
playing
to
slightly
clear the Mother
nervously,
Witch.
fireballing the Mother Witch to
Adriel getting
prevent
back
it
to
getting
playing some
the
of a more
trade
defensive
against
posture,
Zappies,
which we've seen him do so
and Dark Prince
successfully
in kind against
this tournament already.
guards. Battle Ram on the opposite side trying to split up the push
And
from
Ram Rider
EGW,
opposite
and
lane,
this
EGW
Battle Ram
late with
will
the
be
mortar.
connecting to the
The
tower.
Mortar
Huge
trying to do too
connection.
much here. And this is maybe an experience level thing in terms of being comfortable playing at this top level in monthly finals. That Inferno Dragon is just still hanging. It might turn back. Inferno Dragon going to be on tower here.
And Agile forced to spend
EGW
Fireball.
gets a tiny
Lumberjack
bit
gets
of
a
sizzle,
hit, and that's a as good
but
start
the
as it
playing
gets
the
for
mortar
Adriel.
so high, trying to get
Getting
double
the
duty.
tower to 516, EGW despite
You know, at
having
that point,
Bowler,
you have to
despite
play
having
that
Mother
mortar
Witch, and
low
despite
and
having Inferno
guarantee
Dragon,
to pick up the
not
battle ram.
only is getting countered by
You
the
can't
Zappies,
always be hoping you're going to connect offensively.
Yeah, I
will
mean, that
be
is just
finding
a
himself in
really,
uphill battle
really
against
tough
Adriel,
couple of
who
minutes
starts
to
with the
start
Giant
this
Skeleton
game, and when you're
at the
down
start
that
of
much against someone
the
like
60
Adriel,
seconds left time.
it's got to be incredibly demoralizing. He's trying to get a big downhill push here, but this deck doesn't really create damage that way, so we'll see.
And mortar out. So
But
once
Ram's
again,
gonna
some
get
pressure
stopped
in the
by the
opposite
guards.
lane. Guards will go and
Hero
pick up.
Wizard cleaning up the Inferno Dragon mortar on the
And
tower.
mortar
Evil
does
Lumberjack in
connect,
kind,
but
trying to
again,
minimize the damage
two
gained from the
shots
mortar.
is
Miner
not the
on
equivalent
defense
of
and
having 500 HP left on your
Bowler
tower.
will try to mitigate the damage from the Evil
That's such
Lumberjack
a
and
good play.
instantly
That is such a good
Battle
play.
Ram Zappies on the
Adriel
opposite
knows that EGW has to protect his left-hand tower from the Hero
and that's
Wizard
a
ability,
huge
and
swing
so he waits
from
for
the
the
Adriel
second that
getting
his
the
opponent
right
responds,
side tower
and then goes
instead
with
of the
evil
left
battle
side.
ram push in the opposite lane.
And that's gonna be
That
the
is
game
just
number 1
playing
from Adriel.
3D Clash
Beautiful
Royale.
composure.
Amazing.
And this is, we saw it. We talked about this earlier. Adriel has done this now a couple of times today, where he really is best when he sits back, forces you to make choices, and then punishes you for those choices. We saw it in the Graveyard game against OP Sam, and we saw it here where he just sat back, forced a choice, and then just at the right moment turned the screws.
Yeah, I mean, the bowler is literally right next to the tower because the Lumberjack has kept the bowler in place. Lumberjack goes down, Hero Wizard at the bridge. You know the ability is going to come in. You know the splash is going to take your tower, and Adriel knows that. So then the Monk has to come down. A unit has to come down up high that has got a little bit of HP to it to allow that bowler and that unit to take care of the Wizard, and he just goes pedal to the metal, right-hand lane. As you said, Rich, this is textbook, traditional Adriel, and a very nice Game 1 win.
And it's one of those ones where you think about how the end game played out in this one, and it all comes back to the mistake made by EGW early to try to get the extra juice out of the mortar.
Yep.
You stop that battle ram from connecting, and you play that cleanly. You don't open up that opportunity for Adriel to decide how the game is going to be played. You allow the game to continue being played on an even footing. And that's one of those, we've talked in the past about the horse to the barn syndrome,
Yeah.
where the player seeing a tower get low and trying to go too much to kill the tower rather than sit back and just continue to play the smart game. And same thing here, where it's like, hey, I really want to make sure I get this here. I see this opportunity. You got to lock down. You got to make sure that you're taking care of business and giving yourself the full 5 minutes to win a game. It doesn't have to be won in those 5 seconds.
100%. I feel like everyone that wants to compete in CRL should listen back to that, because if you watch Riley, his content, you watch Mo, his content, you watch the top players in the world streaming, they spend the first minute plus sussing out their opponent. What's their big spell? How do they want to win? How do they like to defend? How aggressive are they? It's pretty rare that there'll be a big enough opening early on against the best players in the world that you can really go for that uppercut, that knockout uppercut. It happens sometimes. A lot of the times when it does happen, it does work out. But for the most part, you watch these guys, and I'll be like, oh, dude, he should go in with a barrel in front of that, or he should send in a miner behind, and they do nothing. Because that card on the board is already going to demand a little bit of a response from your opponent. You get to see how they respond. You get to see what elixir they're going to spend. And then as the game goes on, you can pick that apart. That's how the best players in the world play this game. They don't try to win before overtime. Very regularly, or very rarely, are they going for that win before overtime. They're feeling out their opponent. And that's something that EGW is going to have to start to recognize if he's going to start showing up more in the monthly finals. This is just a different pace of play than Top Ladder. It really is. Top Ladder, you lose a game, you lose trophies, you can hop right back into it. You only have so many lives here at CRL.
Yeah, I mean, it's like being a tournament poker player versus a cash game guy, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
you can buy back into a cash game, you get knocked out in a tournament, and you're KO'd. So same thing here in this version of Clash Royale. You have that aspect of it where you don't just get hop right back into the game and try to get those trophies back. But number two is you really don't know, like a lot of those Clash Royale ladder players, when they're playing top ladder, they know kind of what everyone's running this season. There might be some variability, but a lot of the times they'll see someone's face and they'll go, oh, yeah, I know that guy is running Hog Lightning right now.
Yep.
And you don't have to feel it out. That's not what's happening here.
Also, I saw this yesterday in the chat and today. Riley was number 2 in the world in 2024. Put some respect on his name. I'm sick and tired of people just going, no, he was never number 2. You can't call him number 2. Is he currently number 2 in the world? Who knows? But was he before? Absolutely. And he's got the money and the prize and the title to go with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
EGW
recency
starts
bias
off with the
in
snowball,
Clash Royale, and that's the funny
Zappies
part,
and
right?
Giant Skeleton.
There's
Agile
recency bias.
with P.E.K.K.A
So, hey, this
once
guy
again
isn't the guy
trying to
right this
cover
second, therefore is
the
trash.
Giant Skeleton.
But
Yes.
then you talk
Beautiful
about the guy who
recognition
is the guy
from
this second, and they
Agile's
go,
coach,
no,
Magic Archer,
stop
and then
plays. And it goes, dude,
at the bridge,
which
and
one
that's
is
a
it?
huge play.
And
that's
So
why I
EGW,
know.
Magic Archer
Yeah,
still
I was
on the
gonna say, probably
tower,
the guys that have
causing
commentated for 9
ruckus,
years
and
have
Agile
the finals kind of
in the world of
memorized
hurt.
for the last almost decade might know that. So anyway, just a
17,
little shout out to
60,
chat
21.
there as we see EGW start things off very nicely with a
And
huge
Goblin
Magic
Drill
Archer connection against that
on the
Mob
tower,
P.E.K.K.A.
Fire Spirit in
That's
kind,
our
and
first firecracker today.
Agile with a good
Is
damage to compensate, still behind
really feels
700
like it, yeah.
damage. Golden Knight on the tower, and P.E.K.K.A very late for
And
Agile.
Adriel
EGW with a
waiting
brilliant
real long on
start
that
to
one.
this game.
That was interesting.
Agile definitely going
And-
for some matchup, most likely not going to happen, and we have
A
an
little bit of
internet connection from a
challenge
production.
with some of the tech here for a second.
Zappy is gonna come down to fully counter the P.E.K.K.A, and Goblin Drill in kind for EGW. A very good response to the Goblin Drill of Adriel, not allowing him to play
right, and
only defense after getting
obviously trying to
this
get the elixir
early
back for
game
you guys
damage.
watching.
Adriel, despite having P.E.K.K.A, found himself in a precarious position where he has to find a way to come
Yeah,
back
it is interesting that the
in this game number
the
2.
Firecracker hasn't really
Magic
made
Archer
much,
in the
much
back,
in the way of any
trying to
appearances today.
pierce through the
I'm pretty sure
P.E.K.K.A,
this is the
get
first time
the
we've seen
kill
it.
on the Firecracker,
Yeah, we
and
saw
he
a
does
good amount
for
yesterday,
one.
so I think that's
Snowball
a great
from
call there,
Adriel,
as this,
getting some
little
goblin
snowball actually
shots,
does some really
getting
nice work on a
it down
non-Evo
to a
drill
1200, and
for
P.E.K.K.A
Adriel to
still
kind of
very alive
come
and doing
screaming
fine.
back into this one,
Golden
and
Knight
a really
picks
nice
up 2
Golden Knight
firecrackers,
ability to
and
stop those firecrackers in their tracks.
a
that were starting
P.E.K.K.A
to become
forced
a bit
out
of
to
a
do a
problem.
double duty, beautiful snowball from EGW,
Well, and then
and
you're
it
talking about
looks
how
like
the elixir
it's
is this
over.
is maybe why you and I
Agile
were both a little confused
with
earlier.
too big of a
as
job
we saw
in
how
single
late
elixir,
the
not
P.E.K.K.A came down,
getting it done.
against that earlier push of EGW, right? There was the Golden Knight, I
And
think it was Dark Prince
EGW
push
evening things
that
up,
came in,
making it to the
and
game number
Adriel's
3.
P.E.K.K.A came
Beautifully
down
played.
really, really late, and I saw that come down so late, and I was like, let me look at the elixir, and I go, oh, there's no elixir. So my assumption is that Adriel was thirsting for it and just wasn't able to get it down there fast enough, but that was kind of the linchpin of the matchup, where there was so much damage done early as P.E.K.K.A came down late.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with these really, really heavy cards like the P.E.K.K.A, the Giant Skeleton. We saw it earlier with the Giant Skeleton and the Magic Archer. It just, you have to eat that damage sometimes. You really want to stop it. You want to stop the bleeding. You want to drop some unit up high, but then you've messed up your cycle. You're even deeper in an elixir hole. And an unsupported unit like that P.E.K.K.A, like the Giant Skeleton, and honestly, at the highest level, the Mega Knight, like maybe a mid-ladder Mega Knight can be a little bit more threatening, harder to kite, but at the highest level, they're probably just going to activate King Tower or defend it for a positive elixir trade.
Sure.
So all those things coming into the equation make it so that a really good Magic Archer lineup on a really expensive, slow-moving troop, usually you just kind of have to eat it, and it always sucks, and it's always hard to watch, and that's just kind of how it started for Adriel. Similar to what we were talking about in game number 1, when the beginning of the game is that bad, it makes you have to play the rest of the game very differently, and it gives your opponent the confidence to kind of sit back and play more methodically.
There's so many. Everyone who's played Clash Royale has had so many games where they go, man, if I could rewind 1 minute and have the information that I have now, suddenly I would destroy this game every single time. I just made a bad call based off of lack of information early on in the game, and it just completely tanked this entire situation. And you see that happen quite often. In this matchup, Adriel playing this drill deck with Firecracker, and we saw a lot of good value happen from the Firecrackers. There weren't a lot of great ways. Really, the Golden Knight may be the best way to get on Firecrackers. We saw a Golden Knight clean up a pair of them at one point. But, you talk about different ways to vary how you create damage on tower, drill being one of them. And this feels like there might have been some opportunities with those Evo Firecracker, Evo Snowball wrapped up together to get some good sizzle on the board. But then, of course, you're still trying to figure out how do I get back the damage that I gave up really early in this game.
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of where that conversation lies, is just in that situation of you know, because things went so bad in the beginning, now I can't play the game that I probably should. The more calm, the more methodical game. Yeah, he's got NATO and he's got Snowball. So, yeah, if he starts to NATO Golden Knight connection on top of your Firecrackers, then you just start playing him in the other lane and you start to get a little bit more map control, map presence. You start to bait out Elixir to deal with those Firecrackers because they are such a nuisance. I mean, we've seen that so many times over the years where there's 3 Princesses or 3 Firecrackers or 3 Magic Archers on the board because there's not a good way to get to them. And it really starts to change the way your opponent plays. This was kind of more of just crawling and clawing back into the conversation for most of that game for Adriel. So as you guys saw, we're working on a little bit of tech stuff right now, trying to make sure that you guys get the optimal viewer experience at home. So this is a great time to remind you guys, we will be giving away a couple more rewards today. We're getting close to giving away our second one, about another hour away from that. Still got a handful of matches to go. Still got our golden ticket to give away. Make sure you guys are subscribed here on the channel, following on Twitch, and then following along on social media, IG and on Twitter. All things esports, Royale and Clash Royale are a great thing to follow along if you guys want to see highlights, upcoming events, how to get into the action, and of course, we would love for you guys to qualify for our CRL monthly finals, just finishing that top 1,500. And then obviously it gets a lot harder to play well in the Swiss stage, get through the group stage so that you can be here to get that ticket to World Finals.
And if you want to check out the 2 players you're watching right now, both of them very active, as most of the pro players are most active on Twitter. I don't know why that's the place, but that's where they are. So it's at EGWCR for EGW and at Adriel Eduardo 11 for Adriel. So you can go and follow them, see their updates and what they're doing with their Clash Royale conversations, content, etc., and always staying on the action. Again, if you're into Clash Royale competitive, I don't know why that's the place. Maybe it's because you can talk, and we've seen these guys like to talk some trash, but Twitter just is the place for it.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that yesterday. It feels like Twitter is kind of like just not really used much by other like worlds other than like gaming. And I think it is exactly what you're talking about. Is it's just you know, everyone spends a lot of time on Discord, but you can't really get the same conversation and, like you said, the trash talk that you get on things like Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok. It's nice to see the convo on Twitter sometimes. Sometimes it's a little intense.
And here we go, game number 3 from EGW versus Adriel. Love to see it. EGW plays a Heal Spirit in as his first card, definitely a wild pick, and Adriel drops a Rage on defense, solid play as well.
So this is, I was wondering if EGW would do something with Heal Spirit today. He's one of the guys who does mix Heal Spirit in, maybe more than everybody else, kind of on par with his off meta and out of the norm approach to the 3-game deck.
And we have the log from EGW as well, opting probably to play some kind of a cycle deck. I wouldn't be surprised to see Royal Giant with Heal Spirit.
Is a little interesting.
Even though Electro Spirit is still in play,
right now because
like Clusters just said, Heal Time is definitely a good card to play, especially if you're competing for the control at the bridge.
Immediately going into a deep conversation about what's going on.
Why
both players opting to leak Elixir. They're both trying to go into a double Elixir straight away, not trying to go for the advantage. Well, the Elixir is still scarce and they can be stuck in bad cycle.
Maybe going to 3M, as he hasn't played Piggies yet either. He did play some 3M, I believe, in the group stage. But Heal Spirit coupled with 3M is something that we do see, but it's definitely not a sure thing.
Well, it definitely would make sense that he's waiting this long
definitely a staring contest.
To get moving if he is holding
Adriel opting to play in guards and Skeleton Dragons from EGW. I would expect to see some kind of Royal Giant after seeing these 3 cards, Golden Knight from Adriel, to make sure that these won't get. And Royal Recruits being played
honestly, when I saw the
in the back,
Dragons come out,
instantly capitalizing of Adriel playing the Golden Knight in the back.
We saw Recruits Ram Rider,
and RG comes down from EGW, so it's gonna be this deck.
It's Recruits Royal Giant, of course.
Obviously, how did you not know that that was what was happening?
And Exi
I
and
don't
Electro
envy
Wizard
us most
have
of the time, but E-Wiz and an Executioner are going to do
Minimax
some damage
this
there on the right-hand
RG
side, or excuse me, clean up some of that
Ram
damage on the
Rider
right-hand
going
side.
for
As
the
this Ram Rider
interaction, and
connects
right now
well on that
Adriel
Princess
selling
Tower,
out with
and
MK
Pink
and
comes
recruits in
too.
kite
This is tough
390
stuff,
to
man.
122 for
Stays
Adriel,
alive
and right
on that
now
left-hand tower, just barely
Adriel
gets the
just
King
one
Tower
defense
activation.
away from advancing to the next stage,
And
setting up the
at what
evolved
cost, my friend? At what cost?
setting up the evolved
That should be
executioner, playing the
Clash
Golden
Royale
Knight's
documentary
ability, and
title.
right now downhill push on the opposite
And
lane.
Evo Mega Knight
Adriel
coming into this
opting to
Evo
play
RG,
the
never
Evo
what you wanna
MK,
see,
gets
as
a
EGW, you
knockback,
can see
and
the
right
look
now
on his
Electro
face, knowing
Wizard
that his monthly finals run
just
has
zapping
most
his way
likely come
out of the
to an
situation.
end. 122 HP,
And
there's
Adriel
the
getting the lightning
and
down.
Adriel stays alive and keeps things going in the lower bracket.
Just
But
a
what
beautiful
great
game number
showing
3 from Adriel,
EGW.
showing maturity
And
in
you
this
know,
game.
this is when you talk about
Do
getting
not
creative
go
with deck picks. This
going
is the
where
challenge,
he had
right?
the
This is what you gotta
advantage
figure
and
out is
defending
you can be creative, you can do
with
stuff
all
that's
he had,
unexpected, but what's the
understanding
intention,
that
right? So I'd
EGW
love to have a conversation with
wanted to steal this
EGW,
game.
or if he's working with a coach, I don't know if he does.
Great W
What was the intention behind this deck?
for the
What were you
Adriel, and that's
expecting
gonna be the bracket
out of
for now.
Israel in this
EGW
moment? Obviously, you
gonna
know,
be
the
eliminated. El
recruits,
Molejas will be fighting
they
against Mohamed
create a
Light
lot
in
of
the
pressure
upper
on both
bracket grand
sides.
final.
They distract if you're, you know, they were really big when
Adriel
Fisherman was everywhere.
will be
Fisherman's
playing
not
against the winner of
So
the
what's
Colin
the i-
versus
what's the
Sandboys. That's
idea
gonna be the
behind this?
next
Obviously,
game
the heel
to
spirit
watch.
hoping to reinvigorate
And I would
the
love
push
to watch
and
it as well,
let it get a
but
second life.
I'm
But
gonna
then
be
you run
having a
into
guest
Evo
very
MK and Evo
soon
Executioner, and you go, oh, well,
from
everything I
now,
thought was
so
wrong.
I'm gonna just be
And
ending
are
the
you
stream.
good with this
Thank
deck?
you
That's
so
the
much
other part of
Yeah.
it, right? It's
for
not
staying with
just
me
the
today,
matchup, it's how many
and
times
yeah.
have you played this deck. Someone in the chat called
I wish
that
you the
King Tower
best
activation and
for the
actually,
rest
it was
of your
actually a
day.
Princess Tower
Spend it well.
deactivation. So
And have fun. So yeah, thank you for
shout
watching
out to you
and
in the
see ya
chat. That's a great
next
little
time.
line there as we see EGW's